Hey everyone. Welcome back for part 5 of the Toad Sage's Apprentice. As always, huge thanks to all of my Patreons. Making these videos would be impossible without you guys' support, especially given the limitations and restrictions YouTube imposes on my type of content. As always, the rest of the story is already out over there for you guys along with about 20 other stories you can enjoy. Also, feel free to send me any messages over there if you have any questions or even if you just want to chat. Link to all of that will be in the description. Anyways, everyone, enjoy the video. Chapter 54, The Ruins of Uzu. Naruto walked until he came to a small ocean town that looked like it was mostly just a small fishing community. And began looking for a place to rent a boat. My if it isn't a Konoha ninja. It has been quite a few years since any ninja have come to our little village, a tall man with a scraggly beard and a fisherman's hat said when Naruto walked past his shop. Oh hi there, I was wondering if you could tell me where I would be able to find a boat that could get me to the land of whirlpools, Naruto said. Why would anyone want to go there? It's nothing but a graveyard and old burned down buildings, the old man said. I just want to see it, my mother came from there before she moved to Konoha as a child, Naruto said. Not many people ever left Uzu. The people of that island kept to themselves. Mostly the only people they had any real time for were the Shadaime and Nidaime Hokages. But that may have been because one of the daughters of their leader at the time married Hashirama. I was just a young boy at the time, but I can still remember Mito Uzumaki using this port to return home to visit her family. So who was your mother, boy? The old man asked. Kushina Uzumaki. I know I don't look like an Uzumaki, I look like my father Minato Namikaze, Naruto said. The second Naruto finished his parents' names, the old man almost fell off his chair. Oh my, the sun, the flash. And the first Uzumaki I have seen in close to 25 years. Well, I can see you look just like your father from all the pictures I have ever seen. The hair and eyes are a dead giveaway now that I think about it. Tell me, what made you decide to come here to look for passage to Uzu? Boats can't make that trip, you need to know the route or be able to run a good distance to shore over the top of water, the man said, standing up and giving Naruto a proper look over. That won't be a problem, I have a rather drastically high chakra capacity, so it won't be an issue, I just need a boat to get me within range, Naruto said. Well, you're out of luck today because most of the boats are out fishing. I can find something for you tomorrow. But tell you what, why don't you come stay with my family for the night? It's getting late in the afternoon, so we will make you dinner and you can tell my granddaughter what it's like being a shinobi in a big village like Konoha, the old man said. Wow, thanks old man, my name's Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto said, extending a hand which the old man accepted with a smile. Ranamu Uharu, the old man said, and began to lead Naruto off towards his house. That night in Konoha. Jiraiya, are you going to sit out there all night or are you going to come inside and have a drink? Tsunade said from her desk, slightly annoyed. Jiraiya slowly came in through the window and leaned against a wall. Still not quite looking at Tsunade. What's wrong with you? You're not your usual self. What's wrong? Tsunade asked, slightly concerned for her longtime friend. I have a mission I need to go on, Jiraiya said. So you go on missions all the time? What's so different about this one? The Hokage asked. I found some information that could lead me to the leader of the Akatsuki. But in order to do that I have to infiltrate Ame, Jiraiya sighed. He picked up the bottle and poured himself a drink while Tsunade processed this information. You can't go to Ame, it's a war zone. They have had completely closed borders for years and they kill anyone on sight. How do you plan on getting in? Tsunade said, shocked. Oh, I have my ways, you know me, I am a master at espionage after all. The thing is this, the first lead we have been given on the whereabouts of the Akatsuki leader and we need to investigate it. But I am the only one who can, and if I take a team it will be far too obvious, Jiraiya said sadly. Come on, we're going out for a proper drink and maybe something to eat, Tsunade said, not knowing how to respond. Might Tsunade Haim, are you asking me out on a date? Jiraiya said, returning to his usual cheerful self. Of course not, I just want some company while I eat and drink, and as always you're the only one around, Tsunade said in fake frustration. Oh well, can't blame a man for trying, Jiraiya said with a small laugh as stopped leaning against the wall and escorted Tsunade into the village, leaving through the door for once. With Sasuke. Sasuke woke up and looked around to find himself in a dark room with only a small desk lamp producing light. Oh, I see you're awake, it's about time, a calm voice came from in the shadows. Who's there? Show yourself, Sasuke demanded. The man obliged and stepped forward to reveal himself as Tobi. The second Tobi came into view, however Sasuke's eye twitched and black flames shot from it, latching themselves onto Tobi's robes. Tobi screamed in agony and stumbled back into the shadows. Seconds later, however, he returned with no signs of injury. Well, I must say Itachi never fails to impress me, Tobi said, his childish persona gone. What are you talking about? Sasuke asked, confused. Itachi planted Amaterasu in your eyes so that it would activate upon seeing my Sharingan, Tobi said plainly. What do you mean your Sharingan? And why would Itachi do that? Sasuke asked, now thoroughly confused. Why, that's simple. I'm an Uchiha to answer your fist question, and secondly Itachi gave you that gift to protect you. My guess was it is what finally killed him. You see, Itachi loved you more than anything. He was even willing to disobey orders to keep you safe, Tobi said, enjoying the looks of utter confusion on Sasuke's face. What do you mean he loved me? He killed my whole family and tortured me for hours, Sasuke spat. Ah yes, but did you ever wonder why he left you alive? Itachi was the most loyal shinobi that Konoha had ever produced. You see, Itachi was ordered to wipe out Yu clan because they were planning a coup d'etat of Konoha and all negotiations were going nowhere. So in the end the village elders and Danzo talked the Hokage into exterminating the clan, and Itachi, who had been a spy for the Hokage from within the Uchiha clan, was chosen to wipe out them all, Tobi said. And I take it you're the one that helped. I've been thinking about it and it doesn't seem possible that he did it all by himself, Sasuke said. Of course I did. The Uchiha clan betrayed me and I wanted to see them die for their betrayal. I came to Itachi and offered to help. Once he found out who I was and what I planned to do, he agreed on the condition that I spare Konoha, Tobi said with a laugh. Who are you? Prove that you're an Uchiha and I might believe you, Sasuke said. Very well, said Tobi, and he went and removed his mask to show Sasuke his Sharingan. Okay fine, you're at least an Uchiha, Sasuke said. Anyway, on with the story. Itachi had been ordered to eliminate the Uchiha clan and we did quite a good job of it. Then you came home. Itachi loved his village more than anything, well other than you. He couldn't kill you, so he let you live and made you hate him so that you would one day kill him to end his suffering. In the end it was the elders of Konoha who really killed your clan, and Itachi gave his freedom, his family and his brother up for the village. The question is, what will you do now? Will you protect Konoha like Itachi will have wanted? Tobi asked. Sasuke seethed in anger as his Sharingan began to morph into 3 red ovals on a black surface. I will kill everyone inside that village for what they did to Itachi. They will all pay. Sasuke yelled the last part and Tobi grinned in victory. Far too easy, and he successfully awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan as well, just like I had planned, Tobi thought. Good, now it's time to get to work. I had a job for you, Tobi said. I don't care, I'm going to go to Konoha and burn the place to the ground, Sasuke said angrily. Don't be foolish, you would be killed before you made it past the gate. You need to train your new eyes first, and the task I have in mind will do the trick. Plus you owe me twice for saving you, Tobi said. Fine, but who are you anyway? Sasuke asked impatiently. Ah yes, let me introduce myself. I am Madara Uchiha, the former leader of the Uchiha clan, the man formerly known as Tobi said. Impossible, he would be dead by now easily, Sasuke said. Oh, I assure you I am very much alive, but if you don't believe me that's fine, Madara said. Well, what do you want me to do anyway? Sasuke said, still unsure if he should believe Madara. Oh, that's simple, I want you to capture the Hachibi Jinchuriki. He can be found in Kumo. Our reports say he likes to train in a large valley a few miles outside of Kumo itself, Madara said. Fine, but I want my team, Sasuke replied. Very well, allow me to return you to them now, said Madara, and as I morphed into his Mangekyo Sharingan and they vanished from their area. Konoha. Tsunade and Jiraiya were sitting in a bar in Konoha drinking sake and talking about the past when Tsunade changed the topic. Why do you need to go? I could send some squads of Anbu. You don't have to do this, she said. I have to, you know as well as I do that only I would be able to get in undetected. Also I need to do this. If it means defeating the Akatsuki and keeping Naruto safe, then it's not even a difficult choice for me, Jiraiya said. Guess it can't be helped, but you better come back alive. I have already lost Naoki and Dan, I don't know what I would do if I lost you too, Tsunade said sadly. You know, I always wondered what would have happened if I ever just bit the bullet and asked you seriously for a date. But I guess I will do the next best thing, we will bet on it. If I win you go on a date with me when I come back, Jiraiya joked. What are you talking about? Bet on what exactly? Tsunade asked confused. Bet that I will return or not. If I win and I return alive you owe me a date, but if I die then you win and I will never bother you again, Jiraiya said, trying to make it sound like a joke. Well, I was always a horrible gambler, so your aunt, Tsunade said sadly as she took another swig of sake from her bottle. I should probably go get some rest and pack my things. When I get back I will be expecting my date, said Jiraiya happily as he walked away, leaving Tsunade sitting by herself. You better come back, you damn pervert. I do not want to explain to Naruto why I let you go if you don't, she thought to herself before finishing her bottle, paying the tab and heading home herself in the opposite direction to Jiraiya. The next morning with Naruto. Naruto was walking with the old man who kindly invited him into his house for the night down to the docks in search of a boat to take him out near the small island that was once home to the village of Uzu. Upon reaching the dock, the old man began talking to some fishermen in order to book passage. "There we go, it will cost around 200 ryo, I hope that's not too much," the old man said once he returned. "Nah, I got it, I should only be there for around a day, maybe two," Naruto said, and he walked over to the fishermen and introduced himself as well as paying his fare. After helping them pack their gear, Naruto set off towards the land of whirlpools. "How long until we get there?" Naruto asked one of the fishermen an hour after they set off. "It will be about 2 hours till we reach the outskirts. Then you will have to go the rest of the way once we make it to the whirlpools," the fisherman said. "Sounds good to me, can't wait," Naruto said, and he leaned against a railing looking to see if he could see the island yet. "With Sasuke? Why are we going to help this guy? Attacking a Jinchuriki is really dangerous, we should just go find a place to look for a place to lay low for a while," Karen said. "No, we are going to do this, then we are going to go destroy Konoha," Sasuke ordered. "Are you insane? You want to go attack the strongest of the hidden villages? Why?" Suigetsu asked, shocked to hear Sasuke's plan. "Because Konoha forced Itachi to give up his life and become a missing ninja," Sasuke said. The same Itachi that you just killed 2 days ago, right?" Suigetsu asked with a sweat drop. "Yeah, so what?" Sasuke said. "No, nothing, just asking," Suigetsu said. "Okay, he is completely insane, who kills someone then blames everyone else for his death. Oh well, this gives me something to do at least. I can't go back to Kiri, so this is my only option," he thought, still trying to make sense of Sasuke's plan. "Good, then it's decided, we need to go to the land of lightning and look for an opening to attack the Jinchuriki," Sasuke said. Madara, who had been listening to their conversation intently, then walked forward and handed them each a black cloak with red clouds. "There we go, now if you betray or fail me I will have to kill you all," Madara said before he disappeared in a swirl. "So that's it, I guess, we have to capture this guy or we die," Karen said. "It shouldn't be that hard, I mean it's only one person," Hugo said. "It wouldn't matter if it was a whole village, nothing can stand against me now. I will burn Konoha to the ground and kill everyone in the village, and there is nobody that can stop me now that I have a Mangekyo Sharingan," Sasuke said arrogantly as he pulled on the Akatsuki robe he was given. The others didn't reply, but Karen was unsure of what Sasuke just said. She saw and felt the destructive power that Naruto could throw around at will and was not eager to attack Konoha. "So what's the plan anyway? I mean, I know your main goals, but it won't be that easy. We are going to need a plan," Suigetsu asked. "I guess we will head towards Kumo and scout the area. But we have to stay away from any villages. The second they see our cloaks we will be targeted," Sasuke said. "I guess that is as good of a plan as any other," Karen said. And she pulled on her new Akatsuki cloak. "With Naruto. Here we are, we will be in this area fishing for the next few days. If you're not back by then you're on your own," the captain told Naruto as the boat was just out of range of a large whirlpool. There was a large island out in the distance that seemed to be rather flat but also seemed to be livable and had thick forests growing all over it. "Well, I will be back before 2 days are up. So I guess I will see you guys then. Thanks for your help," Naruto said before jumping off the boat and running in between the various whirlpools on his way to the island. When he arrived he began his search for the hidden village, but it did not take long. After about 20 minutes of searching he came to an old stone wall covered in vines and moss. Following the wall he came to a grand entrance to a village that, whilst smaller than Konoha, looked infinitely older. The place may have been burned to the ground, but it still seemed to be holding together quite well. Naruto, after inspecting one of the buildings, soon discovered why. Stability and anti-wear seals. "And the workmanship of them is amazing for them to last this long," Naruto said aloud to himself as he continued exploring the dead village. The more Naruto looked, the more seals Naruto found that seemed to be used for everyday use. They didn't have wells, instead they had seals that pulled water from the earth and came out of their taps without plumbing. Their lighting was all worked by chakra and seals, so when Naruto went into a building that was still amazingly still standing, all he had to do was put some chakra into a seal and the lights would come on. They were so advanced yet basic at the same time. They did everything with seals, Naruto said in awe as he looked around to a basic kitchen that had been destroyed obviously when the village was burned down. Naruto moved on from the houses that were still standing and made his way towards the town center. When he arrived there he was given a shock. There was a large fountain with 9 large animals placed around the sides, while in the center there was a man sitting in the center holding a large staff with rings at the top and pointy hair that almost looked like horns. Wanting a closer look, Naruto walked up to the fountain and amazingly it started to work. Water came from the mouths of the small animals that were sitting around the man. Naruto looked at the closest animal and saw that it had 3 tails. Then the one next to it had 4. Naruto ran around until he was right in front of the man, and there sitting gazing into his eyes was a statue of the Kyuubi. It almost seemed lifelike, and the rage and pure hatred he always knew from the Kyuubi was clear on the statue's face. "They must have known you pretty well," Naruto joked, talking to his belly. Naruto was unsure, but he could have sworn that he heard Kyuubi growl in response. He then turned his attention to the man in the center sitting in a meditative pose. He had a Magatama necklace, but Naruto was too busy staring at the eyes. Even though they were colorless and made of stone, Naruto could swear they were gazing right through him, and they had several circles extending out from a center small dot for a pupil. "So this must be the Sage of Six Paths," Naruto said in awe. Then he noticed the water seemed to be flowing from under where he was sitting in 9 recognizable currents spiraling out to each by Juu. Naruto stood there, unable to move away, as if to leave would remove something from Naruto that he couldn't get back. It took a good 5 minutes for Naruto to eventually pull away from the fountain and continue his search, but kept looking back as if he was missing something that was important. After the fountain left his line of sight, the feeling left him and he able to continue undisturbed. Several other houses later, Naruto came to something that caused him to stop breathing for a second. There was a huge mansion that, while looking charred and burned, was still looking like a grand house that you would expect royalty to live in. And at the front of the compound there was a symbol of the Uzumaki swirl, and next to it was a much smaller building with the sign of the Senju. "This has to be the clan house, it's huge," Naruto said in awe, and he entered the compound. The garden still seemed well cared for, and this was the only area other than the city square with the fountain that had not been overgrown by the forest. There were several large training areas, and the rest of the area was well kept with many exotic flower beds growing that would make the Yamanaka flower shop look like a poorly stocked roadside sack run by children. Naruto walked up to the entrance that had been busted off its hinges by something, and once Naruto looked inside he saw what a large boulder, most likely from a Doton jutsu, was slammed against the far wall. Inside there was a large Uzumaki crest in the center of the floor with twin spiral staircases leading to the next levels up. Looking around, apart from the occasional skeleton of a body that had not been taken by the animals of the forest, Naruto had finally began to see the devastation that had been caused here. The people that attacked didn't just kill the people, they tried to erase their existence. All of the books he found in the library had been burned, and all the smaller Uzumaki crests were destroyed beyond most recognition. Naruto figured the ones that had been left alone were protected by seals. There is no information about them left at all, damn it. This can't be all there is, Naruto said to himself, slightly defeated. Naruto wanted to know why the Uzumaki were so feared by people like the Uchiha clan, who were considered to only have the Senju clan as equals, and he knew that it couldn't just be their skill in sealing. If that was the case, he would have had Sasuke crying in the timeout corner long ago. Naruto returned downstairs and began to look around for one last time, but it all seemed empty, grand and spectacular, but still empty. Naruto did, however, find a new room on the bottom floor which turned out to be rather interesting. Upon entering the room, Naruto's Senjutsu seals activated immediately. What the hell a genjutsu? But for what? Naruto questioned himself, but then he saw it on the walls of the large yet empty room. There was a huge design that was guarded by a genjutsu that made it look like a blank wall. Naruto moved closer to take a look, but paused when he saw they were names that connected to form a family tree. But most of the names had a dark spot next to them. I wonder what that means, Naruto thought out loud, but then it clicked in when he saw a very familiar name by the bottom: Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Above his name his mother's name was there, and it had his father's written in a different color beside it. It must have a genjutsu that tracks the Uzumaki bloodline somehow, Naruto thought. Then he decided to go look to see if there were any other Uzumakis left alive. For the most part Naruto was just being frustrated until he found it on the next wall over. There was a name that did not have a desist mark, but it had a different mark. It looked like a teardrop and was crystal blue, almost white. Naruto, however, just couldn't take his eyes away from the name Nagato Uzumaki. Could it be? No, I must be overthinking things. Sensei told me his old pupil died. I wonder, what does this symbol mean? Naruto thought, and he began to look at the other names, trying to find the same symbol. There were a few others that had the same symbol, but they were often separated by generations. The eldest one was written in grand gold writing, which Naruto found interesting but simply passed over it, as the man did not seem to have had any children, and just figured that he was the first person that had whatever it was that the teardrop meant. After Naruto had finished his exploration of the wall, Naruto moved back into the center to trace back from himself to find out how closely he was related to Tsunade, when he noticed something at the top of the wall at the far end of the room. A wooden pillar had some words cut into it, and Naruto began to read them. I am the one who will establish peace and order, Naruto said aloud. The moment Naruto finished the sentence, a small passageway opened in the center of the room that led down a flight of stairs, but Naruto couldn't see what was down there as it was dark and, from what he could tell, curved. Well, this is what I came here for, Naruto thought as he entered the passageway. Chapter 55, The Man Who Became a God. Jiraiya stood on a bridge on the border between the land of fire and rain and he gazed down into the river below. Well, here we go. Summoning jutsu, Jiraiya yelled after running through the hand seals. There was a small puff of smoke and a small yellow toad appeared. Hello Jiraiya-sama, what do you need today? The toad asked with a friendly wave. I need to sneak into Ame, so I need to get inside you and have you swim into the village, Jiraiya informed the small toad. No problem Jiraiya-sama, said the small toad said before it seemed to grow to twice the size of Jiraiya before opening his mouth for him to walk in and shrinking again and jumping off of the bridge. Unknown location. Pain was sitting in a dark room as the rain fell outside and the blue-haired kunoichi stood beside him. It seemed as though they were waiting for something, and that appeared to be true as the air before them distorted and Madara appeared. How did it go? Pain asked, mildly interested. It was not difficult. Sasuke is going to capture the Hachibi, but it could take a while. However, you will need to act quickly afterwards as the Raikage will want revenge for his brother and will most likely call for action against us from the other villages, so you will have to strike 3 days after we capture the Hachibi at the latest before they strengthen the guard around the Kyuubi, Madara said. Why would that matter? Nobody can defeat Pain-sama, the blue kunoichi said confidently. Maybe, but it would be rather unwise to underestimate the Kyuubi brat, Madara said with a small amount of venom, thinking about how Naruto managed to hurt him. It makes no difference, he is a boy while I am a god, Pain said. It is just a warning, you would do well to remember it, Madara said plainly. Then your warning is noted. But once I am finished, all of Konoha will know, Pain said, confidence evident in his voice. Very well, I have some things to attend to, Madara said before disappearing again, leaving the two others alone. I don't trust him, there is something about that man that is off, the blue-haired kunoichi said. He is a means to an end. He is not strong enough to defeat me no matter what he thinks, Pain said, and he stood up from his chair and walked out into the rain. Hokage's office. Tsunade was sitting behind his desk finishing some paperwork when there was a knock on the door. Come in, she called, and the door opened to reveal Kakashi and the rest of the search group she had sent out to find Sasuke or Itachi. What's going on? Why are you back here already, and where is Naruto? She asked frantically once she realized that her window had not been abused as an entrance. He went to Uzu, Kakashi said, knowing he was in for one hell of a verbal beating. What? She screamed, unable to contain her shock and anger. Why didn't any of you go with him if he was so set on going? Tsunade said once she had calmed down slightly. He wanted to go alone and Yugito agreed, so I had to stay with her as part of your agreement with the Raikage, Kakashi said, hoping to deflect the focus of her anger off of him and onto Naruto. That irresponsible Gaki, he could be in danger. Kakashi, don't get too comfortable, I'm sending Yugai and Tenzo out there to bring him back, Tsunade said, still clearly angry. Yes, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said. Tsunade waited, but Kakashi had yet to move. Kakashi. Get moving, she yelled after a small while. Kakashi didn't need telling again and quickly left the room in search of Guy and Tenzo. Now what happened on your mission? The Hokage said with a friendly smile once Kakashi had left. Yugito and Shino, as the two highest-ranking ninja there, gave a mission report and indicated it as a failure and that Sasuke was taken by a member of the Akatsuki. They took Sasuke-kun and now he is probably going to be tortured or used to bargain with to get Naruto or Yugito, Sakura said with tears in her eyes. Well, at least the Akatsuki seem to have lost at least one member, maybe two from this. That should slow down their pursuit of Naruto and Yugito, Tsunade said, deciding not to inform Sakura that she would let Sasuke die 1,000,000 times over before she would hand the Akatsuki even 5 ryo, let alone Naruto. With Naruto made his way along the dark corridor. He was using a small torch to see where he was going, and the area seemed to become wider up ahead as well as a return of lighting, but this lighting did not seem natural, as if it was from a lamp. Naruto walked into the room and several seals activated the moment he entered, and lights lit up a huge room, and it soon became obvious to Naruto he was standing in a massive library filled with scrolls. In awe, Naruto picked up a scroll from the closest shelf and began to read. It turned out to be a scroll on several plants and herbs that had medicinal values. On closer inspection, Naruto saw that there was a symbol on each shelf that told what type of information was in the scrolls that were stored there. When Naruto found the area on ceiling, his eyes bulged. This is fucking massive, there must be hundreds of years of work here. Well, I guess it's a goof thing I can do this, Naruto said out loud to nobody at all before the room filled with hundreds of clones. Okay guys, you know what to do, seal everything that looks interesting into scrolls. Just work on the sealing section for now. I'm going to go check out the Fuuten and Suten Jutsu sections, the real Naruto said, earning a few complaints from his clones, but they soon got to work. This place is huge, it's easily bigger than the ninja library in Konoha. I wonder where the clan secrets and history is, Naruto said out loud as he looked through some rather unique Suten Jutsu. How should we know? We are by extension you, several clones replied. I was talking to myself, Naruto called out. Oh wait, but if you're talking to yourself, doesn't that mean that you are talking to us? One of the clones called back. No, just shut up and get back to work, Naruto replied. That's just rude, I say we mutiny, a different clone called out, but before any of the others could reply he was dispelled. Anybody else think that's a good idea? Naruto asked loudly. There was several murmurs of no and the clones got back to work. Kami, it's not like that even hurts them, good thing too, otherwise I would feel it a lot more when they dispel, Naruto thought as he shawled several more jutsu into a scroll. With Jiraiya. The small yellow toad resurfaced in a large village that seemed to be built upon levels with a sophisticated canal system running through the village. That seemed to help drain the water that fell from the rain that fell to stop the village from flooding. The toad jumped up onto a small empty platform and expanded enough for Jiraiya to walk out. Into the rain. Infiltration success. Well, that was easy enough. Okay, wait here, I will be back soon. I need to have a look around first before I start to gather some information on whoever is in charge around here, Jiraiya said, to which the toad simply nodded and jumped onto a smaller platform out of sight close to the water. With pain. Someone is disturbing my rain that shouldn't be here, and judging by his chakra levels he is skilled, said Pain as he stood by a railing. What should we do? His blue-haired companion asked. Nothing for now, we should wait and see what he does, Pain said. With Jiraiya. Now where to start, Jiraiya said to himself as he pulled on a raincoat and began exploring the village. He came to a small store with an old lady sitting in front of it selling pork buns. Hello, I will take one of these, said Jiraiya, paying for a pork bun and taking a bite. Thank you, I don't seem to recognize you, you're not from around here? The old lady asked. No, I'm a writer and I go from village to village researching, Jiraiya said, and took off the hood to his raincoat and gave the elderly lady a friendly smile. You know, it sure is peaceful around here, he said, looking around. I don't understand this at all, I thought there was supposed to be a civil war going on, he thought to himself. Oh yes, it has been very peaceful and it's all thanks to Pain-sama, the old lady said before holding her hands like she was praying. All praise to Pain. Pain, Jiraiya said, confused. What happened to Hanzo the salamander, he asked. The mention of the name caused everyone on the street to stop and stare at Jiraiya like he was insane. Oh old lady, sorry for bothering you, Jiraiya said before recovering his head and moving on. Something is going on here and I want to find out what, Jiraiya thought as he walked on. He soon came to something else that seemed unusual, an angel hanging from a banner. Jiraiya decided to enter a nearby Dengo shop and ordered a small plate in order to ask the waitress about it. Here you are, sir, said the young brunette as she placed the plate of Dengo down on the table Jiraiya was sitting at. Ah, thank you, miss. I was wondering what you could tell me about that, Jiraiya said, pointing out the angel. Oh, that. She's our angel, don't you know? They say if you place an origami of her at the front of your shop you will have good luck, the waitress said with a smile. Next, Jiraiya searched a far less family-friendly place, and discovered that anyone who is thought to be friendly with Hanzo would be killed. And that their new leader Pain would kill anyone he even suspects worked or was even remotely close to him. He also found out, thanks to his busty waitress who looked slightly similar to Tsunade, that the rain would always fall because of a technique used by the new leader that allowed him to sense what everyone is doing. Jiraiya, deciding that he had seen enough, decided to set up a trap to catch some ninja from the village to interrogate. Using a large toad he used a transformation jutsu to transform it into a shinobi bar in the lower levels, and he waited. It did not take long for two ninja to walk in and he sprung his trap after listening to whatever they would let slip first, of course. The pub turned back into a frog once Jiraiya revealed himself and they had been trapped, and he hopped back into the water. So tell me about Pain or I will turn you into a frog, Jiraiya said simply to the two men. Screw you, we may be underlings but we're still shinobi and would never sell out a comrade, a bearded man said. Oh, that's too bad, now you get to see me do this, Jiraiya said, and turned to his friend, and after placing a hand on his head he was indeed turned into a frog. Okay, now it's your turn, he said, extending his hand towards the bearded man. Pain-sama can be found in the tallest tower to the west, or so I've been told, the man said, clearly afraid of becoming a toad. That wasn't so hard now, was it? But what do you mean, or so you've been told? Everyone up there in the village treats him like he's some kind of god, Jiraiya said. Pain-sama to us is Kami. He's always watching over us. And things like religious festivals and speeches are overseen by the angel. We have never even seen him. Angel? He's your leader, right? Why would he hide himself away? Jiraiya asked. For situations like this, the man said. Oh. Well, that's fair enough, Jiraiya said. The man then went on to explain that Pain had crushed the old Ame regime by himself and that they won the war a while ago. And that after he killed Hanzo he then murdered every single family relative of him to ensure his family would be no more. And that it was called God's judgment. After that, every ideal that differed from Pain's was annihilated without thought, and people came to fear him as their god. Jiraiya left the man alive but still held in place and left the room. Before spitting out a large long toad. "Jiraiya, what is it? Are we attempting Naruto's training again?" the toad asked. "No, not this time. Due to certain circumstances, I want you to stay out here for a while," Jiraiya said. "Stay out here? What for?" the long toad asked. "In a minute I will have to go up against a strong opponent, and I am not sure if I will survive or not. Should I die, I want you to go store yourself in Naruto," Jiraiya said. "But Jiraiya, that could be dangerous. To put the key right next to the seal. There is no telling what will happen if the Kyuubi were to get influence over his body. He could be forced to open the seal and release the Kyuubi," the toad said, shocked. "Minato left that key for a reason. He wanted Naruto to control the Kyuubi, I'm sure of it. That's why Minato split the two halves of the chakra so that Naruto could have control once he grew strong enough," Jiraiya said confidently. "I still do not agree. It is far too dangerous to give me to the boy," the toad said flatly. "I knew Minato well. He was not one to do something with no reason. He must have known something important to seal only the Yang chakra into Naruto. There would be a reason for it," Jiraiya said. When Jiraiya resurfaced, he was not met with pouring rain, however. "What's this? It's no longer raining, so he can't tell what I am doing. But if he already knows that I am here when I shouldn't be, why stop spying on me?" Jiraiya thought slightly uneasily. "Oh well, at least I know where to search for this Pain," he added in an afterthought. "The highest tower to the west, so that would be that one," he said out loud and pointed to a large tower. "I still can't believe that one man was able to kill Hanzo the salamander, though it doesn't make any sense. He was strong enough to hold all three of the Sannin to a standstill," he said to himself as he made his way towards the western tower. With Pain. The blue-haired kunoichi formed in a haze of papers behind Pain, but his hair seemed longer and there were different piercings on his face. "Well," Pain said in the same voice that he always spoke in. "It's Jiraiya," the kunoichi said. "Is that so? Jiraiya-sensei? That takes me back," Pain said. "What should we do, Pain-sama?" she asked. "In any case, he is not our ally and will be helping the Kyuubi Jinchuriki," Pain said. "Probably," she replied. "Then, we kill him," he said with no hint of emotion. "I hold no feelings towards him, and I brought out this body to deal with an intruder. Lead me to him," Pain said. "As you wish, Pain-sama," she said. With Jiraiya. He made it about halfway there before he saw all of the small butterflies that were gathering around him. Then changed to small pieces of paper and flew at Jiraiya, who had disguised himself as one of the shinobi he had captured. The paper began wrapping onto his body, and the blue-haired kunoichi half-formed in front of him before Jiraiya appeared from within his own shadow and sent a fireball slamming into the half-formed kunoichi. "Toad silhouette shadow jutsu," she said plainly, as if she saw someone using toad-style ninjutsu every day. "I came here to find this Pain person, but to think I would end up finding you instead," Jiraiya said, folding his arms. He then smiled. "Not only have your techniques improved, you have become quite a woman as well, Konan. Tell me, who or what is Pain?" Jiraiya asked. "Sensei, that is none of your business," Konan said as she rose into the air and formed large wings of paper. "So do the wings make you an angel? Does this form have any benefits?" Jiraiya asked, clearly upset that his former student was in front of him wearing an Akatsuki robe. "This is the will of Kami, I shall kill you," she said expressionlessly, and her wings moved at an angle to point at Jiraiya before she began to fire thousands of pieces of paper as sharp kunai at Jiraiya. Initially the Toad Sage simply burned them with a Katen jutsu, but once his energy ran low he had to roll out of the way. "Toad style, Toad oil bullet," Jiraiya yelled, and he drenched the blue-haired kunoichi in oil before he sent his hair to wrap around the kunoichi. "You can't bend your paper when it is covered in oil. You always loved origami and you were the kindest of the three of you. What happened to Nagato and Yahiko? The rumor that they had died was false, right?" Jiraiya said. For the first time since Konan had confronted Jiraiya did her face betray any emotion. "I knew it, so Pain is one of them, he said mostly to himself but loud enough for her to hear. "What do you hope to accomplish by appearing before us again?" Konan said. "That is not what I intended. If you hadn't been part of the Akatsuki, that is. I thought you guys were dead, but to think this is what has become of you," Jiraiya said with a hint of disgust in his voice. "You're thinking you should have listened to Orochimaru back then, aren't you?" she said, no sign of emotion on her paper face. "I have never regretted letting you live. But I regret what you have become. It's sad. I taught you how to survive tough times. And instead you're now causing them. You think these people are free or happy. It is truly sad what has become of you. The Akatsuki's way of doing things is wrong," Jiraiya said. "That's your opinion on things, Jiraiya-sensei," came the voice of Pain from above them. "Your appearance has changed a great deal. But those eyes. So you're Pain, Nagato. It would seem you did not grow up the right way. What happened? Jiraiya said as he stared into the rippling eyes of his former student. You don't need to know, you're an outsider after all, Pain said before slamming his hands together summoning jutsu. With Naruto and his clones had just finished cataloging the sealing scrolls and the Fuuten and Suten jutsus, and he had put his clones to work on the Kaden, Raten and Doden while he looked around at some other areas. A small search brought Naruto to an area that had no books or scrolls. It contained weapons. Guess this must have been the old armory, Naruto said to himself as he walked in and saw enough kunai and shuriken to last him a lifetime, as well as swords of all shapes and sizes. At the end of the room there sat a katana held on a pedestal. It had a blue metal blade and a red hilt with golden tassels at the end. On the edge of the blade, written in red, was an inscription on the blade that said God of the Sea, and on the other side it said the same. Wow, you're beautiful, Naruto said to the blade as he went to pick it up with both hands but found it light as a feather. The moment Naruto moved the blade in front of him, something happened to it and the metal seemed to melt away and was replaced with water. On closer inspection and toying with the sword, he discovered that he could change the shape and length of the blade at will, and even though it was made of water it was just as sharp as any blade he had ever used. Wow, this almost makes me want to take up Kenjutsu, Naruto joked to himself as he looked around for any more interesting weapons but came up empty. What am I going to do with all this stuff? This is my family's work for generations. I can't just give it away, but I can't leave it here either for the next bastard that shows up. And it belongs in my family. I won't need all these weapons. Maybe if I sell them all I can afford to buy a house, but until then I guess I will have to store it all in Mount Myobakuzen, he thought as he began to seal the weapons, as they didn't need to be categorized in rank of jutsu and they were already organized. It did not take long. The next room Naruto came to was again Eye Widener. Oh sweet Kami, Naruto said and looked in awe at the room filled with gold and rare jewels. Why the hell is this just open to anyone? Do they not have a safe or anything? Naruto said out loud, not believing his eyes. Oh, if Ba-chan knew about this place she could have funded her gambling for the rest of her life, he thought. This time he just took out one large scroll and sealed the contents of the room in it all together. The final room Naruto came to had a rather grand feel to it, and the moment Naruto entered the roof began to glow and 9 lines circled out from the center where an image began to glow brighter than the others. It was purple and had a small dot in the center while ripples extended out at regular intervals in the form of an oval. Then Naruto heard the sound of running water and he figured out where he was. I'm under the fountain at the center of the town, Naruto whispered as he looked around the room, and where the glowing lines connected to the walls, pillars of water extended up to the roof. Naruto picked up a book off a nearby shelf and began to read. It was a book on the history of the Uzumaki clan, but it seemed to be just one part of a set, as each small event had been taken down in great detail as the person making them was trying to make sure the reader could recall perfectly what happened, even including wildlife seen in the area or if the slightest thing seemed odd. This would take forever to read through, Naruto complained, realizing that even with his clones this could take years to read through them all. Replacing the book, something in the center of the room caught Naruto's eye. It was a thick book on a large table with a chair placed before it directly under the purple symbol on the roof. Walking over to it, he saw the symbol for the Uzumaki clan on the front and seals all over the neck of the book that served different purposes. There is a variation of a blood seal on here that would suggest only an Uzumaki can either read or open this book. But from what I can tell there is more to it than that. But what, Naruto thought as she brushed his hand against the cover. The book responded to his touch and several of the seals began to glow. Naruto was at that moment deciding internally whether he was about to die and he needed to start running, or if he met the book's criteria that would allow it to open. Eventually the book reacted and it swung open to the first page. Naruto leaned in and began to read. Welcome Uzumaki-sama. As the newly chosen head of the Uzumaki clan, you are now permitted to read and add to the Uzumaki clan's diary. Generations of Uzumaki clan leaders have left their secrets within these pages in order to teach the next generation and learn from our mistakes. Naruto gazed intently at the list of Uzumaki that had written in the book before him. Then he got a shock as his own name slowly began to form at the bottom. Well, fuck me, Naruto thought as his name came out in a different color to symbolize he was the current clan head. Chapter 56, Secrets of the Uzumaki Clan. Naruto gazed at the book sitting in front of him and slowly turned the first page over to see a date that was over 1,000 years old. This is unbelievable. It's so old, but the book looks like it hasn't aged a single day, Naruto thought to himself as he began to read. I, Ryu Uzumaki, have decided to write this journal to commemorate my appointment as the very first official head of our family. Although we are few in number at the moment in years, I hope we can pass our knowledge of swordsmanship and sealing down to future generations. As Naruto continued to read on, he discovered that the time of the first leader Ryu Uzumaki was more than 50 years before the time of the Rikadu Sennin. Reading on, the most part of the first clan head's rule had been bloody battles and war. This continued through the second ruler's time as well. In fact, thanks to the constant wars they were fighting, the clan had only stayed at a handful, and by the time of the third ruler had dwindled to just 5. The constant warring seems to never end. Our family has been forced to build a small fortified building for defense, but it has become somewhat of a home. There are only 5 battle-ready members left of our clan, but we will not fail to defend ourselves. Peace seems unobtainable as long as we fight. This land is only small and the people who live here only few, but even here our clan cannot seem to find the peace we desire. That was the last entry from the third clan head of the Uzumaki clan. And Naruto was about to skip ahead, but the start of the next section caught Naruto's attention. This is the first entry event in Uzumaki. The battle last night cost father and mother their lives, but we still live on. My youngest brother Ryuga saw them die before his eyes and has been in a coma for 2 days now. I was elected this morning to lead the clan, but I do not feel I am ready. I would have preferred to pass the responsibility on to my uncle, but he said it was my duty as eldest son of the previous clan head. It has been 2 days since I took over as clan leader and Ryuga has yet to awaken. The only sign that he is still alive is that he has a pulse. There also seems to be a silvery substance that will cover him every so often, but it is not tangible and it recedes back into him after a few moments. Uncle is becoming worried, but there is nothing that we can do for him. Naruto was thoroughly confused by what Enten had meant by silvery substance. Initially he figured it could have been raw uncontrolled chakra, but Naruto had never heard of silver chakra, so he decided to read on. And what he found had shocked him to the very core. Ryuga awoke this morning after almost a week. But his eyes are different. I can feel pressure behind them and they have an aura about them that does not seem natural. While they are still purple like they had been before, they are now more metallic and his pupil has shrunk to nothing but a small dot. What is most confusing is the whites of his eyes are smaller, only occupying the very edge of his eyes, and there is a ripple pattern extending out from the center. He has not spoken much since he awoke, but when he seemed calm and almost peaceful. Naruto could hardly believe his eyes as he read the next few entries about how his brother had begun performing weird feats that nobody could explain. He would simply stick out his hand and the object he wanted would fly towards him, and even one entrance of an incredibly shocked Enten after he saw his brother breath fire. The next interesting event happened several weeks later after a supposed attack on the young Uzumaki clan. We were attacked last night, but, thanks mostly to Ryuga, we came out of it unharmed. In fact, they surrendered completely once they saw some of the things my youngest brother can do. They were so awed by Ryuga that they even asked if they can join together with us and become part of our clan. I accepted on the grounds that they were a small family and mostly non-combative women and children. Naruto quickly skimmed over several more entries, but they seemed to be mostly along the same lines. Their clan would grow by adding several non-combatants to their clan and letting the men join them under their own banner. Very slowly the very first village was being formed under the banner of the Uzumaki clan. A few years passed before anything interesting happened again. It turned out that Ryuga had began teaching his family and several other members of his village how to use their chakra properly. It turned out they had been using it without realizing, with the clan's unique ability to seal objects away inside of things, but once they had begun to learn about chakra and what Ryuga called ninshu, which was basically how to use chakra in its most basic forms leading into jutsu. Among what he taught was the tree and water walking exercises they still use today. 6 years had passed and the small house that had been used as their old family house had been torn down and replaced with a larger house, and they had began work on the underground area that Naruto was currently in. I have decided that this will be our permanent home. We thought about returning to the mainland, but we finally have found peace here, so why should we give it up? To underline my determination to stay here, I will build a safe house underground in order to store the family's treasures for the future, and an office where I can store accurate historical events concerning the clan. Naruto skimmed over the entries as the years passed, and the family grew. They had began experimenting with several seals thanks to their newfound control over chakra. Some of the designs drawn there did not look far from the modern equivalent. And there seemed to be several references to the other books in the room that describe some of the events, like finishing the main chamber of the underground area, and several other Uzumaki clan members began teaching the use of chakra. It had taken close to 8 years before the next interesting event occurred. Ryuga has decided that in order to live out his dream and bring peace to the world, he has to leave. I tried to talk him out of it, but he has his heart set on helping the rest of the world's people. The only form of comfort he gave was that he will not use the Uzumaki name on his travels, to protect the life we lead here of peace and harmony, and to prevent any power-hungry people from attempting to take control of our island and the Uzumaki clan. It will be painful to see my younger brother leave, but he has promised to send word of how his travels are going. He flicked on through the diary. Every couple of pages there was something new on Ryuga. Uzumaki came up. Often it was because he had invented a new seal or came up with a new jutsu and it would have been sent back to the Uzumaki clan. Naruto found one jutsu in particular very interesting. The Bamsu Sozo, creation of all things. Apparently he could create an object with yin chakra and then breath life into it with the yang chakra. It turned out it was this technique that caused him to be labeled as the Rikadu Sennin. It was not long after this that Naruto came to a most important entry. I have received word from my little brother about a feat that was deemed impossible. The ancient beast known to many as the Juubi attacked him on his journey to a small village. The story seems to be too surreal to believe he claims that he sealed the immortal beast inside of himself. But it is true we have received word from other clans on the mainland that the god of shinobi has defeated the Juubi at the cost of sealing it within himself and that he truly had so much power that it oozed out of him so you could almost see the power of his self-sacrifice. So I guess there really was a Juubi. A part of me didn't want to believe Fukusaku sensei's story, Naruto said to himself as he continued on. After that the story seemed to get dull. There were some small expeditions to their village looking for the family of their god, but Enten decided that his little brother was not to be seen as an Uzumaki to protect both him and the clan, so the travelers found nothing. The sage returned to Uzu twice in his life that was filled with teaching people in his arts. The 2 times he returned was when his sons Uchiha and Senju were born. It is truly a joyous occasion to have my little brother back in the village. And the boy Uchiha is an interesting boy, but he seems to get along nicely with my sons and our other brother's daughter. Something confused me, however. All other children born from men of the Uzumaki clan have had red hair and deep purple eyes. Upon confronting Ryuga about this, he informed me that in order to hide his heritage he used his Bamsu Sozo to change their DNA so that he had in effect created a new family separate from the Uzumaki yet similar enough for them to be relatives. He then told me he planned to do the same with his next child who was due in only a few months. I asked him if he was worried he was making them weaker by changing their DNA, but he said he was giving them gifts and they would be stronger because of it. So that would explain how the Senju are distantly related to the Uzumaki clan. But I guess this means we're distantly related to the Uchiha as well, Naruto said slightly sadly. Over the decade or so, Senju the younger brother had become good friends with the Uzumaki clan while Uchiha only really had time for his father or his brother. Most of the interesting events dried up. That was until around the end of Enten's life. Light is shining and it is night time. My little brother's final jutsu is truly amazing, set to shine every night for eternity as a reminder of his power. But the sealing in the end cost him his life. He did not send word of what he did. The only information we have received from young Senju is that he separated the Juubi he sealed inside himself into 9 separate entities that have ascending levels of power based on how many tails they have, ranging from 1 to 9. My guess is he explained the rest of the sealing to his brother Uchiha. The brothers have not been seeing eye to eye on this and have began fighting between themselves. I hope they can resolve their differences sooner or later. To think something like this diary exists, and from the way it sounds Ryuga Uzumaki's letters will be in this room somewhere. Naruto thought as he began to skim through the pages quickly looking for something interesting. Around 150 years later something did come up that made Naruto blink in surprise. It was during the reign of the 9th leader of the Uzumaki clan. There was a murder in the clan last night. Some ninja from an unknown clan entered the village undetected and used the cover of night to sneak into one of the clan homes outside of the compound. From what we can tell, the only survivor was the young boy, but the building seems to have taken damage from a strange unknown jutsu. We are still waiting for the boy to wake up. Naruto thought that sounded strangely familiar, so he continued to read on to the next day. Those eyes, I'm sure of it, a second Rinnegan. I did not think it was possible. I asked the boy what he could remember, but he just said he saw his father killed before him and he collapsed in sorrow, completely helpless, and he awoke for a small moment to find the whole area around him had been destroyed before he collapsed again into the coma that our ninja found him. Our relatives kept this a secret, and so must I, but in order to track the appearance of this anomaly we need to mark them on the family tree somehow. So a second Rinnegan, interesting. If people thought that the Uzumaki clan had a Kekkei Genkai and the same one that the Rikadu Sennin possessed, they would have been a hunted people. Just so others could have a chance at obtaining their power, Naruto said, thinking about people like Sasuke who would do whatever it took to gain power. Reading on, Naruto discovered soon after the second Uzumaki had awoken the Rinnegan that the Genjutsu protected family tree with the blood trace seal was added to the clan house. 300 years later a third Rinnegan user appeared in the Uzumaki clan, this time a woman. She had been a toddler when her mother had been attacked by wolves while they were out by a swimming hole, and she died in front of the girl. She did not enter a coma like the previous users, she just fainted for a few minutes after she killed the wolves. This time it appeared the leader in charge, who was rather grander than most of the previous leaders, built the statue in the center of Uzu that will only activate when there is someone with Uzumaki blood nearby. Naruto thought he was a bit of a show-off, but couldn't help but admit that it was some seriously cool sealing work to get it to operate the way it did. Naruto then came to the startling realization that he had been reading that book for several hours and decided to go check on how his clones were doing sealing everything up. He was slightly concerned when none of them had dispelled yet during the entire time he was reading the diary of the clan heads. Naruto walked out to find his clones all taking a nap. They had finished their work possibly hours ago and decided that instead of just dispelling they would rack up several hundred hours of dreaming for Naruto to sort through. With Jiraiya had just finished destroying a large crustacean and used his hair that he had used to destroy the animal to wrap around Pain. Nagato. Tell me, where is Yahiko? Jiraiya said. Oh yes, that's right, I do recall someone with that name, he died years ago, Pain said flatly. What happened to you? The old Nagato I knew would never have done something like this, Jiraiya said angrily. Nothing happened, there was only war. And that pain caused me to grow up, Nagato said. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked. Through pain, even a foolish child will grow up. And through pain, the world will be taught and controlled, Pain replied. Are you saying that casting aside your feelings for your friend makes you a man? Jiraiya spat back. You are still a man, sensei. But caught within infinite pain, I have transcended humanity and I have become a god. By becoming a god, my words and thoughts become the laws of nature. Sensei, you're still just a man, so trying to comprehend my words is meaningless, Nagato said. You've slipped this far, Jiraiya said sadly. As a god, I now comprehend that which I could not as a man. Simply put, I've evolved beyond man, Pain said expressionlessly. Then what the hell are your intentions? Jiraiya said, trying to keep the disgust from his voice. To cleanse this world consumed with meaningless strife. That is the work of God, Pain said. If that is your goal, then why are you collecting the Baijuu? Jiraiya asked. You're going to die anyway, that's why I will let you know my true goal. Using the Baijuu, I will create a new Kinjutsu. This Kinjutsu would have the ability to wipe an entire country from existence, Pain said. But that would just escalate the violence, Jiraiya replied. All the nations are in constant conflict. What would you do to end it quickly and easily, Jiraiya sensei? Pain asked. That's why I asked you, now answer my question, Jiraiya yelled back. I will give the warring nations the weapon, a nation with the weapon is bound to use it eventually. Hundreds of millions will die in an instant. After it, people will be too terrified. The people, the nations. They will all know pain. That fear will act as a deterrent and future conflicts will vanish. You could say the world is moving towards a state of equilibrium. Pain will force the world to grow up. Like the old me thought, for the world to move forward and grow up, divine help was necessary, Pain said. So for the world to grow up you will have it experience pain? Jiraiya asked, sickened by what he was hearing. Correct. I am the god of peace, Pain said. Well, look at that, you've become good at telling jokes, Nagato, Jiraiya said. Joke? This is no joke. My ideals lay right here, Pain said, and he substituted himself with a log which for some reason was halfway up the side of a building, and in a village with no trees. He was standing on a large chameleon that had two separate sized eyes and the back of its tail looked like a snake's head. Then I have to settle this as the toad senin of my Obakuzan. Before he could finish his speech, the giant toad he just summoned underneath him moved and he fell on his face. You never did grow up. You're still as clumsy as ever, Nagato said with no hint of emotion. Hey, Gamaken, don't go moving around when I am striking a pose, Jiraiya moaned as the toad began to look around. I'm sorry, I guess it's because I'm clumsy, Gamaken said. I can't fuck around in this fight, I'm going to have to use Sage Mode. I can enter it using Naruto's seal, but I only have one and this could take a while, so I'm going to need to summon Fukusaku and Shima, Jiraiya said. So you want me to buy you enough time to focus your chakra to summon the elders? I take it, Gamaken said flatly. If you don't mind, Jiraiya replied. No, I can do that, but I am a bit clumsy, Gamaken said as he got into a defensive stance. The large chameleon that Pain was standing on slowly faded from view, and could not be seen as it was blending in with the surroundings. So it begins, Jiraiya thought as Jiraiya set up a detection barrier. With Naruto. After a quick rest, Naruto returned to the large room with the diary at the center, but instead of returning straight to the diary he made his way to the back of the room where a smaller shelf sat as it caught his eye when he came in. There was only one scroll on this shelf which Naruto found weird. Opening the scroll he soon found out why they had it separate. It was a list of the Uzumaki clan's Kinjutsu. There were not many on the list, but most of them involved seals that did horrible things. There were notes on the Shiki Fun Death Demon Sealing Jutsu. And other powerful seals that often cost the user his life or sent him insane. On the second page there was a long list of seal designs. Naruto recognized some of them as the seals that could be used to seal the Baijuu. Why did they have so many? Naruto thought, but figured it didn't matter. Right at the end of the scroll there were 2 jutsu that confused Naruto. There was warning about it, but it did not give any indication of what it did. The 6 paths jutsu and summoning of the demonic statue. What the hell are they? There is no information on them. Probably has something to do with the Rinnegan. Naruto said to himself. The only thing that was written on the scroll was 6 paths jutsu. The most forbidden technique that has been used inside the Uzumaki clan and will not be mentioned on this scroll. Deva, Asura, human, animal, Preta, Naraka. What do these words at the bottom mean? I will have to search through the historian's records later to find out, I guess. For the final jutsu on the scroll, the summoning of the demonic statue of the outer path, the only words that follow the name of the jutsu were Getomazo. Maybe there is something in the diary about it. I will just have to go check all the entrances that have anything to do with the Rinnegan, Naruto thought before rolling up the scroll and walking back over to the diary. With Jiraiya. Jiraiya had just finished defeating several summoned animals while still focusing his chakra in order to summon the Elder Toads. I don't get it, Gamaken. When I taught Nagato all those years ago, he was a master at everything I taught him. He had every form of nature manipulation which was unheard of, and by the age of 10 he could even control gravity to a certain degree and absorb chakra. So why is he only using summons? Jiraiya said to the toad as a large ox appeared before them. Okay, that's enough of this. Gamaken, you can return. I will take it from here, Jiraiya said, and he didn't even move as the ox charged into him. Pain watched as Jiraiya was crushed through a wall, but then looked shocked as an explosion of fire sent the ox flying back before dispelling. Boy, why must you always summon us in annoying places like this? It's no wonder Bunta always gets so annoyed when you summon him, Shima said. Aw, don't be like that, ma. Jiraiya-chan always has his reasons, Fukusaku said in Jiraiya's defense. Jiraiya was currently walking down a tunnel in sage mode, explaining the situation to the 2 elder sages who were sitting on his shoulder. So where is Naruto-chan? I would have thought you would have brought him for something like this, Fukusaku said once Jiraiya had finished explaining about Nagato. Well, it was really a one-man job. That, and I did not want to put him in harm's way. I didn't know what, if anything, I would find here. It was supposed to be a war zone, but it turned out that Nagato had killed Hanzo the salamander and eradicated any evidence he ever existed from Ame, said Jiraiya, and he subconsciously stroked the small wooden box that Naruto had given him before he left. I see, so your old pupil, the boy you said was the child of prophecy, is the leader of the Akatsuki, Fukusaku said sadly. I can stop him. It was in the prophecy that he would either bring peace or destruction, and that I would make a choice that would decide his future. So I am going to stop him here and now and make my choice, Jiraiya said. They came to an opening from where the ox flew out and jumped onto the floor, knowing that Nagato was out there somewhere on his chameleon. He went through all that trouble, and just to bring out those 2 small toads? No. He has undergone a change as well. Is this his sage mode? Well, it will be interesting to see what it can do before I take on the QB, Pain thought in mild interest. So where is this boy with the sage's eyes? Shima said. He summoned a chameleon and got inside. I have put up a detection barrier for now, Jiraiya said. Well, that won't do. I will have to find him for you, Shima said, and she spat out her tongue, which seemed to sniff the air before flying forward and wrapping around an invisible creature. Got him, she said, and her tongue sent oil out of its pores, covering the chameleon, making it visible. Fukusaku then shot out a jet of water that was at such a high pressure that it cut right through the summoned creature, sending blood everywhere. So that's them, the eyes of the sage, Shima said as the smoke cleared away from Pain. Such unpleasant looking eyes. This is the destined child, Fukusaku said as if in awe. With Naruto. Naruto was currently reading the diary entries about the 3rd Rinnegan wielder in the Uzumaki clan, Meto. And he couldn't help but feel sorry for her. After her parents died, she was taken in by the head family and given a carer, but on her 15th birthday her carer, who had become like family to her, died on a mission. The following entrances led to the discovery of a rather disturbing jutsu. Meto had not come out of her room, and now the body of her carer is missing. The villagers are worried about her well-being, and so am I. The Rinnegan is a closely guarded secret of the Uzumaki clan and the Uzu village. Not even our close friends the Senju are allowed to know of its existence. I fear that should Meto become unstable, there could be issues. The next entrance shocked Naruto even more. Meto has come out of her bedroom at last, but we were horrified to find what she had done. In the room her carer was found with black piercings along her face. What shocked us more was when she opened her eyes and stood up. But they were not her eyes, they were Meto's. She reanimated the body and is able to transfer her consciousness into it. We asked Meto how she knew how to do something like that. But all she said was that she just did, and that her pain and sorrow taught her. Over the next few years Naruto found that Meto had turned 5 more people into what she called her paths of sorrow. In the end she died overusing her power to try and bring the first path back to life with a technique that drained her life force completely. At the end of the last entry by the current head of the Uzumaki clan there was a note written by Meto Uzumaki. Sorrow is power. For Uzumaki unbearable sorrow and the feeling of helplessness awakens our hidden potential. But I would not wish this upon another. It is a world of pain and suffering, and I am reminded of my pain every day that I look in the mirror and see the mark of the Uzumaki's tears. Uzumaki's tears. Wait a minute, the tear drops on the family tree. They must be the sign of the Rinnegan users, Naruto realized, but then stopped dead in his tracks, unable to read on. He shut the book and ran back up through the tunnel into the room with the family tree on it and searched till he found the name of a still living Uzumaki, Nagato Uzumaki. And right next to it was the tear drop that he ignored before but this time worried him to no end. Nagato came from Ame. And that's where Sensei was going to search for the leader of the Akatsuki. Oh, this is bad, Naruto thought with a sense of foreboding. Chapter 57, The Six Paths of Pain. Naruto stood staring at the name Nagato Uzumaki, unsure of what to do. Please be safe, Sensei, Naruto thought helplessly as he slowly pulled away from Nagato's name and made his way back along the wall. The next name he stopped on was that of Meto Uzumaki. Guess she was the last Rinnegan user before Nagato, he thought before moving on, finally stopping on the gold fancy writing of Ryuga Uzumaki. I wonder what he would do about the Akatsuki, Naruto thought, running his hand over the name. Naruto sat down in the center of the room and looked over towards his name, then decided to find out how closely related he was to the last head of the Uzumaki clan. The last clan head turned out to be Naruto's great-granduncle, and Naruto was rather happy to see that his father had a sister by the name of Mito Uzumaki, and there was a line off that led to Hashirama Senju, but the line stopped there, which Naruto found confusing. On closer inspection of the wall, every time an Uzumaki married a Senju and the one instance where one married an Uchiha, the line stopped. Must be that the Uchiha and Senju bloodlines took over. Well, it would make sense for the Sage of Six Paths to make his children have stronger DNA than they would have been if they stayed as Uzumakis, Naruto theorized, but didn't look into it any deeper. With Jiraiya. Jiraiya stood in front of Pain with Fukusaku and Shima on his shoulders, staring into the rippling eyes of the Rinnegan. Summoning jutsu, Pain said, and two crouching men with orange hair appeared and began to stand wearing the Akatsuki robes. They both stood slightly behind Pain, but when they finally looked up, the two toads and Jiraiya got a fright. Both people that he had just summoned had the Rinnegan. There's three of them. What is the meaning of this? How can three people have the Rinnegan? Fukusaku asked, clearly in shock. There has to be some sort of trick behind his technique or something, Jiraiya said, hardly believing his eyes. Geez, this just had to happen during dinner time, didn't it? Shima complained. Ma, instead of dinner, how about you focus on the enemy? Fukusaku said. Excuse me, I am focused. Let's just hurry this up, I need to put dinner on, Shima said loudly. The female toad said. Ma, could you forget about dinner for a moment? We have to worry about this guy's eyes. That's the most powerful dojutsu in the world, Fukusaku asked exasperatedly. Shut your trap. I'm the one making dinner every damn day. It's tough being a housewife, you senile old fart, Shima yelled at the old male toad. What the hell's your problem, woman? I'm over here worrying about ya and you just keep mouthing off, he replied. The two toads then descended into an audible bickering that just came out as croaks, with an occasional word thrown in here or there. Jiraiya just stood there looking slightly depressed. They were taking the focus away from him. Suddenly one of the summoned men charged forward, not seeming to care that there was a slight domestic taking place on the toad sage's shoulders. The charging man was greeted with a kick that seemed to crush his face and sent him flying back into the platform that Nagato and the other summons were standing on. Ha, not bad, said Nagato when the smoke cleared, revealing the man didn't just disappear like a normal summons would. Now can we please save your marital dispute for later? We need to finish up here already, Jiraiya said to the toads and readied himself for another attack. Then I guess I'll just fry something up. Kid, you bring the oil. Pa, you bring the wind. Shima ordered, readying her flames. Yes, mum. Sage art, boiling oil bath the flames, and as the three combined together, making a tsunami of boiling water fly towards the two men who were left standing. The other man Nagato had summoned jumped forward and slammed his hands forward into the jutsu. Jiraiya jumped back to avoid the splash back from his jutsu. Did we get him? Shima asked as the steam began to clear. Once the smoke and steam from the jutsu cleared, however, it showed that all three remained unharmed. What the fuck? The oil's gone, Jiraiya said. They should have been boiled, Shima said, clearly confused. Looks like he has a few tricks up his sleeves as well, Fukusaku added in. Well, it looks like we will just have to figure it out through close combat then, Jiraiya said, kicking off the wall and shattering it behind him from the speed at which he was moving. Cho-Udama Rasengan, he yelled as he slammed the massive ball of spinning chakra into the body of the closest member of the three people standing in front of them. However, the colossal Rasengan began to shrink and drain into the man. What's with this guy? He can absorb an entire technique, Jiraiya asked himself, as he watched his Rasengan fade into nothing. As the jutsu finished, the first man to attack got back up and jumped around behind Jiraiya. Seeing this and knowing it would be easy to get around him, Fukusaku took out a smoke bomb and threw it to the ground. We can attack from behind him, Jiraiya thought as he appeared from the smoke and sent a punch aimed at the back of his head, only to have him stretch out a hand without turning and catch his fist. What the? Even though he can't see, he still managed to block my Sage Mode attack. How? Jiraiya thought as he jumped away. Fine, I will go for one of the others first, he thought, and summoned a large toad to jump out of the smoke over the top of one of the others. Using that as a distraction, Jiraiya sped around behind him on all fours and began shooting spikes out of his hair like needles. This time, however, the man he targeted was able to summon a panda to appear behind him to take all of the attacks. Not a single wasted move. If he tried to dodge, I would have gotten him. Instead, he used a summon to shield an attack he could not possibly have seen coming from behind. But how does he do it? That's not only once but twice now. Without speaking or eye contact, even if they were all sensory types, they would at least have to see the attack coming to be able to block it so perfectly. Also, my toad style, Hair Needle Barrage, is my fastest attack with a large range. To block it he would need a shield, but he did it without even looking. These aren't your typical clones, that's for sure, Jiraiya said. This is what you meant when you said that there's some sort of trick to him? Fukusaku asked. What do you mean, Jiraiya replied. Earlier, when we got behind one of them and you decided to attack from his blind spot right. At that time, the others were watching us all along, Fukusaku said. Yes, I noticed that too, Jiraiya admitted. But they weren't even talking or using eye contact to signal each other, he said. Yes, but that's it. The eyes, they all have the same eyes. Their eyes must share what they see with each other, Fukusaku explained. So that means they can also see a target from 3 different perspectives, Jiraiya surmised. Yeah, probably. Still, what in the world are these guys? Fukusaku said. This is bad. If using ninjutsu is useless against them, then fighting all 3 will be that much more difficult. If I keep fighting them, even in Sage Mode, I'll definitely get myself killed. I never imagined that they would be this strong, Jiraiya thought, trying to weigh up his options on what he would do next. Jiraiya-chan, let's retreat for now, Fukusaku whispered. I agree, said Jiraiya, and he released a smoke bomb to cover his tracks. Pain widened his eyes when the smoke cleared and Jiraiya was gone, but that was all. Escaping into the pipes, are we? Pain said as he stood there with his 2 summoned bodies behind him. Jiraiya meanwhile was running through the intricate piping system of Ame, every so often laying some traps. I have been trying to come up with a plan for dealing with the 3 of them, but I will need some more time. As different as they look, they all share the same eyes. In other words, they all have the Rinnegan, Fukusaku said. Even as Nagato is one of them, I still can't believe that there are that many people that possess the Rinnegan. What in the world is going on? Jiraiya said as he placed another seal before running on. Which is the real pain? Actually, finding the real one ain't the biggest problem here. The real problem is that we're facing 3 people who all possess the Rikudo's Rinnegan, Fukusaku said. Pain. Just what the hell are you? Jiraiya asked nobody in particular. I dunno yet, but at least we do know something about him. Their eyes are linked, and they share the same field of vision, Fukusaku said. So what can I do? If I could separate them I could win, no problem, but with their eyes connected like that they will stick together for combination attacks. Ninjutsu is out of the question because it keeps getting absorbed, and taijutsu would be far too difficult to pull off a win, Jiraiya said. Well then, if ninjutsu and taijutsu ain't gonna work, you'll have no choice but to use genjutsu, Fukusaku replied. But I'm useless when it comes to genjutsu. I'm almost as bad as Naruto. But then again, there is you too, Jiraiya said. Well, if this is indeed Nagato and he was your pupil, then he will know that you don't use genjutsu, Jiraiya-chan. That could be hugely advantageous to us, Fukusaku said. No way. I ain't having none of it, Shima said. What's the problem? Ma, world peace is on the line here. Now ain't the time for being selfish, Fukusaku said. Like I care about some prophecy spoken by some senile old fart. Shima replied. The great elder told us to work together, Fukusaku said. Both toads once again descended into a domestic that could only be heard as loud croaks. Suddenly they heard an explosion from a way back behind them. Well, looks like Naruto's seals are as explosive as ever, Jiraiya joked before turning to Shima. What are you getting so upset about anyway, he asked. I can't sing no duet with Pa, I'm far too old now. It's embarrassing, Shima said. A duet? Jiraiya asked, clearly confused. It's our strongest genjutsu. It's a technique that attacks the victim's brain through their sense of hearing. Unlike the techniques we used to teach you in Naruto-chan, Fukusaku said as they began to run again. I get it, so you wanted me to run so you could use sound, Jiraiya said. Yeah. Since the technique uses sound, our position will be given away immediately. Also, the tones need to be harmonized, so it'll take some time to prepare. If they find us before we finish the song, Pain will be eating frog legs for dinner tonight. However, if we can finish it before he finds us, we will win for sure, Fukusaku said confidently. Jiraiya ran a bit longer, then came to a stop. Hey, what's wrong? Shima asked. If things get too dangerous, I want you both to get off my shoulders and go home, Jiraiya said. No way, Jiraiya-chan. The fate of the entire shinobi world could be depending on this battle, Fukusaku said. I have a plan. It's a bit of a gamble though, Jiraiya said. Let's hear it, the toad with the gray hair and beard said. With Naruto. Naruto was still in the room that held his family tree, but he sat in the middle reading more of his clan's history. The beginnings of the clan wars and the Uzumaki clan building their only settlement on the mainland with the help of the Senju clan. Not many Uzumaki lived there, but they made a name for themselves with their skills in sealing. Eventually the Uchiha clan attacked and overran the village by force of numbers. After that, the Uzumaki clan kept to themselves on their island. Naruto eventually got the part about Madara and Hashirama. Madara Uchiha, who had left Konoha after his clan decided on peace with the Senjus rather than war, had shown up in Uzu looking for allies. He reasoned that with Konoha now formed, they would turn on the Uzumaki clan, so they would be the only power in the area. The leader at the time turned him down, of course, stating that they were great friends with the Senju clan and the formation of Konoha didn't change that or make them a threat. After that, Madara stayed in the village for a few more days trying to gather support, but left soon after without a word to the leader of the clan. Naruto stopped there, deciding he would read on later. He had to start to collect all the scrolls and pack up the detailed historical accounts of the events in the diary. So he walked back into the small tunnel and then down into the underground library. Looking at all the scrolls that contained everything from seal designs to the gold and weapons, Naruto decided to send them to where they were safest. And ran through some hand signs summoning jutsu. He yelled and summoned the large red toad that was always the first to answer Naruto's summons. Hey boss, what do you need? Gamakichi said once the smoke cleared. I have some things that I need stored at Mount Myobakuzen, Naruto said, pointing out all the scrolls. Sure thing. Where are we anyway? The large red toad asked. Under the old Uzumaki compound in Uzu, Naruto said as he began to seal everything into a larger sealing scroll. Wow, it sure looks old. I thought when I was being summoned I would end up with the elders. They were summoned about half an hour ago, so I figured you were in a tough fight or something, but this is easy work, Gamakichi said. I didn't summon the elders, Naruto said. It must have been Jiraiya, but he wouldn't do that unless it was really serious because it takes so long to focus on them, Naruto thought, now worried about how his sensei was doing in Ame. Oh, maybe they just went out. They do that sometimes. Shima Obachan likes to hunt bugs in Konoha's forests, Gamakichi said, seeing the worried look on Naruto's face. Yeah, you're right. Can you collect everything here? I need to go seal up the scrolls in one last room, Naruto said with a friendly smile that didn't last long once he was out of sight. With Jiraiya. Jiraiya was standing over the bodies of the 3 Rinnegan users after having ran their bodies through with large swords while they were caught in Fukusaku and Shima's genjutsu. It's over. But I taught you never to turn your back on your opponent, Nagato, Jiraiya said sadly as he looked down upon the 3 impaled bodies. That duet really dries your throat out, Fukusaku said as they began to walk away. It's also hard to get into harmony with Pa, you know. That's why we don't go using that genjutsu very often, Shima said. It's alright, you can have a rest now, Jiraiya replied. They walked a couple more steps when Jiraiya froze in his tracks. Right behind him was a new body with the same black piercings. Didn't you just tell me not to turn my back on an opponent, Jiraiya-sensei, he said before kicking Jiraiya through a wall, sending him outside onto the water and costing the Toad Sage's left arm. Then from the hole he made when he flew through the wall, 6 men came out. Behold the 6 paths of pain, Pain said this time from a new body again. 6? There's 6 of them? Fukusaku said disbelievingly. And look, the 3 we just killed are there too, said Shima equally as shocked. A new one must be able to heal them with a jutsu or something. The gray-haired toad said. There ain't no technique that can bring 3 people back to life though, are they even human? Shima said, unable to take her eyes away from the 6 paths. Pain. What the hell are you? Jiraiya said, holding what was left of his wounded arm. Pain. That is a name shared by all 6 of us. One of the men spoke standing at the front of the group. How? How can there be 6 people with the Rinnegan? Wait. That face. Is that you, Yahiko? Jiraiya said, unable to contain his disbelief any longer. What the hell is going on? Didn't you say Yahiko died long ago? Also, those eyes. Yahiko never had those eyes. It was always Nagato who had the Rinnegan, he said in anger. So you can still see Yahiko in me. However, Yahiko is long since dead. All that remains is pain, the man Jiraiya called Yahiko said. Enough of your bullshit. How is it that Yahiko has those eyes? Jiraiya demanded. What's going on, Jiraiya-chan? Fukusaku asked. Another one of my former students is among them. But he never possessed the Rinnegan, Jiraiya said. What do you mean? They all have the sage's eyes. I can see it myself, Shima said. I know somehow he has it now, and now that I think about it, Nagato's hair was never orange, it was red. I know because it was the same shade of red as Kushina-chan's. Actually, none of the 6 look anything like Nagato at all. But somehow, there's one that looks like Yahiko, but possesses Nagato's Rinnegan, Jiraiya said to the 2 elder toads. Are you Yahiko? Or are you Nagato? What the hell are you already? Jiraiya yelled in frustration. We are pain. We are God, the man said. And all 6 of them jumped down onto the water surrounding Jiraiya and attacked. Jiraiya dodged several punches and kicks and charged forward, slamming his good hand forward in an attempt to punch the one that looked like Yahiko. However, he blocked it easily. Yahiko, why do you have Nagato's eyes? Tell me, Jiraiya demanded, his small square pupils filled with rage. Even if you were to understand why, you'd still be incapable of victory, he said before throwing Jiraiya with little effort against a wall. When he landed, the man that kicked Jiraiya through the wall grew rockets out of his hand and shot them at Jiraiya, forcing him to flee up the wall in order to escape the explosions. Jiraiya went to leap over to another building, but with a move of Yahiko's hand, a huge piece of cement came from the wall and forced Jiraiya underwater. 2 toad tongues stretched out and pulled down the body that had been summoning all the animals earlier. His presence has disappeared, Pain said. Inside Jiraiya's barrier, he had just sent the body flying into the water with a Rasengan when he landed on the ground. You got Jiraiya-chan, Fukusaku said. But he celebrated too early. From the stomach of the toad he summoned as a barrier, the body he had just hit with a Rasengan appeared and with its final breath sent a long black sharp pole right at the toad sage. He tried to block it, but it traveled right through his arm and shoulder easily before the man seemed to finally die. When Jiraiya snapped the rod off with Senjutsu, he coughed up a bit of blood. Jiraiya-chan, what's wrong? Shima asked, concerned. It's my chakra, it's going berserk, Jiraiya admitted, wincing in pain. It must be this thing, said Fukusaku, and he removed the spike extending from his shoulder that was covered in his blood. They ain't just weird looking, but they use crazy weapons too, Fukusaku said. The Amegakure fell off of the man that he killed lying in front of him, and a scar could be seen on his forehead. And then Jiraiya remembered the person's face. This can't be Nagato. This man, I've fought him before. I gave him that scar on his forehead, Jiraiya said. So what do you think he is doing here? Shima said. The more we learn about this pain, the less we understand, Fukusaku said. What must I do? How do I make the right choice to save the world? Jiraiya thought as he sat still and contemplating the old sage's prophecy. You two get out of here, Jiraiya said. Are you insane, boy? They got you outnumbered and they won't be falling for that barrier trap twice. He ain't onto us yet, so we need to get out here now, Fukusaku said. True, I will most likely get killed if I go out there again, but there is also a chance that I'll learn his true identity. If I don't do it now, then there is a possibility that no one else will ever get this close to him again. This is the only chance we have at uncovering the truth. Maybe Naruto will succeed where I fail. You two, please return with all the information we've uncovered about pain as well as this corpse. Also tell Tsunade that. Jiraiya was cut off, however, by Fukusaku. If that's all you want, Ma can handle that herself. I couldn't look Naruto-chan in the eyes if I left you here alone, Fukusaku said. Jiraiya reappeared on the surface and tried to sneak up on one of the paths by throwing his demon shuriken, but he ducked under it and the other paths soon showed up in order to confront the white-haired toad charmer. I knew it. They're all people I have met in the past. That's it, I've figured out Pain's true identity. Jiraiya thought, but before he could tell it to Fukusaku, he felt something move below him and a hand came up and crushed his throat before impaling him into a cement block along with the other paths. I have to tell Fukusaku-sama before it's too late, Jiraiya thought, but when he tried to talk, no words came out. Hang in there, Jiraiya-chan, Fukusaku said frantically, but in truth he had no idea what he could do. If Jiraiya didn't get medical attention soon, he would bleed out even if any of his vital organs were not hit. It's no use. My throat's been completely crushed. Damn, at this rate. I can't help it, I'm passing out. Am I dying? Have I failed again? Jiraiya thought as he lay there motionless and the paths of pain left him to his fate. When I look back, my life was full of failures. I was always turned down by Tsunade Heim. I couldn't stop my friend. I failed to protect both my student and my teacher. Compared to the deeds of the great Hokages, my accomplishments have all been petty and insignificant. I always wanted to die like them. The tale of life is decided by how it ends. I lived believing that my failures would build character, and they were trials that honed my skills and made me stronger for them. I would in the end accomplish a deed so great that it would obliterate all of my failures, and I'd die a death worthy of a true shinobi. But this is my death, nothing but another failure? It was prophesied that I would lead a revolutionary that would bring change to the ninja world and that I would have to make a big decision. I decided to defeat pain, put a stop to the Akatsuki, and then save the world from ruin, but in the end, I even failed at that. How pathetic. I never imagined that this would be the end of my tale. What a worthless story, he thought, still unable to move. Jiraiya then thought back to a time he said that about a book he wrote and Minato said he liked it. It was the day he was named as Naruto's godfather. Then he started to think of all the time he spent training Naruto, and one day in particular stuck in his mind while he was training him at Myobakuzen. Flashback. Naruto flew at Jiraiya only for him to sidestep the boy and get knocked to the ground. While Gamakichi and Fukusaku watched on from atop a stone toad. You know, you should really just take the loss, it would be less painful if you just stayed down, Jiraiya laughed. No way, I'll never give up, and I never back down, just you watch Arrow Zenin. I will beat you. Then I will defeat the Akatsuki, and once that is over I will become the greatest Hokage ever, Naruto said as he got back to his feet and charged again. He's got guts, he reminds me a lot of you, Jiraiya-chan, Fukusaku said from where he was sitting. End flashback. Naruto. Now that I think about it, you really did turn out like the character from my first book. Your father would be so proud. And if never backing down and never giving up on your word is your ninja way, then I have no business complaining. So I will not die here, I will endure this and get back up at least long enough to send a message to help you as your master. That is my responsibility, Jiraiya thought as he slowly lifted himself up with his hands and raised his head. In front of Jiraiya there was a small wooden box that Naruto gave him before he left, and as he struggled to reach for it he collapsed onto the ground again. However, he was lucky in that he was able to reach it. But he was struggling with the latch. Jiraiya-chan, I can't get off your shoulder or your sage mode will fail and you will die. Pass me the box, my boy. You need to rest, if they see you moving they will come back, Fukusaku said sadly as Jiraiya coughed out another load of blood. Jiraiya slid the box over towards the elder toad, who very slowly and carefully removed the latches. I was sure your heart had stopped. You are becoming quite the annoying one to kill, sensei, came the voice of pain from the hole he had kicked Jiraiya out of earlier. Fukusaku looked up in fear because he knew Jiraiya would not be able to get back up a second time, and all 5 of the remaining bodies returned from out of the hole. Jiraiya didn't seem to care, he was focusing on the contents of the box. All he could see that was inside was a picture of Naruto and him both asleep shoulder to shoulder under the shade of one of the ferns of Myobakuzen, with a smaller Gamakichi sitting on the leaf to create more shade. Jiraiya made a snatch for the picture as the paths of pain landed on the water's surface. But due to blood loss he knocked over the box when he grabbed the picture, and he didn't notice the small blade fall out of the box and clatter onto the ground. But the small toad who had been pulled away from the sight of the approaching pain noticed. My word. But it can't be. He thought as he sent his tongue to pick up the 3-pronged kunai that had landed on the cement. The body of Yahiko, who had been the one to spot Jiraiya's revival, broke away from the other 6 and walked forward, a chakra rod extending from his robe, and all Fukusaku had time to do before the black rod began to shoot toward the head of Jiraiya, who was still looking at the photo, no longer caring what happened to him, was slam the kunai into the ground. Stay down this time, Jiraiya sense. Rasengan. Came a roar from behind Pain as Naruto appeared behind him in a yellow flash. Shinra, but it was too late. The ball of chakra slammed into his side, sending him flying away from Jiraiya. Sensei, Naruto cried out and went to kneel by his master's side. Jiraiya looked up and his eyes widened in shock, and he tried to say Naruto's name but he couldn't manage it and only coughed up more blood. He can't talk, Naruto-chan, his throat has been crushed. It's a miracle he is still alive even now, I need all of my focus to help him keep his heart beating, Fukusaku said sadly. Naruto began shaking in anger and his rectangular eyes changed to add slits as he turned around. To face 3 of the remaining 4 paths, Naruto found the other by sensing him over near where he sent the first one. This is the 6 paths jutsu, Naruto said, disgusted by the bodies in front of him. All the Pain's eyes widened upon Naruto's statement. How do you know that? Information like that is not common knowledge, Jinchuriki Pain said. Let's say it's a family secret. Now which one is the real you, or are you all just paths? Naruto replied, trying to contain his anger so he didn't lose control, as that would be as good as handing himself over to Nagato at this point. Naruto-chan, what are you talking about? We have been trying to figure this guy out for over an hour. How is it you already know something we couldn't figure out? Fukusaku said. Now isn't the time, we can talk when we get out of here. I left Gamakichi, who is going to throw a kunai in 2 minutes for our escape. How long can you keep Jiraiya-sensei alive like that? Naruto said, slowly removing several kunai from his pouch as a tear rolled down his cheek at the sight of his defeated sensei, who was desperately trying to speak to Naruto. It's hard to say, probably half an hour at the most, Fukusaku admitted. Then we are going to have to act fast once we get to safety. I will put him into stasis, that will buy us some more time, but with injuries this bad, I am not sure that even with my best seal how much time it will really give us. Then Kichi can return to Myobakuzen and take one of the Hiroshin kunai to get us there. We can then send Shima to Konoha so she can set up a reverse summon so I can get sensei to Ba-chan, Naruto said. Couldn't you just use your Hiroshin now to get us back there? Fukusaku said. Unfortunately no. I have only just figured the jutsu out and I'm still working out the kinks. I can only use a seal for about 30 seconds after it has been activated, and I don't know how to reactivate them from a long distance yet, Naruto admitted, still trying to control the rage he was feeling towards Pain. Are you finished? Pain asked, and Naruto turned around to see that the first body he killed had returned. How are you back to your feet? I just killed you. And where are your other 2 bodies, or haven't you completed the set yet? Naruto spat, his eyes frequently changing from normal rectangles to rectangles with slits. What you mean 2 bodies? We killed one and sent it back to Myobakuzen before we take it to Konoha later. Are you telling me there are more of these things? Fukusaku said. Basically yeah, but only one more. But from what I know the main body is supposed to be close to its paths, Naruto said. Your knowledge on me is both amazing and unwanted. But you did at least save me the trouble of finding you later, Pain said before the one of the paths shot forward. Naruto reacted quickly and sent 2 kunai flying, one straight toward the approaching path and the other up into the city. Naruto bent down to grab onto Jiraiya and he vanished. This is troubling. But he can't run forever, Devapath said. Well actually, I don't need to. I only need to run for about another minute, said Naruto, who was removing his kunai from a wall and placing it back into his pouch. His rage had for the moment subsided, but he could feel it simmering away, ready to explode should something else trigger it. His fast, Devapath said, turning to face Naruto. Thanks, but compared to my father I am like a little Jinan, Naruto said. Enough of this. Banshu Tenin, Devapath said, and caused Naruto to fly uncontrollably towards him. Whoa, Naruto yelled as he flew forward, about to be impaled by a chakra spike. Naruto, deciding that instead of fighting the pull he would just go with it, formed a Udama Rasengan while he repositioned himself. The Devapath quickly lowered his rod and Pain's Pretapath came forward and absorbed his Udama Rasengan. What the fuck, Naruto said, but he had no time to relax as a powerful kick came from behind that Naruto narrowly ducked under. However, the act of ducking seemed to expose his back and he had to roll out of the way of 4 chakra rods that were directed towards his back. Naruto pulled out of the roll and kicked off into the air, sending a kunai flying behind Pain's bodies while he ran through some hand seals. The 4 of the paths were completely focused on Naruto, while Human was the only one that seemed interested in the kunai. The moment the kunai hit a cement platform over the water, Naruto vanished, appearing behind the majority of the paths. He sent 2 strong bursts of compressed air out from his palms. Shinra Tensei, Devapath said calmly with his back turned to Naruto, and the water underneath him rippled and there seemed to be a great pressure be expelled from Devapath's body and it cancelled out Naruto's jutsu. Damn it, so one of them can absorb my jutsu, while another can somehow create an outward pressure that cancels out my jutsu. Not only that, I'm nowhere near ready to use the Hiroshin in a battle like this, Naruto thought, his hatred for the men in front of him still growing after what he did to Jiraiya. How? How could you do this? Jiraiya was your sensei, Nagato, Naruto spat. You would not be able to understand, his death is the will of Kami, and as I have to pass out divine judgment on those who seek to prevent me from completing my aims and speaking against my word, the word of God, Devapath said while Naruto replaced his kunai in his pouch. So what you think you're a messenger for Kami? Naruto said. Messenger? No. I am, Pain. I am God, nature, life and death all bend to my will. What I say becomes reality. Now hand yourself over, Pain said in a monotone. Pain, huh? He must have lived a life similar to Meta Uzumaki. She called her paths the paths of sorrow, Naruto thought before her felt a pull in the receiver seal for his Hiroshin jutsu. That must be Fukusaku. I'm out of time here, he thought. I have to leave now, But if you ever harm anyone I care about again, or if I ever see you or any of your paths, I will kill you. Nagato. Uzumaki, Naruto said before disappearing in a yellow flash. Uzumaki? What is he talking about? I have no family, I need no family, we will meet again soon QB, and then I will make sure you know Pain said, and after a few moments the remaining 5 paths of Pain left to head back to the Western Tower. Chapter 58, We Want Answers. Naruto appeared in the underground Uzumaki library where he left Gamakichi with a Hiroshin kunai. Naruto-chan, where have you taken us, said Fukusaku from his seat on Jiraiya's shoulder. The old Uzumaki clan home. There was a vault hidden underneath the village that, from what I could tell from my readings, only opens for the head of the Uzumaki clan. And as there was no clan head and I was the first Uzumaki here, and as far as I have explored the family tree, one of only 2 left alive, I became the official clan head of the Uzumaki clan, Naruto said before handing Gamakichi another kunai and letting him dispel the ceiling. That's the Rinnegan. But why? Fukusaku asked. Naruto paused, unsure what to tell the Toad Elder. The Rinnegan had been a secret for almost 2,000 years. If Naruto gave that secret out, it would be like betraying his family's heritage and could also put his future children in danger. Now's not the time. How is Jiraiya-sensei doing? Naruto asked frantically, also pleased for the distraction. He is still alive for now. But I don't think even with Ma and the toad medicine he will make it. He needs to get to Tsunade-chan, the small toad said seriously. Jiraiya was awake and staring at Naruto with obvious pride in his eyes despite how weak they looked. Naruto felt the pull from his kunai being thrown and placing a seal for later when he could use his jutsu freely. They disappeared. Pa! What's going on? Do you know why Kichi-chan is throwing knives into the house? And Shima stopped her complaining when she hopped into the house that she felt her husband arrive in to find Naruto and Jiraiya as well. Oh no, Jiraiya-chan. He needs help, she screamed as she quickly hopped over to begin attaching herself to Jiraiya to aid in healing him. Ma, that will not be enough. We need you to go to Konoha and throw one of Naruto-chan's kunai into the ground, Fukusaku urgently ordered. Kunai? What is that going to do? She asked, but when Naruto handed her the 3-pronged blade her expression changed from skeptical to shock. This is one of Minato-chan's. Then you finished the jutsu, my boy, she said as she accepted the kunai. Yes, he did. But we don't have time for this. If I get off Jiraiya-chan's shoulder, he won't last a minute before the last of his senjutsu fades and he dies. Naruto-chan and Tsunade-chan are the only people who can help now, Fukusaku said. Here, let me put him into stasis, that way he can't deteriorate more than he already has. Hang in there, sensei, I will not let you die, it's a promise. And I always keep my promises, Naruto said as a tear escaped his eyes while he ran through the hand seals for his stasis seal. Good job, Naruto-chan, but I will need your help regulating his senjutsu chakra. If we can keep his levels stable, we can greatly increase the healing rate while he is in stasis, Fukusaku said. I know, that's why I chose that seal and not the 7 points elemental stasis seal. If I used that seal we could keep him alive in that state, but by the looks of his injuries only Sage Mode is keeping him alive. If I used that seal the senjutsu would either drain out of him or build up way too fast to control. By using a lesser seal we have a better chance of saving him, Naruto explained, and he began removing the chakra rods from his sensei's back. Konoha. Tsunade had not moved in almost 5 minutes since the teacup she was drinking from cracked and shattered while it was sitting on the table. Something is wrong, I can just feel it. But is it Jiraiya or Naruto? Damn Jiraiya, why did you have to take that mission? You're always acting so tough to hide the pain you feel. But if you get back I won't make you act any longer, she thought as a tear rolled down her cheek. Suddenly there was a large puff of smoke, and when it cleared Shima was already frantically hopping over to Tsunade. Shima-sama, what are you doing here? Tsunade asked in a tone of foreboding. You need to come to the hospital, Jiraiya-chan has been hurt and we can't help him. Naruto-chan is bringing him, but we need to ready a emergency room. He is hanging on to life by a thread, only Pa is keeping his heart beating at the moment, Shima said as she jumped up to sit on Tsunade's shoulder. Tsunade didn't need to be told twice. Jumping out of her window in typical Naruto and Jiraiya fashion, she ran as fast as she could towards the hospital. She burst through the door, sending it flying off its hinges, but she didn't care as she continued to run inside. Tsunade-sama, is there something you need? The receptionist asked, slightly scared having heard stories of Tsunade's vicious temper. I need the largest emergency operating room, and I want Shizune and Sakura as well as any other medics that are not currently saving someone's life to meet me there in under a minute, Tsunade said, earning a small nod from the receptionist who put the order out over the speaker system. Tsunade however ran outside and summoned the slug queen Katsuyu. Tsunade, it has been a while, what do you need? The giant slug asked. Katsuyu, I need you to help me save Jiraiya. Can you shrink so you can help me in the surgery? Tsunade almost begged. Of course, Tsunade Katsuyu said as she began to shrink to the size of Shima, and she moved onto Tsunade's other shoulder. Hello Shima-sama, it has been far too long, Katsuyu said as Tsunade made her way into the hospital's emergency ward. Tsunade-sama, why are we here? We have patients that we need to see, Shizune said. Shima-sama, you said Naruto and Fukusaku-sama were bringing him. Don't you need to set up a reverse summoning shield? Tsunade asked. No, that won't be necessary. But I need the pink-haired girl to move out of the way for a moment, Shima said. Sakura complied but was thoroughly confused as to why she would be in the way. Her question was answered when a kunai rocketed past her face right where she was just standing and embedded itself into the wall. What the hell was that foe? Sakura didn't get to finish her shocked yell when a yellow flash flickered and Naruto was kneeling in the center of the room, his hand on Jiraiya's shoulder. Nobody moved, even Tsunade. She was only thinking one thing: he did it. He actually finished the jutsu. Don't just stand there, help him. Please, Naruto begged as he looked around the room frantically. Tsunade responded first and helped Jiraiya up onto the operating table and started running a diagnosis jutsu. As she went, she started crying. He should be dead already, she sobbed in defeat. I don't care. He would never give up on you. He's still alive now, save him. Please just try, Naruto said as tears began to fall freely from his eyes. Tsunade just stood there unsure of what to do, but then she felt a burst of chakra from Naruto. Looking over, she saw the Kyuubi's cloak begin to form. Naruto. You need to calm down, your negative emotions are allowing the Kyuubi's chakra to leak out uncontrollably. We will save him. I don't know how, but if there is a way we will, Tsunade promised Naruto, and she got to work first trying to close up any injuries to vital areas. Naruto just stood there fighting to suppress his negative emotions. I need to leave. Please do your best, Tsunade-ba-chan, Naruto said as his voice slightly demonic, red-slitted eyes steaming as the tears burned away even before they left his eyes. He couldn't help it once the Kyuubi latched onto Naruto's negative emotions. The sadness was being replaced with rage, and he needed to get out before he made things worse by hurting someone in the room or even Jiraiya. Leaving the room, Naruto jumped out the nearest window and made his way to the nearest training ground. He needed to destroy something to get the anger out of his system and take his mind off of Jiraiya. I should have been stronger. If I was stronger, Sensei wouldn't have had to go on such a dangerous mission. Nagato. I will make him pay, he has caused so much suffering. All the other Rinnegan uses were so peaceful according to the Uzumaki clan diary, even Meto, who had suffered more than the others. But Nagato, he only wants destruction, Naruto screamed internally as he sent a Kyuubi-powered Rasengan into a boulder. You know that doesn't usually work. You won't calm down that way, it will only make you more and more frustrated, came a feminine voice from behind him. Yugi-chan. Help me, Naruto said. Tell me what happened. Why are you like this? Yugito asked, clearly concerned. It's Jiraiya-sensei. He was hurt. He was dying, and when Tsunade-ba-chan inspected him, she said he should already be dead and there was not much she could do. Then I broke down. First I started crying uncontrollably, and then there was this uncontrollable urge for something. I am not even sure what it was. I felt my consciousness slipping, and then the Kyuubi latched onto it as a powerful negative emotion and brought me back to reality. Since then I have been like this, Naruto said, his eyes still red, but his chakra cloak began to fade as he calmed down in Yugito's presence. I have never heard of something like that. But it looks like it's over now, Yugito said as she walked over to Naruto and pulled him into a hug. After a short moment, Naruto returned the hug, and as the last of Kyuubi's influence left his body, he broke down crying again. However, it seemed different to before. It didn't have the same power behind it as when he was in the hospital room and Tsunade was telling him she didn't think she could save Jiraiya. That must have been it. The sorrow and helplessness that Meto Uzumaki wrote about. But it seems before it took hold, Kyuubi used the powerful negative emotion to try and gain influence over me. So it seems that I cannot awaken the Rinnegan, at least not while Big and Furry tries to break free any chance he gets. But maybe that is a good thing, Naruto thought, still crying uncontrollably but feeling a lot better with Yugito there. With Tsunade. Naruto seems to have calmed down. I can no longer feel the Kyuubi's chakra, Katsuyu said as she and every other medic in the room who was working on Jiraiya gave out a sigh of relief. I can't believe it, this is actually working, he's healing by himself almost. But there is still so much damage, Sakura said. Yeah. Jiraiya-chan is healing himself faster than normal because of us, Shima said. She had attached herself to Jiraiya's other shoulder and had been applying Toad-style medical jutsus while Fukusaku maintained Jiraiya's sage mode. We may just pull this off. What happened out there, Fukusaku-sama, Shizune asked. The opponent Jiraiya-chan faced was like nothing I have ever seen before. I still don't understand most of it. At first there was just one. Jiraiya-chan said he was Nagato, An orphan boy he trained. He had the same eyes all right. The cold yet powerful Rinnegan, Fukusaku said. The Rinnegan? Surely that is just a myth, Tsunade said, speaking for the first time since she started working on Jiraiya. Oh, it's real all right. At the end of the fight there were 6 pairs of them, Fukusaku said. 6? 6 people with the Rinnegan? How is that possible? The Rinnegan was supposed to be a myth and now you're telling me that there are 6 people that have it and they are all in the Akatsuki, Tsunade said, clearly worried. Yes, I know. But Jiraiya-chan thought there was something different about them. He figured it out too, but they crushed his throat and impaled poor Jiraiya-chan with large spikes before he could tell me his real identity, Fukusaku said sadly. So how did you get out of there with Jiraiya-sama? Sakura asked. Before Jiraiya-chan left on his mission, Naruto-chan gave him a box, but I don't think he knew what was inside. After he was impaled his heart had stopped and pain left. But somehow Jiraiya-chan got back up. The first thing his eyes made contact with was the box had given him. Inside there were 2 objects. The first was a photo of the 2 of them during their training on Myobakuzen. Jiraiya-chan was so focused on getting the photo he didn't notice the 3-pronged kunai that came with it. The strangest thing happened, however, after Naruto-chan arrived. He said that whoever Pain is, was using something called the 6 Paths Jutsu. I think there is something Naruto-chan knows that we don't, Fukusaku said. If Naruto-chan knows something about Pain then he will tell us, Pa. It's not like we can question him now. You saw the boy, he was beside himself. I am surprised that he made it to Konoha at all. You only needed a second to see the pain in his eyes, Shima said. They worked through the night, but with the combined efforts of everyone in the room, Jiraiya slowly stabilized. He will make it. But it will quite a few months before he will be able to go on missions. And weeks before he can train again. His new arm will take some getting used to as well, Tsunade said with a weak smile as she finally let up on her medical jutsu. I'll go tell Naruto-chan. He will be extremely pleased to hear the news, Fukusaku said. I will stay here. Jiraiya-chan may no longer be in danger, but he has still lost a lot of blood and it was only our chakra keeping him going. The more senjutsu he receives now, the sooner he will wake up and he can tell us what he found out about Pain, Shima replied. Just don't overdo it, we have been at this almost 8 hours now, the gray-haired toad said. Don't go worrying about me, just go check on Naruto-chan, Shima called in response as Fukusaku jumped out of the window. Naruto's apartment 10 minutes later. Fukusaku knocked on the door and waited. He did not have to wait long as Naruto had been waiting up for word on Jiraiya. Fukusaku-sensei. How's Jiraiya-sensei? Please tell me he's alive, Naruto asked urgently as soon as he saw the small green toad. Easy there, Naruto-chan. Jiraiya-chan is alive and given a couple of months will make a full recovery. He will likely be out for a couple of days though. Ma is staying with him at the moment. Can I come in? Fukusaku said. Yes, of course, make yourself at home, said Naruto as he let the Toad Elder into his house. Naruto went into the kitchen to make some tea for the Elder Toad Sage, who was happily exploring Naruto's lounge room without a care in the world. He then made his way over to the area Naruto used to work on his seals. There he saw a large book open at around 1/8 of the way. Hopping up, he began to read from the top, thinking it had something to do with Naruto's seals. Meta Uzumaki has been trying to explain to me how her paths work. In essence, she divides 6 special powers of her eyes among the 6 bodies. Deva Path controls gravity. Asura Path seems to be made of metal, can change forms, and shoot weapons that are created from inside the body. Human Path has the ability to read minds, and remove a person's soul. Animal Path has the ability to summon any animal it can think of, as well as the other paths or people with the chakra receivers. Preta Path absorbs chakra in any form. Finally, Naraka Path could summon the Outer Path statues. In addition to these abilities, each body was gifted with super strength and were able to still use all skills and techniques they could while alive. I have decided that this will be classed as a forbidden jutsu and all information on the 6 Paths Jutsu will also be made forbidden. Naruto-chan. What is this? Fukusaku asked as he began to read the passage at the top of the page again. Oh fuck. I guess I can't hide it now. It is the secret clan diary of the Uzumaki clan heads, Naruto said, knowing that it would be less painful to just get this out of the way. But this. Meto, did she have the Rinnegan? This is the same technique Pain was using, Fukusaku said. It's not Pain, it's Nagato. To be more precise, it's Nagato Uzumaki, Naruto said. Uzumaki? Are you saying what I think you're saying? Fukusaku asked. Yes, the Rinnegan is the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. But from what I have been able to gather so far, it can only be awakened by terrible loss and sorrow along with a feeling of hopelessness, Naruto said. That is similar to the way the Mangekyo Sharingan is awakened, Fukusaku said. Yes, which is why the clan always kept it a secret. Think of what some people would do to get a hold of those eyes? They could send people to make sure they awaken in a child, then take the kid and bend him to their will. Or take the eyes for themselves, but I think that could only work if they were an Uzumaki or somehow had both Senju and Uchiha DNA. However, throughout the Uzumaki clan's history they have wanted peace. They protected the eyes and the secrets behind them so they would become nothing but a legend. But now I am in a tough spot. Do I come out with the information and ruin my clan's hard work? Or I could keep it a secret, and if I fail to stop Nagato nobody will ever know of his abilities and who he really is, Naruto said, defeated. Naruto-chan, I know you want to protect the secrets of your clan, but this is serious. Show me what you know. We can make it seem like you found out this information about Pain while you were fighting him, Fukusaku said. Yeah, that's a good idea. We better go back to the start then, Naruto said, and he turned the book back to the day that Ryuga Uzumaki activated the Rinnegan. They spent the next few hours going through the book trying to find clues on the Rinnegan's weakness, but all they had managed to find was that none of the paths could use genjutsu but were resilient but not impervious to them, which helped Naruto about as much as a kick right square in the balls. Genjutsu was something he could never use. It's not all bad, Naruto-chan. They said there were records of most of the jutsu the Rikadu Sennin invented. Maybe there are some clues in them. But where are they? The Elder Toad said. I sent them to my Obakuzen along with the complete contents of the Uzumaki clan vault. But it would take all the clones I could make almost a year to read through all of the records with how detailed they are, but I guess we could try. There have only been 4 Rinnegan wielders if you include Nagato, so that would narrow it down a bit. And I would like to go train on my Obakuzen again so I can perfect the Hirashin. I am going to need it if I want to beat Nagato, Naruto said. Yes, that sounds like a good idea. While we are there you can have clones look through the historical records. But we shouldn't wait until Jiraiya-chan is up moving again. If there is anyone who can help you with mastering that jutsu, it's him, Fukusaku said. That sounds great, but do I tell Jiraiya about this book and what is inside? Naruto asked. That is a good question. Jiraiya-chan is quite loyal to you, so I believe it is safe to tell him. But the more people who know a secret the weaker that secret becomes, Fukusaku said, scratching his beard in contemplation. I guess I will tell him. If I can't trust Jiraiya-sensei, who can I trust? Naruto said, making up his mind. Well, it's up to you if you tell him or not. But we need to get this information over to Tsunade-chan. I believe she went to her office. We should compile what is safe to tell her and then head over in a few hours once the sun is fully up, the Toad said. Yeah, okay, but I would like to wait for Yugi-chan to wake first, just so I can tell her where we are going. She has been worried about me since I left the hospital. I experienced that sorrow that Meadow Uzumaki was talking about, the buildup of pressure and the indescribable emotion. But instead of awakening the Rinnegan, Kyubi thought I was losing control and began to flood my body with its chakra, trying to break free, or get me to use its chakra. That kept me conscious, but I had to fight hard to hold on. Actually, the process started when I first arrived in Ame. I was so crushed when I saw Jiraiya-sensei impaled with those rods, I began to feel it. I was so concerned with saving Sensei, however, that it gave me a purpose and I suppressed the emotions as best I could, Naruto admitted. It's all right now, Naruto-chan. Jiraiya-chan is alive, and we have more than enough information on Nagato to stand at least chance against him, Fukusaku said. Ame. Pain's Deva Path was sitting on top of his tower in deep thought. How did the boy know that there was only one real body, and so quickly? This could be troubling. And that technique he was using, could that have been the infamous Hirashin? Pain was awoken from his thoughts by the arrival of Konan. Pain-sama, do you think Jiraiya-sensei could have survived? She asked. It is not likely. But I was sure he was dead when I left him the first time, yet he got back up. It's like he just refused to die, Pain said. I see, she said slightly sadly. She would always go along with what Nagato ordered or said, but she couldn't help but feel sad at the loss of her sensei and someone who was the first person to ever treat her kindly. Get your things ready, in under a week we will begin to move on Konoha. I will not let the Kyubi Jinchuriki escape me again, Pain said as he stood up and jumped from the roof onto a balcony. Land of Lightning. Ga, how long until we get there? Suigetsu complained, dropping his large cleaver in exhaustion. How am I supposed to know that? We still have to find which valley is the right one. So shut up, Sasuke said as they made their way up the huge mountainous region that led to Kumo. Well, I hope we get this done quickly. I greatly prefer the Land of Fire. There are far more animals there, Hugo said. Once we burn down Konoha, I will rebuild the Uchiha clan in its ashes. It will be our ultimate redemption and my revenge for what they did to Itachi, Sasuke said as he walked onward seemingly possessed. Chapter 59, Hunting Bee. Naruto and Fukusaku made their way over to the Hokage Tower after Yugito woke up. Jumping through the window, they found Tsunade passed out at her desk. "Guess she didn't get any sleep last night either," Naruto said fondly. "Do you think we should wake her up?" Fukusaku asked. No, I think I would prefer to live," said Naruto. The last thing he wanted was to confront an angry Tsunade this early in the morning. "Then what do we do? Leave and come back later?" Fukusaku suggested. "No, considering the time her daily paperwork should arrive in a few minutes, Shizune will wake her up for us," Naruto said, and he took a seat and waited. Fukusaku shrugged and just took the seat next to Naruto and waited. Sure enough, 5 minutes later Shizune came in with a large stack of papers followed by Tauntaun. "Good morning, Shizune Ne-chan," Naruto said when she entered. "Oh, Naruto-kun, you're here early," she said as she placed the stack of papers on Tsunade's desk and removed the empty bottle of sake from the busty Hokage's hand before shaking her awake. Tsunade slowly stirred. "Damn it, Shizune, if you woke me up just for paperwork, I'm going to make sure you're working triple shifts at the hospital for a month," she snapped, standing up to make herself look more imposing. "I'm sorry, Tsunade-sama, but Naruto-kun and Fukusaku-sama are here to see you," Shizune said, grabbing Tauntaun off the floor. Naruto then made his presence known by giving Tsunade a hug. "Thank you for saving him," Naruto whispered, not breaking the hug. After a short moment she returned the hug in a motherly fashion before giving Naruto a kiss on the forehead. "No. You're the one who saved him. I should be thanking you," she said as a smile crossed her face. "I don't mean to interrupt, but we came here for a reason, Naruto-chan," Fukusaku said. "Oh right. Ba-chan, I have some information on pain," Naruto said, releasing Tsunade from the hug and earning a bump on the head for calling Tsunade Ba-chan yet again. "Ow, you would think that after a while you would get used to me calling you that," he whined, rubbing the small bump forming on his head. "What information do you have? We will need any advantage we can get if we want to be able to defeat pain." "Well, I know that each separate body has one primary ability, that is a gift from the main body which can use them all. At least that is my theory," Naruto said, trying to make it sound like he didn't know too much from his small encounter with pain. "So one body that controls all six. That doesn't need to be around to fight. If the puppets were able to defeat Jiraiya so heavily, how strong must the real body be?" Tsunade said. Naruto then went on to tell Tsunade a summary of Prince Path's abilities, being careful not to give away too much so that what he said would no longer be believable. "I see, and do you have any idea who the person is?" Tsunade asked. "No, we will need to wait for Jiraiya-sensei to wake up," Naruto lied. Given what Jiraiya-chan had told me. From the start he thought it was his former pupil Nagato, but we need Jiraiya-chan to be sure, Fukusaku said, playing along. "Well, I don't know when he will be up. That Senjutsu speeds up the healing, but he should still be out for at least a day," Tsunade said. "Oh okay. Do you know where Kakashi-sensei is? I need his help to find out what I am doing wrong with the Hirashin. He saw my dad use it, so he might know something," Naruto said. Kakashi. Shizune, where is Kakashi?" Tsunade asked. Tsunade-sama, you sent Kakashi, Guy, and Tenzo to Uzu to find Naruto-kun a couple of days ago," Shizune said. "Meanwhile in Uzu. Do you have Naruto sent yet?" Kakashi asked his small pug dog. "Yeah, I just got hold of it. It's leading into the center of the village," Pakken said. "Well, let's go then. The sooner we find Naruto, the sooner we can get out of this ghost town," Kakashi said. "Yosh, then it shall be a challenge. I will extend my lead over you, my eternal rival, by finding the youthful Naruto before you do," Guy said. "Of all the people to bring on this mission, why did it have to be him? I just hope Kakashi-senpai doesn't make it worse. Again." Tenzo thought. "Ha, you say something, Guy," Kakashi said, taking his one good eye out of his book. "Why? Kakashi-senpai, how could you? Will this nightmare never end?" Tenzo wept internally. It had not been a good couple of days for Tenzo. It was common knowledge in Konoha that while Kakashi and Guy were the strongest partnership in the village outside of the Sannin and maybe the original Ino Shikacho. The downside, however, was for anyone partnering with them. Guy would constantly challenge Kakashi to compete in almost anything, and Kakashi would pretend he didn't hear. In small doses this was bearable. But every 15 minutes for 2.5 days, not so much. The highlight of the trip had been when Guy challenged Kakashi to see who could fall asleep fastest, and Kakashi pretended to already be sleeping, sending Guy on a 5-minute long rant about how he would fall asleep faster than Kakashi the next night, or he would run around Konoha blindfolded and with his legs tied together. "Ah, curse you and your hip attitude, Kakashi. Just you watch, I will find Naruto-kun faster than your summons," Guy said before he ran off, searching every house that was remotely still intact on not completely overgrown by the forest that surrounded them. "Great, now we are going to have to find him once we find Naruto Tenzo's side. Could be worse, Kakashi proposed, sticking his nose out of his book as Pakken followed Naruto's scent. How could it? Tenzo replied. He could still be here talking about flames of youth, the one-eyed man said. Konoha. I think we should send them a message to tell them Naruto back here and they are to return home, Tsunade said. Yes, I sent one late last night, after we finished Jiraiya-sama's surgery, Shizune said with a small smile. Well, that's good, they could be walking around the island for days, just looking for me, Naruto said. He couldn't help but laugh at the thought. Well, we need them back here, there is no telling when they will come looking for you now. If you know their secret, they will want you out of the way to make sure as few people know it as possible, Tsunade said. I know, but I'm not ready to face him yet. I need a place out of the way that I can train. That's why once Sensei is out of the hospital, I'm going with Fukusaku Sensei to my Obakuzen to train, Naruto told the Hokage. What? But we need you here, what if pain attacks? Tsunade asked. We will leave a messenger toad. Should something go wrong, he can reverse summon Naruto-chan, and several battle toads to Konoha. That way Naruto-chan can save his energy and won't have to summon us himself, Fukusaku said. Alright, I guess that sounds acceptable. Are you going to take anyone with you? She asked. Yugi-chan for sure. If pain does come to Konoha, I am not leaving her here by herself. And Jiraiya-sensei, he may not be able to train himself for a few weeks, but I still need him to train me. And he will know more about Pain's fighting style than I do, Naruto answered. I guess that would be alright. But not until after Jiraiya gets out of the hospital, of course. Knowing him, that won't take too long. He hates hospitals more than a town with no bar or hot springs, Tsunade said with an affectionate smile. Land of Lightning. Sasuke's group, who had been keeping of the road so as not to be seen in an area that was full of patrolling ninja, arrived at the top of a small cliff. Just below them was a small shack that looked like a guard house with a large fence that, by the look of many signs strapped to it, was charged with Raten chakra. This area is closed off for a reason. The Jinchuriki must be around here somewhere. Karen, I need to know how many people are in the area, Sasuke said, activating his Sharingan to check for traps. There are 2 guards in the shack. I can also sense other scouting teams in the area, but they are a good distance away at the moment, Karen said. Good, this will be the perfect place to get our answers, but we will have to deal with the other teams if this is indeed where the Jinchuriki is. We will need to get them out of the way first, Sasuke said. Finally we get some action. I haven't had a fight since Kisame, Suigetsu said. That wasn't a fight. All that happened was you got your ass handed to you, Karen yelled in response. Quiet, they will hear us if you yell like that, Sasuke whispered in an authoritative tone. Below them the door to the guard shack opened and 2 Kumo Chunin wandered out. Did you hear that? It sounded like people talking, one of the guards said loudly. The other looked around for a while, then replied. I don't see anything, must have been your imagination. I guess so, but I could have sworn I heard a woman yell, the first guard to speak said, scratching the back of his head in confusion. Chidori Eziu, Sasuke whispered from his hiding place. A long lightning spear shot down from the cliffs above the pair of guards, pinning one to the ground. The other made to retaliate but found himself face to face with an angry Hugo, who picked him up and sent him sailing into the fence, electrocuted and paralyzed. But still very much alive. Well, that was easy, said Suigetsu, jumping down after Sasuke. Kubi Kiribocho resting across both of his shoulders as he walked over to Sasuke, who still had the lightning spear and the Kumo Chunin pinning him to the ground. Tell me where the Jinchuriki is, Sasuke said. His Sharingan began to spin. Fuck you, I would never give up Bisama's location. Go find that Nibi slut who ran off to Konoha, the man yelled before spitting in Sasuke's face. How dare he disrespect me like that? Oh, don't worry, I have plans for Konoha. But first I need to deal with the host of the Hachibi. Now tell me where he is now. Sasuke ordered, and his eyes morphed to from the interlocking ovals of his Mangekyo Sharingan. The Chunin on the ground wriggled under his gaze, trying to fight the pressure that was building. It was like Sasuke was inside his head trying to pull it apart, looking for the answers himself. Fine. He's inside this valley, but it would be foolish to attempt to take him on. Bisama is the second strongest shinobi in Kumo, he said, unable to help himself. Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan faded back to its standard form and Sasuke smirked. Thank you. But you spat in the face of an Uchiha, you should always respect your betters, Sasuke said while smirking. The poor man didn't have time to reply as Sasuke moved the Chidori Eziu to remove the Kumo Chunin's head, his eyes still wide from the shock, and mouth agape in a silent scream as it left his body. His partner, who could still not move well, watched on in complete fear as his comrade's head rolled over to him. Let's go, said Sasuke, His voice was as calm and at ease as it would have been had he not just brutally murdered a helpless captive. What about this guy? Suigetsu asked, pointing to the paralyzed man who couldn't take his eyes off the decapitated head laying before him. Leave him alive, but tie him up. He won't be able to move for hours, but we need him out of the way for a couple of days. Keeping him alive, we'll send a warning to Kumo, not to mess with an Uchiha, Sasuke said. The Uchiha paused for a minute as if in deep thought. Come on, we need to hunt down and kill the other groups that are watching the Jinchuriki. I want him captured by tomorrow, Sasuke said, tossing some ninja wire to Suigetsu. Uzu. Kakashi and Tenzo came to the large Uzumaki compound and paused, taking in the sheer grandeur and power the building seemed to possess, despite the fact it had been burned and had multiple points of structural damage, most likely caused by jutsu, as the grounds themselves seemed to be perfectly well kept. He has to be in there, Pakken said, sniffing the air, looking to see if his scent traveled away. Well, lead the way, we don't have all day. If this takes too long, Tsunade-sama will blow a fuse, Kakashi said, looking around the yard for any signs of movement or traps. Pakken led the two Konoha ninja into the house and, sniffing around, found the last direction the scent headed in. The room was unremarkable, completely empty, and had no windows to allow outside light in. The scent stops here, the small dog said, standing in the center of the room. How is that possible? Kakashi asked. I don't know, I'm a dog, I can't make any more sense out of this than you can, Pakken said. Maybe there is a genjutsu that is hiding something? Kakashi guessed, raising his headband up to reveal his Sharingan. Both the copy ninja's eyes widened as his eyes were able to see through the illusion that was protecting the walls, but not well. He could make out that there were words written on the walls, but he could not make out what they were. Kai, he yelled in an attempt to release the jutsu, allowing him to see properly, but nothing happened. What type of genjutsu is this? To still be active after so long and immune to the Sharingan, Kakashi thought as he walked up to the wall, squinting to try and make out the words. Kakashi-senpai, have you found something? Tenzo questioned. There is a genjutsu here, but it can't be broken and the Sharingan can't see though it well. My guess would be, seeing as it is in the Uzumaki clan home, that you would need Uzumaki blood to see though it. It might have some clue as to where Naruto is, but I can't make out anything, Kakashi said. Then the part-time Cyclops had an idea. If I can't break the genjutsu, I will just have to make my eyes stronger, he thought, activating his Mangekyo Sharingan. The walls that had previously been blurred and unreadable slowly came into focus. Now, being able to see what was written, Kakashi came to the realization as to what the genjutsu protected. It's a family tree, Kakashi informed the Makuten user. Why would they protect something like that so heavily? Tenzo asked. I don't know, but I just found Naruto's name. It must be able to trace the Uzumaki blood somehow. That would make this dangerous for any enemy of the Uzumaki clan to get a hold of, Kakashi said. Is there any switch or secret passage? Tenzo asked. No, it doesn't look like it. All I see are more names, Kakashi sighed. Tenzo created a chair with his Makuten and sat sighing in defeat. What do we do now? As if in answer to his question, a large hawk flew into the room and landed on Kakashi's shoulder, sticking out a leg for him to collect the message it carried. Kakashi. Naruto has returned to Konoha. We need you back immediately. Jiraiya has been injured and we need your team back in case the Akatsuki try to take advantage of Jiraiya's injury to attack. Well, I found Naruto, Kakashi said. You did? What did the message say? Where's Naruto? Tenzo queried. At Konoha, Kakashi replied with a sweat drop. Tenzo broke. He had just spent the better part of 3 days listening to Guy and Kakashi go on and on with their infuriating ritual of challenges. Kami, we came here for nothing, man, this sucks. We should go find Guy, he cried out. Konoha. Naruto had just left the hospital after checking on Jiraiya and he was heading to a training ground with Yugito and Fukusaku. Shima had returned to Myobakuzen after she informed Naruto that Jiraiya should be awake by tomorrow night. Sooner if he comes to the hospital every couple of hours and tops up Jiraiya's Senjutsu. So Naruto-chan, what do you want to work on first? Fukusaku asked. I need to improve my nature manipulation and control. The Rinnegan allows for near-perfect chakra control. He doesn't need hand signs to do all but the most powerful jutsu. I still need hand seals to almost anything but the Rasengan and Hiroshin, Naruto admitted. Well, we better get to work then. You know the drill, create your clones and make them split up. 100 get to work cutting boulders with Fuuten chakra. While another 100 begin floating water. We are going to work on your Hiroshin and maybe some sparing, Fukusaku said. Naruto got to work and created his clones and sent them to work before taking out several of his kunai. So, my main problem is I can't seem to activate my kunai from long distances. It is also taking me a while to rematerialize. It should be instant, but it takes me almost a second, Naruto said. You just need practice. First let's just see how quickly you can move from kunai to kunai. You said the activation lasts 30 seconds. So throw 35 kunai at the same time and try to travel to each one before the 30 seconds is up, Fukusaku ordered. Naruto created 35 more clones and gave each of them a kunai, making them spread out, leaving one standing beside him. And go, Fukusaku yelled, causing all of the clones to throw their kunai in different directions in a large circle. Naruto acted quickly, and the moment he felt the pull from the first kunai and took off, flashing around the clearing. He made it to kunai 29 before he felt the pull fade. Okay Naruto-chan, I want you to continue this exercise until you can get all of the way around, then increase the amount of kunai. You should speed up. You will also need to work on your reactions. Your father was so fast because he had the reaction time to instantly arrive and disappear without thinking, Fukusaku informed the blonde. Okay, sounds like a plan. How many do you think would be a good number to aim for? Naruto asked the elder toad. I don't know, to tell you the truth. Minato-chan never summoned us in a fight. Ma and I only met him a couple of times, with Jiraiya-chan. We will just have to wait until he can help, sighed Fukusaku. Naruto returned to his training in an attempt to speed himself up. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the village, Tsunade was just finishing up giving a summary of what they had found out about Pain to the village elders and Danzo. And that's all we know about his abilities. His identity is still unknown, but we believe Jiraiya knows his true identity. We just need him to wake up from the coma he is in. According to Shima-sama, the Toad Elder, he should wake by tomorrow sometime, the Hokage informed the elders. If he is in a coma, how did he escape this pain? Homura queried. Naruto arrived at the last second and pulled him out, Tsunade said. She did not think the elders needed to know Naruto had completed the Hirashin. They gave her enough grief about the boy already. You let our Jinchuriki face up against the leader of the Akatsuki. That is foolish beyond belief. We need to keep the boy in Konoha safe, not sending him into danger, Koharu said disapprovingly. I didn't send him there, he sort of just appeared. And why would I keep one of the strongest shinobi this village has to offer, out of the action when he is needed? Tsunade said. He is a weapon, and should be treated as such. He may be strong, but with too much free will, he has become nothing more than a delinquent that goes where he likes, Danzo said flatly. He is no more of a weapon than any of my ninja. He is a ninja of this village, and a fine one at that. I will not restrict his movement when that freedom. You seem to hate that he has saved Jiraiya's life and brought us valuable information in regards to Pain, the busty Hokage snapped in reply. Danzo showed no reaction at all and just stood there leaning on his cane. She is weak. Too weak to rule this village. The Gaki needs to be controlled, not sent out to run around as he pleases. My time will come to rule this village like it should be, Danzo thought before turning and leaving the room, while Homura and Koharu still argued their case for protecting Naruto by restricting his movement to the village. Land of Lightning. Sasuke slowly removed his hand from Akumo Jinan's chest and looked out over the valley. How many more groups are there watching the valley? He asked Karen. I can sense at least 3 more. It seems that Kumo is really protective of this guy, Karen said. Well, that's a shame. I was just getting in the zone of the whole silent killing thing. I can see why Zabuza liked it so much, said Suigetsu, his bloody cleaver resting on his shoulder. We will rest for now. Tonight we will take care of the remaining squads and move on the Jinchuriki in the morning, Sasuke said. The others nodded in agreement and they set off to find an area to set up a discreet camp for them to rest before nightfall. After tomorrow all I will have to do is deliver the Jinchuriki to Madara, then I can go annihilate Konoha. It will be their punishment for the death of my clan and brother, Sasuke thought with a vicious smile that rather than make him look happy only accentuated the almost mental instability he possessed. Chapter 60, Capturing a Killer Bee. Akumo Chunin sat on the side of a cliff on guard duty, overlooking a large valley. The night air was still and a thick blanket of clouds obscured his vision. He had no idea that there were 4 ninja in Akatsuki robes closing in on him. There was a flash of blue and the sound of birds chirping filled the air. Huh, that's strange, the guard said to himself as he stood up and walked in the direction the sound was coming from. This proved to be a bad mistake. When he arrived he found his 3 teammates ran dead in his camp, and upon seeing the black cloaks and red clouds of the Akatsuki, went to run but only came face to face with the red eyes of the Sharingan. You're not going anywhere, Sasuke said as lightning came to life around his hand. The Chunin went to scream but his mouth was quickly covered by Suigetsu. We can't have you screaming, you will alert the other teams, or even the Hachibi. And we can't have that, the former Kiri ninja said. Sasuke wasted little time in finishing the Kumo Chunin off. Let's go, There are still 2 more teams we need to get rid of before we can move on the Hachibi without there being an interruption, Sasuke said, deactivating his Sharingan and walking away. Pain was sitting up in his tower reading over several scrolls when Konan came into the room. Pain-sama, the new body for your animal path has arrived, the blue-haired Kunoichi reported from the doorway. Very well. Once I have transformed her into the animal path, we will begin our journey to Konoha. It is time to finish this conflict, once and for all. When I am finished, Konoha will know pain. The Devapath said. Rather than use the door, Devapath created a hole in a seemingly blank wall. Inside there were 6 beds that housed the different bodies Nagato used for his paths. Devapath lay on the closest empty bed and closed his eyes. At the end of the hall, Narakapath opened his eyes and sat up from his bed. Time to replace the body that was lost, Pain thought as he walked out of the room and began to make his way down to where the new body had arrived. Unknown location. Madara was in a large underground base walking with both Zetsu and Kisame. The time is nearly here. Should all go according to plan, we will need to move against Pain the moment Kyuubi is sealed into the statue, or he will discover what the demonic outer path is really for, he said. He might be expecting something. I do not think Pain would simply allow you to kill him and take his eyes, Zetsu said. He does not suspect that I plan anything. Although Konan is always watchful while I'm around, Madara admitted. I don't see what the problem is. Zetsu and I can keep the Konan busy while you kill Pain. After all, you said his real body has been crippled because of his use of the summoning of the demonic outer path, right? So all you have to do is kill him before he can show up with his freaky bodies, Kisame said confidently. It is not that simple. His main body, while being physically crippled, is just as dangerous, if not more, than all the other bodies combined. Beating him will be difficult. That is why we need Sasuke, Madara said. Do you really think Sasuke will become strong enough to win a fight against Pain's paths? You remember what happened to Itachi. He didn't last 5 minutes once all 6 paths arrived. It's hard to catch him in a genjutsu with the Sharingan if you can't keep eye contact with 6 different eyes, Zetsu said. At the moment. No, he would lose without a doubt, which is why I plan on setting him against strong fighters until he has trained his Sharingan to a level where he is almost blind. Then he will be forced to take Itachi's eyes for his own, Madara replied. The eternal Mangekyo Sharingan up against the Rinnegan. Maybe he does have a chance. But do you really think that you can really control him? Zetsu questioned. Certainly, his goal is to wipe out Konoha, a dream that I too share. It will be a simple task of giving Sasuke tasks that seem like they are helping him in his goal. His heat does not need any more corrupting, Madara said happily. What about the Kyuubi? You said Pain is going to deal with him, but what if the Jinchuriki wins? Kisame asked. It is highly unlikely that he will lose. But in the event that happens, there will have to be a change in plans, Madara said. Land of Lightning. The next day. Team Taki had successfully dispatched the remaining scouting teams throughout the night and slowly made their way down to the bottom of the valley that be used to train. The base of the valley was like a maze that branched off into different directions, each one the start of another mountain peak. I like it here, it's peaceful and allows me to control my urges, Hugo said calmly. Good, it means I won't have to calm you myself. But now we have a job to do and your other side might be needed, Sasuke said. I still don't think this is a good idea. I mean, this is a Jinchuriki. We could find ourselves up against a Baijuu if things go badly, Suigetsu remarked. That doesn't concern me, nobody is a match to me with my eyes, Sasuke replied before turning and walking towards the end of the valley where Karen had sensed the location of the Hachibi. Those eyes, they've made him even harder to deal with, Suigetsu thought as he began to follow the arrogant Uchiha. Sasuke-kun is so cool, he just keeps getting stronger and stronger, Karen thought happily as she walked after the others. Hugo was just admiring the area with a smile as they walked on. Not caring about what Sasuke had planned for them and just happy not to constantly be fighting his darker side anymore. Their trip took several hours as they had to stop and check the direction every time the valley forked. It was nearly noon when they came to a large set of stairs that ran up to a large red wooden house with a blue roof. This must be it, Suigetsu said, his blade still resting on his shoulder. He's here all right, I can feel him coming this way, Karen said. From the top of the stairs B appeared, but rather than being shocked to see them, he seemed to not notice at all as he rapped away. About halfway down, however, the existence of Team Taki became apparent for the Hachibi Jinchuriki. Jumping the rest of the steep steps, he landed in front of Sasuke. Are you the Hachibi Jinchuriki? Sasuke asked upon B's arrival. That's not how it goes, you gotta ask if it's Hachibi-sama so it flows. Are you a Jinchuriki, although those cloaks look like Akatsuki to me? B rapped back. I'm the one who will capture you, Sasuke said. You're still doing it wrong. I'm here to capture your greatness, right? B replied, not taking Sasuke seriously at all. Sasuke's team were just sitting there enjoying the show. Wow, this guy is even weirder than Sasuke. That rapping is getting annoying though, Suigetsu thought. What is this? They sent us to capture a complete moron, Karen thought. Hugo was barely even there, he was just looking around enjoying the calming location. Suigetsu, take his right. Hugo left. And Karen, watch my back, Sasuke said as they prepared to attack. Suigetsu acted first, charging forward, Kubi Kiribocho scraping along the ground. B however just stood there with arms crossed. So that's how you roll, motherfuckers, Inner while we be talkin', B said as Suigetsu slammed into him, shattering the ground. We were told not to kill the Jinchuriki, Suigetsu, Hugo said as the large chunks of rocks began falling from the sky. It's okay. I can still feel his chakra signature, Karen assured Hugo. The smoke cleared and it revealed B standing with both hands preventing the large cleaver from finishing his strike. You think you can cut me off, then cut me, yo. You're dumber than you look, because this is my show, B rapped before throwing the large blade away. Suigetsu, fall back, this guy is tough, Hugo call her out. Suigetsu jumped back and Hugo charged forward, changing his form slightly. He went for a punch but B casually leaned out of the way. He then drew one of his smaller blades and slammed the hilt into the gut of Hugo, sending him rolling back and struggling to his feet with a small amount of blood coming from his mouth. The report we got on the Akatsuki said they were tough. But you fools are not so rough, the Hachibi Jinchuriki said in his usual style. Kami, his raps are so stupid, they don't even rhyme half the time, Karen thought, but she was also a little worried. B had just beaten both Suigetsu and Hugo easily. I'm the Hachibi who rocks the high notes like a killer bee. Aw yeah. Start fighting and I'll put you fools to shame. Then you'll all be left for me too, Ow, I bit my tongue, B said he still had yet to move far from the spot he had landed to meet Team Taki. What the fuck is up with this guy? How did this clueless idiot defeat Hugo? Karen asked, her voice trembling slightly. I don't know, but he was able to stop my cleaver with ease, Suigetsu admitted. He was also intimidated by B, even if he would never admit it. Y'all made me bite myself. If you do it again you will be on the injury shelf, B said. Sasuke was fuming. This guy is mocking me, an Uchiha, the elite of the elite. I will make him pay, he thought before taking a few steps forward. Karen, heal Hugo, I will deal with this guy myself, he said. Despite how irrationally angry he was, he still managed to keep his voice calm. Who the hell are you, you dumbass phony? B said as Sasuke approached. There is no point in trying to explain it to you, Sasuke said flatly. How the hell did we get stuck with this weirdo and his crappy rhymes? Suigetsu asked Hugo while Kane looked at his injuries. I suppose seeing as you have no chance to escape I will tell you. We're doing this to attain power using the fastest method available. You're just a means to an end. If I can capture you I know I will be able to burn Konoha to the ground and my revenge will be complete, Sasuke informed B expressionlessly. You want to crush Konoha? You gotta be kidding me, a fool like you couldn't defeat Konoha, B said surprisingly serious. Shut up, they will fall before me and I will kill every last person in that village. But first I need to capture you, declared Sasuke angrily. If you want to capture me you're a fool, but I'm feeling quite relaxed so I guess I can take you to school, B said confidently. Konoha. Naruto was sitting at the hospital with Yugito as Naruto fed Jiraiya Senjutsu to accelerate his healing. How much longer do you think he will be in that coma, asked Yugito. I can't tell. But by the looks of it most of his wounds are healed. He just needs to get over the mental stress and the prolonged chakra exhaustion. That's why I am feeding him Senjutsu, Naruto said calmly. I can stay with him if you want to go train, Yugito said as Naruto took a seat, stopping his Jutsu before Jiraiya started to turn into a toad. No, it's alright. Fukusaku-sensei has gone back to Myobakuzen to prepare for my training and he is going through some of the stuff I found in the Uzumaki hidden vault for me to learn when I get there, Naruto admitted. Why do you have to go there to train? Yugito asked. I need privacy for this type of training and we have a lot of scrolls to go though that I don't want some of the less honorable members of Konoha to know about, Naruto said, thinking about Danzo and his root program and what they would do if news ever got to Danzo about the origins of the Rinnegan. So what are you going to do with all those scrolls? Surely you can't just leave them with the toads? Yugito queried. No, eventually I want to build a clan home here in Konoha and reform the Uzumaki clan and fuse it with the Namikaze. Even though they were never a real clan of Konoha, they earned clan status when my father became Hokage. But it didn't really matter much as he was the only member of his family alive, Naruto said. So the Uzumaki, Namikaze clan, huh? I like it, but a big clan home, isn't that a bit much for us, Yugito said. Us? Yugi-chan, are you telling me you want to get married? Naruto asked with a smirk. Well, maybe not right now, but I will be rather upset if you rebuild your clan without me, she said lovingly. And I would be upset if I didn't have you with me as well. But this is a talk for later. If and when we do decide to get engaged, I bet the paperwork would be a nightmare. Two Jinchuriki from rival villages, I don't see the Kumo Council letting the Nibi out of their village. Without some form of compensation, it would be hell of Ba-chan. Naruto sighed. So let's just wait until she really pisses me off, he joked to lighten the mood. Yugito laughed and leaned in to kiss Naruto, which he readily returned. They stayed that way for what felt like an eternity before they broke for a breath. That was when Naruto heard some scratching beside him. Jiraiya was bolt upright in bed taking notes on Naruto and Yugito's interactions. Son of a bitch, you're up for less than a minute and already I wish you were back in the coma, Naruto said angrily. But then his expression changed. I'm glad you're alive, sensei, but why did you do something so stupid as return to the fight after you had captured that guy and set up a barrier to get away, Naruto said, giving Jiraiya a hug which made the elder sage wince. Easy there, kid, I may be alive but I can still feel my wounds. And I will have you know that there is no such thing as a stupid plan. If a stupid plan works, it is considered genius, Jiraiya said. Genius? To try and take on 5 paths of pain alone while you were injured? I don't think so, Naruto said, reprimanding his sensei. Yes, but the important thing is I know who pain really is, Jiraiya declared. Nagato, his real body was somewhere else, Naruto said flatly, not waiting for his sensei to continue. Jiraiya blanched at that. His great plan to discover who pain really was and why there were 6 people with the Rinnegan was now stupid and pointless. How did you know? Jiraiya stammered. Yugito too seemed genuinely interested in that fact. He neglected to inform her or Tsunade that he knew Pain's true identity and the secret behind his jutsu. Now is not the time. Once we get to Myobakuzen we can talk freely there, Naruto informed the pair. Alright, but it better be a good reason not to tell me now, Jiraiya said, folding his arms in a pout. It's not so bad, think about it. If you just enter sage mode you could be out of the bed by this time tomorrow and up at Myobakuzen by the evening, Naruto said. Yeah, that's fine for you. But what about all the pretty nurses that will see me with a big warty nose and tiny toad eyes, Jiraiya pouted. Well, it's not my fault you could never perfect the technique. Maybe if you spent less time writing those damn perverted books, you would have a perfect sage mode form like me, Naruto said smugly. Yeah, rub it in, why don't you, Jiraiya said. I plan on it. My eyes when I transform are bit and golden bars opposed to your tiny black dots that just make your nose look bigger, Naruto teased. What did I do to deserve this, Jiraiya moaned. You almost died, Naruto said sadly. Yeah, I guess I did. You really saved my ass. But if I had known you finished the Hiroshin sooner I wouldn't have ended up in such a bad way, Jiraiya complained. Well, I didn't think you of all people would get outmatched so badly, Naruto admitted. One-on-one, I would have easily won against most of the bodies, but all at once is a bit much even for me. I mean, they can cover each other's blind sports perfectly, they could see any move I used, Jiraiya said. Did you try a move they couldn't see? Why not use the frog kumite, they can't see that attack, Naruto asked. No I didn't, Jiraiya said, clearly embarrassed he didn't think of using the close combat enhancer. Oh, well the point is, you're safe now. I should go tell Ba-chan you're up. I'll see you in a bit, sensei, Naruto said. Standing up, Naruto opened the window and jumped out. Yugito just used the door. Land of Lightning. Sasuke and B were staring at each other. Sasuke had drawn his sword and was waiting to strike while B had taken up a taijutsu stance, leaving his blades on his back. Hey Sasuke, can we hurry up and shut this guy and his retarded singing up already? Suigetsu yelled from behind the raven-haired Uchiha. I'm rockin' the rhymes, ain't nothin' retarded bout my lines, B rapped angrily. I'm getting sick of this guy. He has no talent at all for rapping, Karen yelled. B was about to reply when Sasuke charged forward looking to slice the Kumo Jinchuriki with his blade. B was able to move out of the way, avoiding the first strike, and sent a kick at Sasuke, forcing the Uchiha to jump out of the way. B then charged after Sasuke in an attempt to finish the Uchiha quickly, but he spun out of the way and planted his foot into the chest of the large Kumo ninja. Amazing, Sasuke-kun, you hit him, Karen thought. Her optimism was short-lived, however. Sasuke's kick did not manage to send B flying like the Uchiha intended. Instead, the Hachibi Jinchuriki just stood there like nothing had happened before taking out a small gray book and a pencil. Sasuke was confused by the actions off the large man and just indicated for Suigetsu to retrieve his neck cleaver while he had the chance. I'm feeling pretty good right now. You just inspired my best rhyme. Thank you. So I will repay you by playing with you more, B said happily while removing his swords and throwing them into the air. Careful Sasuke, this guy is good with swords, Suigetsu yelled as the blades fell back towards the ground and were stopped by B when they were held in various joints around his body. B rolled forward, the blades sticking out to the side so anything around B would be cut. Seeing the danger, Sasuke jumped back and readied his own sword to block the coming assault. Blocking the first strike, Sasuke soon found himself on the defensive as B's unique style of kenjutsu did not seem to have an opening. B flicked several blades from his legs into his hands while rolling out of an attack that Sasuke managed to block, and repositioning himself was able to send Sasuke flying with a kick to his chest. Sasuke landed in a crouch but soon found the attack was not over as three swords rocketed towards the earth, forcing Sasuke to roll out of the way before he was impaled. The attack continued and Sasuke was being cut up badly. His Sharingan was able to follow the movements of all seven swords, but he neglected to pay attention to B, and this led to the Uchiha being kicked away and landing in a heap. What kind of movement is that? I can't even make out his sword style, Suigetsu said, clearly impressed by B's kenjutsu. Sasuke stood up and activated his Chidori. I will send my Raiten chakra to my blade, he won't stand a chance against me then, Sasuke thought as he ran forward and sent the lightning from his Chidori around his blade. He lazily held out one of his swords and charged his own Raiten chakra into the blade, cancelling Sasuke's attack out. He has Raiten transformation as well. And he can manipulate it with even more ease than Sasuke-kun, Karen said in shock. He raised his free arm with another sword ready to strike at Sasuke. I dance like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee, I'm the Hachibi. B rapped as he rolled through Sasuke's defense and sent hip soaring back, cut up and bloodied by B's attack. Sasuke landed in a heap with several of the Jinchuriki's swords planted into his shoulders and unable to move. Kirabai decided to end it at this point and went to finish Sasuke with an attack from above. But as he landed, his sword that would have been driven though Sasuke's heart was blocked by Suigetsu. Kirabai charged his sword with lightning and began cutting through the large blade of Suigetsu. Sasuke, seeing he was still in trouble, lifted his hand up and channeled his own Raiten chakra into Kubi Kiribocho. Then Hugo appeared beside B, his arm transforming into a larger monstrous sledgehammer. B was sent flying with the power of Hugo's attack. This gave Karen enough time to grab Sasuke and pull him out of danger, so she could heal him. Sasuke-kun. Shit. Here, bite down on my arm, hurry, she said. Sasuke didn't need to be told twice and grabbed her arm and bit down hard. Karen was in a mixture of pain and immense pleasure. Pain because someone was biting her arm. And pleasure because it was Sasuke. B was standing on top of a large boulder looking down at Suigetsu and Hugo when the scene behind the pair caught his eye. So he deflects my attacks by streaming lightning through his body. It also looks like he was able to avoid a fatal wound. Not just that, but the girl Hess with is capable of healing those who suck in her chakra. Maybe Big Brother was right about the Akatsuki and they really are dangerous, he thought as Karen finished healing the Uchiha. Konoha. Tsunade walked into the hospital with Naruto to check on Jiraiya. Walking in the room, they found Jiraiya sitting up in bed writing in a book. What are you doing? There is no inspiration for your books here. Unless you are writing another one already? Naruto said as he walked over to his master and took a seat. A great idea for a book came to me while I was unconscious from my encounter with Nagato, and I needed to get it onto paper quickly. I don't have an ending yet, and it won't be as sexy as most of my other books, Jiraiya admitted, closing the book at the page labeled The Tale of Naruto, careful not to let the others see what he was writing. A non-perverted book? I will believe it when I see it, Tsunade said from the doorway with a friendly smile. Aw, that hurts, Tsunade Heim. I have another book that wasn't perverted, but it didn't sell well at all. It was my first attempt at writing, Jiraiya admitted. It was also your best work. Here, Tsunade Ba-chan, read it for yourself. I love it, and apparently so did my dad, Naruto said, taking out the small green book and tossing it to Tsunade. I think I might just do that, kid. But if you're tricking me and this is perverted in any way, you will be teaching basic sealing method at the academy for the next 5 years, she threatened. Naruto couldn't help but gulp. He knew the book wasn't perverted, but the threat of working at the academy was horrifying. Anyway, Jiraiya, I'm here to give you a quick checkup to make sure you're alright, then we will know how long until you can get out of here, Tsunade said. Let's hope it's now, this place is boring as hell. I can't even do any research, Jiraiya moaned. Pervert, Tsunade whispered, but held no real anger in her voice as she activated her diagnosis jutsu and began scanning the bed-ridden Toad Sage. Land of Lightning. Kirabai had just escaped from a powerful attack by Hugo and was hiding behind a cliff. For a bunch of weaklings they sure are a pain in the ass, Oh well, I guess it's Mr. 8-time B thought as Karen located him and Hugo sent Sasuke flying off in B's direction. Sasuke, who was flying with the aid of Hugo, narrowed his eyes at the sight of B with 4 tails of chakra swaying behind him. Just like the Tobi at the Valley of the End. Now will be my test, Sasuke thought, and he anticipated B's attack perfectly, moving out of the way in the nick of time to avoid the powerful lariat that was aimed at the brooding Uchiha. B was shocked that Sasuke was able to dodge his attack, but then decided to change his target to Sasuke's allies. Hugo had enough time to act, however, and grabbed Karen and Suigetsu, and using his transformation jumped from the side of the cliff just before B slammed into it. Sasuke landed at the bottom of the valley next to the water to check on his team. Just as I thought, his speed and power has improved dramatically. But there is nothing I can't see coming with these eyes, Sasuke thought with a smirk as he looked up to the dust that was clearing from where Kiribai had just attacked. Karen, I need you to feel for his chakra and predict his attacks. Keep an eye on his location and let me know. He ordered. Before Karen could respond, however, B charged out of the dust towards Sasuke. Knowing he was in trouble, activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and caught B in an illusion. Those eyes, the report we got from Konoha said that only Itachi Uchiha was the only member of the Akatsuki that had those eyes. But then again, they never had information on another Uchiha in the Akatsuki. Shit, I can't move. B thought as he landed in a heap on the ground. Sasuke turned around to revel in his victory, only to be met with the forearm of a rampaging B. Lariat. B screamed, crushing the Uchiha's chest and sending him flying. That should take care of him. Good thing too, because I wasn't paying any attention to bro when he was telling me about the Mangekyo Sharingan's known abilities, B thought with a small amount of relief. Fool, had this been a more skilled opponent with those eyes, we could have been taken. I was able to break you free because of the boy's obvious arrogance and not pushing his advantage when he had you, Hachibi warned B. Don't sweat it, Joe. I kicked his ass, so keep your complaining on the down low, B rapped back in his head. While Hugo and Karen were currently huddled over Sasuke, B began to rap again, but nobody was listening to what he was saying. At least not until the chakra tails flowing behind him changed into real octopus tentacles. I'm a Jinchuriki and my true form's a monster, so check out my transformation, yeah. B rapped as he transformed into a large ox with 8 tentacles flowing behind him. Karen fell on her ass, she was too scared to even move. Could this level of chakra really exist? She thought, trembling in fear. We have to move. Hugo, are you done yet? Karen asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Hugo removed his hand to reveal a large scar on Sasuke's chest, but he was otherwise fine. Sasuke sat up and opened his eyes before turning to Hugo. Thank Hugo, what happened to you? Sasuke asked. Hugo had become a kid, slightly younger than them. I couldn't let you die. You help keep me sane and are a memento of Kimimaro, Hugo said. It was this moment B in Hachibi form charged. He was just about to crush the 3 ninja when water rose up and took the form of a shark. Suigetsu in the center attacked B and pushed him back while Sasuke and the others made their retreat. You think you can escape? No chance, eat this, B roared, and black energy seemed to appear from the area around the Hachibi and a large black orb formed in his mouth. B shot off his attack and it vaporized the land all around them. So much so that another scouting party miles away saw the blast. That came from Bisama's valley. We need to go check it out. Something might be wrong, one of the men said. I agree, let's go, the other agreed, and they took off at full speed. Back at the fight, Sasuke and the others managed to escape by diving underwater just out of the range of the blast, but were now huddled around an injured Suigetsu who seemed to be trying to re-assimilate with the water after being blown away by the blast. What do we do now? He's too powerful and we can't run. It's over, Karen said sadly. B charged forward ready to end Team Taki for good. When Sasuke's left eye began to bleed. Amaterasu, he whispered, and black flames shot out and latched onto the Hachibi. B screamed in agony and jumped into the water, but the flames remained as he began flailing about. He was clearly in pain when he sent a tentacle that had no flames on it flying towards Sasuke and Team Taki. Acting on instinct, Sasuke quickly used a Chidori Ezu to remove the wayward appendage as the Hachibi continued to wail in pain. Sasuke then activated both eyes of his Mangekyo Sharingan and suppressed the black flames, leaving the burnt and unconscious form of B. In fact, the only thing that told them that he was still alive was that he still contained a large amount of chakra. We did it. Let's take the Jinchuriki and get the hell out of here, Hugo said with a sigh. Sasuke walked forward and wrapped B in his Akatsuki cloak just as the 2 members of the scouting team arrived on a ridge far above. That's the Akatsuki. And they have Bisama. One member said in complete shock. Look at that, on that one's back. It's the Uchiha crest. I am sure of it, the other said. We need to go tell Raikage-sama. But first we need to go find the other scouting parties that were supposed to be watching B in case of the Akatsuki attacking. The first one said, putting down his binoculars. This will not end well. Asuma will tear apart the elemental nations looking for the Akatsuki now, his partner said before following his comrade. At the bottom of the water a single tentacle was floating off downstream and there was a rather heated debate going on inside. Why are you letting them escape B? We can kill them right now, Hachibi asked. Why do that? If they think I have been taken I can take a vacation, B replied in typical rap form. What do you think your brother will do when he finds out you're missing? Hachibi yelled. I don't know, I just go with the flow, I'm going to have some time off. Bro can do what he wants, B rapped back. Their argument continued until Sasuke and Team Taki were long gone with B's clone he made out of a small part of one of the Hachibi's tentacles. Chapter 61, Training on Myobakuzen. Naruto was waiting for 5 o'clock. Why 5? Because that is when Jiraiya would be released from the hospital. It had been a day since Jiraiya had awoken from his coma and Tsunade had made sure that he stayed in bed until the following evening. He had spent the day improving his Hirashin while his clones worked on elemental manipulation and chakra control. He had improved his Fuuten manipulation the most. He could now cut through almost any boulder with just his basic element manipulation. This led to a great power increase in the power of the Fuuten jutsu that he used. And could now do the great breakthrough and violent wind palm with no hand seals. His process with Suten and the Hirashin had been less impressive. While he had increased the number of kunai from 35 to close to 50, he had hit a wall and not been able to push past it. The problem with his Suten manipulation was mostly that he only had 2 jutsu and they were both high ranking. He had not been game to test his recently named Suten Udama Rasengan. The Rasen Tsunami. He simply did not have enough room in any of the training grounds to freely fire any of his full-powered Rasengan variants without causing irreversible damage. The rest of the time he spent by adding his own entrances to the Uzumaki clan diary. Making sure to give future Uzumaki who would read the book a detailed account of the major events of his life through his point of view. It was a clan diary, not a personal one, so Naruto refrained from mentioning too much of his personal life. By the time Jiraiya was ready to be released from the hospital, Naruto had covered most of the clan-relevant events of his life. Meaning the invasion of Konoha by Orochimaru, the fact the Akatsuki were chasing the Baiju'u, and finally the re-emergence of the Rinnegan and that Nagato was acting as the leader of the Akatsuki. Naruto had just put his pen down and closed his book when Yugito came in with both Jiraiya and Tsunade. Weren't you supposed to meet me once I got out of the hospital? Jiraiya pouted as he took a seat. I'm sorry sensei, I must have lost track of time. I was working on something, Naruto said, subtly moving the thick book out of the way. Something that may have gone unnoticed by Tsunade and Yugito, who were talking about what they were going to do about pain, had made Jiraiya's eyes narrow and him to get out of his seat and walk over to the table Naruto had been working at. What's this? I have never seen this book before. It is certainly not your sealing work, Jiraiya said, looking over Naruto's shoulder. It's nothing, just a diary, Naruto half lied. Jiraiya knew Naruto wasn't telling him the whole truth, was silently tossing up whether to push the point or not. Fine, if you say so, Jiraiya said. Naruto gave an internal sigh of relief. He didn't want that book to be noticed while Yugito and Tsunade were around. Not that he couldn't trust either of them. But Yugito, despite how much he loved her, was still a ninja from a different village, and Tsunade would find the book far too interesting to not inspect for herself. And there was no telling what she would be forced to reveal to the council. So Naruto, I think we will need Fukusaku-sama here to discuss our plans to deal with pain, Tsunade said. Yeah, you're right, give me a second, I need to focus my chakra in order to summon the elders. It shouldn't take too long as I only need one of them, Naruto said. After a short moment, Naruto slammed his hand to the ground and Fukusaku appeared leaning on his cane he used to whack Senjutsu out of the body. Naruto and Jiraiya both winced from the memory of how much it hurt. Ah, Naruto-chan, is it time to go? I have organized the scrolls you sent and I have found some useful jutsu for you to use, Fukusaku said, not paying attention to the other members of the room. What scrolls are you talking about? Tsunade ordered. Ah, Tsunade-chan, I didn't see you there, Fukusaku said as he paled slightly. There is a hidden vault under the Uzumaki clan house that can only be opened by the Uzumaki clan head, and as I am the eldest Uzumaki of the main family left, it recognized me as the Uzumaki heir, and after I activated the seal it led me to a large library even bigger than the ninja library we have here in Konoha, Naruto admitted, hoping Tsunade would not want to inspect the contents too thoroughly. I see, so in other words it's Uzumaki clan property. Guess you found yourself a nice little stash there. I have to ask though, was there a blue katana there at all? It was the brother's sword to my grand uncle's Raijin. It was the great elemental sword of water, We thought it was lost when Uzu was burned and taken by Iwa, but there has been no sight of it, Tsunade asked. Yeah, it was there in the armory. If it belonged to the Senju family, you're welcome to have it. I don't use a sword, so it is no use to me, Naruto said. Truth is, he didn't really want to give it up, but it was a small price to pay if Tsunade would leave the rest of his findings in the old Uzumaki compound intact. No, I wouldn't dream of taking it. My granduncle and the former head of the Uzumaki clans made the two swords together in a sign of friendship. Tobirama was a Suiten user and the former Uzumaki clan leader used Raiten. And with the Uzumaki skill in sealing and the Nidaime skill at elemental manipulation led to the creation of the two swords. They each took the blade of the element that they didn't use. They named them the Thunder God and the God of the Sea. They were seen as a sign of prolonged friendship between our two clans. So I could never take that sword from you. I am just glad that it has resurfaced after so long, Tsunade said with a smile. What else was down there? Jiraiya asked curiously. Lots of things. Jutsu from each element, styles of taijutsu, kenjutsu, and medical jutsu, weapons and other things, Naruto said, not wanting to tell Jiraiya, who had always been liberal with Naruto's money, that he had found enough money and valuable artifacts to keep him living well for life. Medical jutsu? Do you think I could get a copy of them? I realize they are clan jutsu, but they could help save lives, Tsunade asked. Yeah, I guess so, but we need to get Nagato out of the way first, Naruto said. Naruto-chan is right. We have training to do, if we want to stand a chance against the Rinnegan. Jiraiya-chan knows more about the boy than anyone. Even if he can't physically fight for a while, if anyone can help Naruto-chan, it is Jiraiya-chan, Fukusaku said. You're right. So I take it you will be leaving for Myobakuzen then, but how will we contact you if Naruto is needed? Tsunade asked. Simple, take one of the messenger toads. Should anything come up, you just have to send him back to Myobakuzen to tell us, Fukusaku said happily before summoning a small off-green colored toad and handing him to Tsunade. Hey, and if that fails here, you can summon me with one of these and I will be here in a flash, Naruto said, pulling out one of his marked kunai and handing it over to Tsunade. Ba-chan, I would appreciate it if you kept the kunai hidden. I don't need any more attention, and I bet there are people who would want to get a hold of one of the kunai so they could study it. Fat load of good it would do them though, Naruto said, thinking about how long it took him to finally figure out how to make the seal work for him. He basically had to remake the seal completely from scratch. Very well, I don't want the drama of having to deal with the elders and Danzo trying to force you into a marriage. And that would just intensify if they knew you had discovered the secret behind your father's prized jutsu, Tsunade said. Yeah, no doubt that old bastard Danzo would see it as an opportunity to get a hold of the jutsu for himself. Or at least see it as the future of Konoha for children to all learn the Hiroshin and have an army of people who could use it, Jiraiya said flatly. Exactly, that old fart may love Konoha, but he wants it to become a heartless killing machine that controls the world. He is no better than Nagato, Naruto said. This is neither the time nor place for this discussion. Naruto-chan, are you ready to go? Fukusaku asked the spiky-haired blonde. Yeah, I just need to grab some more things. Yugi-chan, you packed your stuff right? Naruto asked, to which Yugito nodded and pulled some scrolls out of her pockets. Naruto sealed the Uzumaki clan diary into a scroll and placed it with the rest of his stuff in a backpack. You better come when you're called, brat, you know I don't like waiting, Tsunade said and gave Naruto a quick hug before turning to face Jiraiya. Looks like I owe you a date when you return, you came home alive after all, she said with a smile and gave Jiraiya a hug. Jiraiya couldn't help himself and his hand slowly drifted down toward her ass, but she cracked him on the head before he could reach his prize. You're still nothing but a pervert, what am I going to do with you, she said, shaking her head as Jiraiya slowly picked himself up off the ground. Well, Ma is waiting, so we better get to work, Fukusaku said, and the three ninja and a toad disappeared from the living room, leaving Tsunade standing in Naruto's room alone. You better learn fast, kid, you're the best hope we have for defeating the Akatsuki, she thought before leaving the apartment, carefully locking the door behind her. Konan was walking the halls of Pain's tower. He had just finished the reanimation of his new animal path and told her to meet him at the top of the tower. Konan opened a large door that led to a huge room with a large window that looked out over the village. The room itself was completely black and nothing could be made out from where Konan stood at the doorway. Pain-sama, we are ready to go. It will take almost a week to get to Konoha if we are moving at full speed, Konan informed the room. As if glowing from the darkness, two Rinnegan eyes appeared out of the darkness. Good, it is time to bring change to this world. There will be peace once the world knows pain, a voice called out from the darkness. Are you not worried about the boy? He was able to escape after all, Konan asked tentatively. He is a talented opponent, this is true. But he is still a mortal man while I'm a god, Pain declared. Still, it would be wise to be careful. He was trained by Jiraiya sensei after all, Konan said. You are right, caution is needed when dealing with the Kyuubi, Jinchuriki Pain said. How far away from Ame will you summon us? The blue-haired Kunoichi asked. As far as I can reach, we need to keep unseen until we reach Konoha, Pain said. Of course, Pain-sama, I will go check on the village quickly and prepare for the summoning, she said before turning and leaving the room. Land of Lightning. Sasuke and Team Taki were sitting around a campfire. They had tied Kirabai up with ninja wire and made sure to keep watch of him to make sure he did not wake up and attack them. How much further till we reach the drop-off point, Suigetsu asked. It had taken almost half a day before he fully reformed from his injuries. If he was not inside a large body of water when the attack hit, he would have most certainly died. Around another day. Karen, any sign of people following us? Sasuke asked. No, there is nobody around for as far as I can sense at the moment, Karen replied. So, how do you plan on defeating Konoha? We got bloody lucky taking out the Hachibi, but isn't the Kyuubi far stronger and the spirit of fire and wind? I don't think your Amaterasu will work all that well on that, Suigetsu said. He didn't want to admit it, but he was scared about having to fight anything like the Hachibi again. It won't be an issue. The Tobi has no control over the Kyuubi. He doesn't use it at all. And I can simply burn the village to the ground with Amaterasu, after I take my revenge on the elders, the Hokage and Danzo, of course, Sasuke said. Killing an entire village, are you sure about this? Hugo asked. They are living in ignorance of the Uchiha and Itachi's sacrifice. I will make them recognize the Uchiha and make them pay for how they treated Itachi and for killing my clan, Sasuke declared. He sounds like a broken record. First it was Itachi, now it's Konoha. I certainly don't want to be his target afterwards, Suigetsu thought with a deadpan expression. My Obakuzen. Naruto, Yugito and Jiraiya arrived around a table with bugs and worms served up in a bowl. Ah, Naru-kun? You remembered to bring some food, right? Yugito asked, feeling queasy from just the sight of Shima's beetle soup. Yeah, mostly ramen, but I brought some fruit as well, Naruto replied. His feelings towards eating bugs were about the same as Yugito's. That's good, I think I will just take an apple. I will wait for you at the shack, Yugito said, and she collected Naruto's backpack with his scrolls and left toward the shack the toads had built for Naruto. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be to get time to talk without Yugi-chan around, Naruto said as he pulled out the scroll with the Uzumaki clan diary he had removed from the bag before he handed it to Yugito. What are you talking about? What is so secret the girl can't hear? Shima said. This, Naruto declared, unsealing the scroll, and after finding a page with information on the Rinnegan he handed it over to Shima so she could read it, followed by Jiraiya. This. But how has nobody found out about this? Jiraiya asked, clearly in awe of the book. That's not all. That is just information on the Rikadu Sennin. There is recorded details of 2 other Uzumakis who awakened the Rinnegan. It is the secret dojutsu of the Uzumaki clan. I suggest you look for the name Meto Uzumaki. That will answer your questions about Nagato, Naruto said plainly. Jiraiya used the next couple of hours to read the sections of the diary that had anything to do with the Rinnegan. He had to reread everything a couple of times to make sure what he was reading was real. I don't believe it, with how close Uzu and Konoha were you would expect someone to know about this, Jiraiya said in clear shock as he closed the book. I think some people may have. There seems to be a small connection with the 6 Paths Jutsu and the Nidaime Zeto Tensei. Think about it, Tobirama and the head of the Uzumaki clan were best friends. They made their swords together. Maybe Tobirama knew and his attempt to use the 6 Paths Jutsu led to the creation of the Edo Tensei, Naruto theorized. I don't know, seems like a possibility. But what are you going to do about this book? If it ever fell into the wrong hands it could be dangerous, Jiraiya said, eyeing the book with awe and a hint of wanting. It can't be opened by anyone other than the Uzumaki clan head. Here, try for yourself, Naruto said, handing the closed book back to Jiraiya. Attempting to pry the book open, nothing he did would open it. Hey, I guess it is pretty safe then. Well, I still say you keep it secret, Jiraiya suggested. Don't worry, I plan on it. Why do you think I didn't want to tell Yugi-chan? You know what Kumo is like with bloodlines. A is alright, but that council sounds more power-hungry than Konoha's, Naruto said sadly. Yeah, that is probably a good call. So the question is what to train you in? You know the Hirashin, so that is something we can work on improving. It took Minato years to perfect it to a point where he could activate a seal in mid-air once he threw the kunai. Another problem that took him a while to figure out was activating a seal from a long distance, Jiraiya said. Yeah, that is exactly what I'm having a problem with at the moment. Do you know how he fixed the problem? Naruto asked eagerly. Yeah, it was a lot of meditation until he could feel the basic pull of the unactivated seal. It took him years to perfect it, but eventually he could travel miles outside of Konoha to an inactive seal. We will have to work on it at close range. Reactivating a seal, Jiraiya said. Good, while you work on that with Jiraiya-chan, I want you to send 100 clones with me and we will work on some of the Fuuten and Suten jutsus you found. Ma, can you train Yugito-chan with some Katen and Raiten jutsu? I put them to the side, Fukusaku said. Very well, I will train the girl, but it is not often I train someone who is not a summoner, Shima said. Thanks Shima-ba-chan, Naruto said, but immediately regretted calling Shima old when she hit him with her rolling pin. Respect your elders, Shima said angrily. Come on Ma, Naruto-chan didn't mean anything by it. And he needs to train, Fukusaku said. When do we start? Jiraiya asked. Tomorrow. Give Naruto-chan and Yugito-chan a chance to settle in and get reaccustomed to the atmosphere here, Fukusaku said. Sounds good to me, but I better get to my shack before Yugi-chan begins to think I forgot about her, Naruto said, and he stood up from the small table and collecting his book left the elder's house and made his way down over to his own small building. When he arrived he found Yugito talking to Gamakachi and Gamatatsu, who had shrunken themselves so that they wouldn't be too big for the room. Hey boss, Gamakachi said with a friendly wave as Naruto walked into the room. Your girlfriend is nice boss, she gave me some snacks, Gamatatsu said with a dopey smile. Hey guys, what are you doing here with Yugi-chan? Naruto asked. We saw her walk over to your house so we wanted to say hi, Gamakachi said. Oh, that's cool, but we have a busy couple of days coming up and we will need our rest. And I would like to talk to Yugi-chan in private, Naruto said, hoping the toads would get the hint. Luckily for Naruto, Gamakachi was not as thick as his brother, and he pulled Gamatatsu, who was complaining that he wanted some more snacks, out of the shack. Well, I am glad Gamakachi is at least switched on, Naruto said before giving Yugito a quick kiss and sitting down on their small bed. Yes, I think he is definitely the brains of the pair, Yugito said as she straddled Naruto's legs and pushed him back so he was laying down. We are going to start training tomorrow. Shima will be training you in some of the Katen and Raiten jutsu that I found in Uzu, Naruto said before planting some kisses along Yugito's jaw line, causing her to purr. Naruto broke the kiss and was about to continue on with the plan for the next few days, but Yugito didn't let him as she slammed her lips back against his to prevent him from continuing. The next morning, Jiraiya and Fukusaku had both encountered a very angry pair of blonde Jinchuriki when they went to get Naruto out of bed to begin their training. It seemed Yugito did not appreciate being woken that early in the morning. Especially not when she was naked, covered only by a thin, almost see-through bed sheet. Naruto was angry because Jiraiya had taken out his notepad and started taking notes. After a short while, a very angry and embarrassed couple came out of their hut to find Jiraiya and both elder toads waiting for them. Ah, you're both up. Good. Naruto-chan, make 100 or so clones and send them to follow me. You will be going with Jiraiya to work on the Hirashin. Yugito-chan, you will be going with Ma to work on Katen and Raiten jutsu and manipulation, Fukusaku said calmly, not wanting to set off a Jinchuriki if he could avoid it. After splitting up, Naruto and Jiraiya came to a clearing and sat down. Okay, hand me one of your sealed kunai, Jiraiya said. Naruto happily handed him a 3-pronged kunai and watched as Jiraiya set the kunai in the ground around 100 feet ahead of where Naruto sat. He immediately felt the pull from the kunai, but rather than move to it he stayed in place. After around 30 seconds the pull faded and the seals deactivated. Now I want you to feel for the kunai, just close your eyes, create some clones to help if you want. Naruto created around 50 clones and they all sat feeling for the feel of the seal. Around an hour later the seals on the kunai began to glow. Unfortunately 50 Narutos teleporting to the same kunai just leads to them arriving in a big pile before dispelling. Konoha. Kakashi, Guy and Tenzo arrived at Tsunade's office to find her at her desk talking to Danzo, who upon seeing the two Jonin and Onbu left the room in a huff. What was that about? Kakashi asked after Danzo left. He was demanding to know where Naruto is, Tsunade said flatly. I thought you said he had returned, Guy said. Oh, he did, but Jiraiya and Yugito have gone to Myobakuzen. Danzo demanded he return immediately, and I told him no. This toad will retrieve him should he be needed, Tsunade said, indicating the small toad croaking happily on her desk. Now there have been some developments that need to be passed on. We sent a hawk to Kumo as the terms of our agreement, but I need a team to take the information to Suna. Guy, I want you to take your team. This information is regards to the leader of the Akatsuki. A man who possesses the Rinnegan, Tsunade informed the three. Surely you're mistaken, the Rinnegan is just a myth, Kakashi said disbelievingly. Myth of not, he has it and both Naruto and Jiraiya have seen it. Kakashi, I need you to pass this information on to the other high-ranking Jonin. Have Asuma help you, he is back in action now, So we'll be at one of the training grounds, Tsunade said seriously. Yes, Tsunade-sama, Kakashi said, and he took several scrolls with information on Pain before turning and leaving the room. Now Tenzo, I have a scouting task for you. Kabuto gave Kakashi and Naruto a book on members from the Akatsuki. He was in the Land of Fire, so I want you to put together a team and look for him. We don't have much time and can't afford to let him wander freely around the Land of Fire, Tsunade said, handing Tenzo his new mission assignment. Myobakuzan. The following few days followed along the same lines. Naruto would work on the speed and distance of which he could activate a seal, but it was still taking quite a while. He had in that time picked up quite a few new Fuuten jutsu as well as some high-powered Suten. He also started leaving some clones behind to go through the historical records that he took from the Uzumaki vault looking for any weakness in the Rinnegan, but he was drawing a blank. By the fourth day, Naruto had decided to prevent the massive pile-up of Naruto clones. When he attempted his training, he gave each clone a separate kunai to practice with. This worked in theory, in practice, not so much. After a while, the pull of separate kunai made the clones forget which one they were supposed to be focused on, and after a while they all ended up in a pile again. Yugito had made great progress with her Katen jutsu as well. She had managed to learn quite a few of the B and A ranked jutsu and managed to be ranked Raiten jutsu. Outside Konoha, a girl with orange hair looked out from atop a mountain in the middle of the forest, her rippling purple eyes scanning Konoha that sat around the base of the mountain, the lights from the buildings illuminating the night sky. Tomorrow Konoha will be no more, and they will know pain, she thought before summoning Konan, who created a large tree from paper. Chapter 62, Pain's invasion begins. It was a nice day in Konoha, not a cloud in the sky. The villagers and most of the ninja were going about their lives without a care in the world. Outside the village there was a large scouting shack and several teams that had been sent to keep an eye out for an attack. Did you find anything? Ajonan asked as a small scouting group arrived back at the shack. No, nothing. This is ridiculous. I don't know why Hokage-sama decided to double the amount of scouts. Nothing ever happens here, one of the two men that arrived back complained. I'm sure she has her reasons. Come on, let's go start on the report, the Jonin said. They turned around to make their way back to the scouting outpost, but upon turning around came face to face with Pain's Devapath. The commanding officer went to say something but was cut off as he soon found a chakra rod impaling him in the stomach. The other members of the scout party jumped away. Two members attacked from the sky, grabbing onto Pain. And they motioned to another to run. He received the message perfectly. He needed to go warn the Hokage, but before he got to the end of the small clearing they were in, his comrades were blown away from Pain and he was slowly lifted off the ground. The man could only look on in fear as he slowly flew towards Pain, who was drawing another chakra rod from his cloak. After he was killed, the other remaining members of the scouting group were finished off quickly and Pain made his way down towards the village. Once he was close enough, he waited as his other paths and Konan arrived from different directions. The time has come, Devapath said calmly, looking over at the large walls of Konoha. Myobakuzan. Naruto was eating a late breakfast with Jiraiya and Fukusaku while Shima trained Yugito outside. So Naruto-chan, have you found anything out about Pain's weaknesses? Fukusaku asked. No, it has no information at all. It seems even in the Uzumaki clan there was little information on how to defeat someone with the Rinnegan. Probably because they never figured they would have to fight one of them, Naruto moaned. Well, they seem to be affected by genjutsu, but I guess that doesn't help either of us, Jiraiya said. Guess I will just have to divide the paths and defeat them that way with nin and taijutsu, Naruto sighed. It's not over, there is still time. We need to keep looking, Fukusaku replied. Yeah, you're right. If any of my clones find anything they will dispel and let me know about it, Naruto admitted. With Pain's paths and Konan stood in front of a large barrier that, while it wasn't blocking their entrance, would warn Konoha the moment they passed it. A barrier? Well, that won't be hard to fool. I will throw the animal path over the village and then she can summon us all. Konoha will only be expecting one person, not 7 plus our summons. When we get inside we will split up. Animal, Asura and Preta paths will cause a distraction and keep the village busy while the rest will search for the Jinchuriki. Konan, you're with the search team. Starting here the world shall know Pain, Devapath said. Wasting no more time, Asura path threw animal path into the air high above Konoha. Konoha Defense Department. An old censor was sitting in meditation monitoring the barrier. Once Pain's animal path crossed the barrier, however, his eyes snapped open. We have an intruder, he said, shocking the members of his team who were currently playing cards. Single target, Sector 1B, near the West Gate. Hokage office. Tsunade was currently at her desk filling out some paperwork from mission reports when explosions rocked the village. She immediately shot out of her seat and moved to the window. What the fuck, it's all over the village, then that means. She didn't get to finish her report as a man entered the room. He went to inform Tsunade of the situation but cut off before he could even speak. Sound the alarm at once, she ordered before turning back to face out the window. Is this you, Pain? Are you here looking for Naruto? She thought as she began thinking what she should do to help. Then an Anbu arrived in her office. Tsunade-sama, enemy's strength is reported to be around 7 attackers with unknown amounts of summons, and we have found an eyewitness of one of the attackers. He wore a black cloak with a red cloud pattern, the Anbu informed Tsunade. Then it's time to recall Naruto, Tsunade said. Do not do as she says, came the voice of Koharu as the door opened. Entering the room, the two elders and Danzo stood before of Tsunade's desk, clearly wanting to talk to the Hokage. What do you mean? We need Naruto back here if we want to be able to defeat Pain, Tsunade said. Pain? You mean the leader of the Akatsuki? The one who defeated Jiraiya? Koharu asked. Are you saying he has come after Konoha so soon after defeating Jiraiya? Homura added. Danzo didn't say anything, he just stood there. That is exactly what I am saying, he probably wants us dealt with before we can learn any of his secrets, Tsunade replied. Then that is the reason why you cannot recall Naruto. They are hunting the Baijuo and it is believed that they already have most of them. To bring the Kyuubi here would be giving Pain what he wants, Danzo finally spoke. And despite this you are trying to summon Naruto back. Such a thing will be like pouring oil onto a fire, Homura said. Meanwhile out in the village things were going from bad to worse. Fires raged uncontrollably and Pain's summons had ran right through more than a third of the village. The ninja forces had just been alerted via the alarm, but by that time it had been rather obvious that the village was under attack. Kakashi and Asuma had just finished off a large centipede when Asuma saw another one heading towards the apartments where Kurenai lived. Hey Kakashi, can you take care of this? I need to get Kurenai to safety. After all, it's important to protect the king, Asuma said. Sure thing, I can handle myself, Kakashi informed Asuma, and the pair split up. Asuma arrived just in time. Whipping out his chakra blades, he removed the head of the large centipede just seconds before he crushed into Kurenai. We have to get you to safety, come on. The underground tunnels are not far from here, Asuma said, and he grabbed Kurenai's hand and began escorting her towards safety. In the hospital all the beds had been filled with the injured and now the waiting room was so full there was barely space to walk. Sakura, who had been off that day, ran as fast as she could to the hospital once the attack started but had only just arrived. This is horrible, she said as she entered the waiting room. Oh Sakura, thank Kami. We need all the help we can get, we need these people movable in case there is a full evacuation called, a nearby doctor called out. Where is Shizune? Sakura asked. Shizune-san isn't here, that means you're in charge, the doctor called before standing up and moving to another patient after wrapping his wounds. Alright, we need to treat patients via priority, critical first, and so on. If people can still walk or have relatively mild injuries, give them some pain medicine and send them to the underground tunnels. We can't waste any time, Sakura ordered. Back in the Hokage office, the heated debate on whether or not to recall Naruto was still going on. Tsunade finally lost her cool and lifted both elders up by the fronts of their robes. Tsunade. What are you doing? Unhand us, Koharu said. Who do you think you are? How long do you intend to treat him like a child? He's not a hidden weapon to be used by Konoha just when there is a war. He is a ninja who is sworn to protect Konoha. He's one of, if not the strongest ninja we have. And he will defeat Pain, I believe in him, Tsunade yelled before dropping the elders on their rear ends. The two elders stood and turned around in shame. Do as you please, Koharu said before they walked out. Danzo followed them, but he eyed Tsunade and the messenger Toad one last time before leaving. As they left, Shizune entered to provide a report on what she had found from her autopsy of the first animal path that Jiraiya had killed. Messenger Toad, get ready to return to Myobakuzen to summon Naruto. I need to go to the roof so I can monitor the situation better, Tsunade said after listening to Shizune's report. The occupants of the room left and the Toad began to focus on finding Fukusaku to save him some time once he returned to Myobakuzen. But with his eyes closed he didn't see the man re-enter the room. Danzo, who was leaning on his cane, stood up straight and pulled a hidden sword from his walking stick before impaling the Toad, killing him before he could dispel. The elders are useless, all they have done is grow old. I don't care if Tsunade managed to make them side with her, I will keep the Kyuubi caged and safe until I need it, Danzo said to himself. Back in the village, Konoha's troops were in a bad way. The large summons were distracting most of the higher-ranking ninja and Pain's bodies, and Konan were easily dispatching the lower-level ninja as they engaged them. Despite the information that had been passed around about Pain, only some of the Jonin had yet received it, so by the time a Jonin with the information on Pain would arrive, most of the others had already fallen, and Pain would target the higher-ranking ninja first, as they would be more likely to have the information that Pain needed. Tsunade had arrived on top of the Hokage tower flanked by Anbu and had summoned Katsuyu. "Tsunade, it seems the village is in a bad way," the mammoth slug said. "There is no time for that now. I need you to go attach yourself to every civilian and ninja that is still in the village," Tsunade ordered, and Katsuyu began splitting up into thousands of smaller slugs. "I will protect this village no matter what," she thought as her summons dispersed throughout the village. Elsewhere, Kakashi was searching the village. He ignored all of the summons. He knew that the only way to stop them for good was to find the body that controlled them. Jumping up on top of a pile of rubble that used to be a large 3-leveled building, Kakashi looked down upon Iruka kneeling down helpless in front of one of the paths. Deva Path drew a chakra rod. "Tell me where the Kyuubi Jinchuriki is, or you will die," he ordered from Iruka. "I have no intention of telling you anything," Iruka stammered back. "Very well then," Pain said, and he moved his hand to thrust into Iruka's chest but found his arm stop within inches of his target. "So, you create a diversion with loud explosions and summons so that you can investigate without encountering any of the stronger members of the village," Kakashi said, giving an accurate summary of Pain's plan. "Clever, then I guess I should ask you. Where is the Kyuubi Jinchuriki?" Devapath said. "What you are doing is pointless. The people here will never sell out a comrade, even if it means dying," Kakashi declared. Kakashi snapped the chakra rod he had in his hand and ducked just under a kick before running through some hand signs and creating a large wall around them with a Dotonjutsu. Pain then extended a new chakra blade out from his robe, piercing Kakashi's shoulder. Kakashi didn't complain. Instead, he charged a Reikiri and moved his hand forward to send his fist into Devapath's face. However, at the last second, a huge pressure built up and his body moved just slightly to the side out of his control, causing his hand to ram into the wall. "Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. I'm honored to meet you. Tell me, where is the Kyuubi?" Pain said flatly. Kakashi jumped back, yanking the chakra rod from his shoulder and activating another Reikiri. "That's a stupid question," he said before he jumped forward. He got within an inch before Kakashi seemed to stop in mid-air. Kakashi seemed to stay still for what seemed like an age before he was rocketed back, and the whole area around Devapath crumbles and flew away. The explosion from the force of Devapath's jutsu shook the entire village, and the buildings and anything in the area were tossed up into the air and thrown away, causing a huge dust cloud. Kakashi removed himself from a pile of rubble. That jutsu, it was certainly different from a shock wave. This must be the body that controls gravity, but how do I beat him if he can repel anything that gets even remotely close? Absolutely everything was blasted away with him at the epicenter, Kakashi pondered. "Well then, how will you counter this?" Kakashi said, reactivating his Reikiri and sending a dog made from lightning straight for the Devapath. Pain just stood there, and when the lightning grew close enough to strike, he simply widened his eyes to activate his jutsu again, and the pressure forced the jutsu to dissipate. Not just physical attacks, but jutsu as well. Impressive. Now then, how should I? Kakashi was cut off mid-thought when he felt something move behind him. Another one? Shit, Kakashi said to himself as Asura Path landed and shot missiles toward Kakashi. There were several large explosions, but Kakashi managed to avoid them all and sneak up behind Asura Path, and Reikiri active took a swing for the back of his head, only for Asura to duck easily underneath. What the fuck? I see, the report said their eyes are connected. The other one saw me, Kakashi thought, realizing he was now in quite a difficult situation. Devapath would be hard to beat by itself, but if he had backup, he would be far harder, bordering on impossible to defeat. And Jiraiya-sama took on 6 of them at once. That is insane, Kakashi thought as he looked for a weakness he could expose. Asura Path seemed to morph and grow extra faces before ripping off his cloak to reveal 6 arms and a tail that looked like a sharp serrated blade. Devapath moved to stand behind his Asura Path and held his hand out. "Banshu, Tenon," he stated calmly, and Kakashi felt a pull on his body that he couldn't resist that sent him flying forward. Unable to stop himself, Kakashi was impaled on the tail-like blade of Asura Path. But Kakashi then started to glow and exploded in a scream of electricity. Asura Path, who was mostly made of metal, was shocked badly. A Raiden clone. Devapath thought, but before he could think any more on the development, he had to jump out of the way as 2 massive fists slammed into the ground. Asura Path, who couldn't move, thanks to the Raiden chakra, was crushed. Choji and Chozo arrived in the clearing that Pain made with his gravity jutsu, along with several Chunin. "Hey Kakashi, are you alright?" Chozo called. Kakashi pulled himself up out from some rubble that was behind the group of Konoha ninja. "Well, I'll manage," he said as he walked over to the others. "A trap clone. Clever, To have planned it out from when I first pushed you back, Pain complimented before charging. The ninja all attacked at the same time from different angles. However, once again just before they hit, everything stopped. Shinra Tensei, Pain said, and all of the attacks were simply blown away like they were never even there. Choji managed to hold himself in place and eventually send several kunai flying toward Pain, but the Deva Path was easily able to avoid the blades. That's odd, he didn't use his jutsu again, Kakashi thought as he attacked a smoke bomb to the end of another kunai and threw it. This time, however, Deva Path did prevent the attack from hitting with his gravity jutsu. The smoke bomb still went off and gave Kakashi and the team of Konoha ninja time to retreat. There is an interval of time before he can use his gravity jutsu again. We need to aim for that if we want to beat this guy, Kakashi informed the others. They had already lost most of the group that had arrived to help Kakashi when the weapons they had thrown were sent back right into them. They sat and made up a plan in order to get close enough to Pain's Deva Path to test how long the interval is. They decided on getting Kakashi to attack from underground with a lightning-charged kunai. This attack inevitably failed and Kakashi was sent flying away along the ground. You move quite well. And you have a wide range of jutsu. People like you need to be killed, you may pose a problem later, Deva Path said before drawing another chakra rod to finish Kakashi once and for all. Before he had a chance to kill Kakashi, however, Choji and Choza rolled out in an attempt to crush him. But they were too slow, and Pain repelled the too slow, he said as he sent the two Akimichi flying. This, however, was another distraction, and both father and son pulled on large chains wrapping the Deva Path up tightly. Kakashi Hatake. He planted this chain underground before attacking from below. Truly a great plan, Deva Path thought as Kakashi ran his fist forward with his Reikiri to finish off the Deva Path, only for Asura Path to appear and take the hit. No, I have to get through. This is our best chance we will have, Kakashi thought, but before he could move forward the time between Deva Path's jutsu ran out and a huge force erupted around the area, sending Kakashi flying back. Once the smoke cleared again, Kakashi was in a bad shape and Choji and Choza appeared to be at least unconscious if not dead. Your inability to move does not seem fake, so I can assume you are not a clone, but just to be sure I will not approach you, Deva Path said, and he used his control over gravity to retrieve a nail from the ground and held it out ready to finish Kakashi once and for all. The time limit just ended and he was ready to kill Kakashi when he felt something move beside him. Turning, he just had enough time to repel the chakra blade of Asuma. Asuma Sarutobi. Former member of the 12 Guardians. It seems I need to deal with you as well, Pain said flatly. Hey Kakashi, you don't look so good. Is this guy really that tough? Asuma asked, the cigarette not leaving his mouth. Yeah, he is. Watch out, he repels all attacks. You need to get close to him within 5 seconds of him using his jutsu, Kakashi said, coughing up a small amount of blood. I see, close combat is my specialty, but if he can repel attacks, how can I get in close? Asuma asked, talking to himself mostly. I don't know, you will need backup, and I can barely move, Kakashi admitted as he supported himself on a cement slab that had managed to survive the assault of Deva Path's Shinra Tensei. Asuma was still contemplating how he could win in a fight against Pain when Deva Path charged and thrust a chakra rod toward Asuma's chest. Asuma was not an elite Jonin for nothing, however, and he rolled out of the way using his trench knives to slice the chakra rod before it could strike. Rolling behind Deva Path, Asuma went to kick Pain in the back only to be repelled before his attack hit. I take it that was how he repels the attacks? Asuma asked. Yeah, only way we have found around it is a 2-stage trap. There is a gap of around 5 seconds before he can use his jutsu again, Kakashi said as he once again tried to stand. We need to get that information to Tsunade-sama. As it stands, I don't stand a chance against this guy alone, Asuma admitted before he had to jump away in order to avoid another strike from Deva Path. Kakashi couldn't stand on his own legs at the moment due to injuries, but he managed to support himself enough to stumble over to check on Choza and Choji. They were both alive, but Choza needed medical attention and quickly. Asuma was keeping Deva Path busy but was clearly not getting any close to landing a decisive blow. Every time he would get close, Deva Path would simply blow the Fuuten user away like he was a fly. I am growing tired of this game, now tell me where Naruto Namikaze is, Deva Path said. His face still completely void of all emotion. Hey, do you really think anybody here would sell him out? Even the civilian population wouldn't tell you anything about Naruto, Asuma said, panting slightly. Deva Path was about to use another high-powered Shinra Tensei when he received information from his human path who had just removed the soul of Shizune. It appears he is not in the village at the moment. Well then I guess we can change out tactics a bit then, Deva Path said ominously before disappearing in a puff of smoke along with the busted corpse of the Asura Path. What does that mean? Asuma said shakily. He was badly beaten from constantly being pushed away from Pain. Nothing good, I assure you, Kakashi said as Katsuyu arrived and began to check on the ninja in the area. Kakashi, your injuries will be too much for me to heal here, you need to get yourself and Chozo to the hospital. The boy will wake in a few moments, the slug said before separating and attaching herself to each of the ninja. Back on the Hokage tower, Tsunade was meditating, channeling her chakra through Katsuyu to aid in keeping the villagers and her ninja safe. She was brought out of her trance, however, when someone landed behind her. It appears the Kyuubi Jinchuriki is not in the village, Devapath said. Tsunade turned around and prepared for a fight. Why are you doing this? Tsunade asked. This is all for peace, Devapath said flatly. Peace? What if this is peaceful? You have killed hundreds of people. That is not peace, Tsunade spat. It seems you don't understand pain, allow me to enlighten you, Devapath said. No. Whatever he is planning, I have to stop him. Damn it, Naruto, what is taking you so long? Looks like I'm going to have to use this, Tsunade thought as she pulled out the kunai Naruto gave her. You're looking for Naruto, right? She said, hoping to stall pain while she drew the kunai from behind her. That is correct, but it has become clear that he is not in the village. So now Konoha shall know pain. Devapath said and slowly began to lift into the air. You want him? Fine, here he is, Tsunade said as she dropped the kunai into the ground at her feet. The seals on the kunai began to glow, and half a second later there was a yellow flash and appearing in front of Tsunade, separating pain and Tsunade was Naruto. Hey Ba-chan, why didn't you send our messenger Toad? Things look pretty bad here, Naruto said, not taking his eyes off of Devapath. It seems you are here, then I guess we can begin. Shinra Tensei, Devapath said, extending his hands to direct his jutsu toward Naruto only. Chapter 63, Naruto vs. the Six Paths. The building under Naruto began to shatter and fly up toward him. Oh shit. Let's go, Ba-chan, Naruto said, and he quickly threw a kunai off to the side and grabbing Tsunade's arm flashed away. Naruto and Tsunade appeared in time to see the large trench through the center of the village form. It had been a very directed blast of gravity that had sent anything in its path flying out of the way. Naruto, you go. I need to stay and keep an eye on everything with Katsuyu. Oh, take her with you. And good luck, Tsunade said from the hiding place Naruto had flashed to before handing Naruto a small slug that crawled into his cloak pocket. No sweat, Ba-chan, I'm sure the toads will be here to help soon, Naruto said half confidently. Not wanting to give away Tsunade's location, Naruto decided to sneak out of the area and look to hit pain with a surprise attack. Using a building for cover, Naruto began searching for the other paths, deciding that the Deva path would be the most difficult to deal with. Outside the village. The other paths had left the village due to the fact that Deva path was about to crush the village with a high-powered gravity field. He has arrived, Konan, return to me while I deal with the Jinchuriki, Pain said through the human path. Very well, Pain-sama, Konan said. With Naruto. Naruto was following Deva path, making sure to keep out of sight, as he walked toward the center of the village. Where is he going? He saw me throw my kunai in the other direction, Naruto pondered. His question was soon answered as Animal Path appeared in the sky before summoning the other paths to her. Well, at least I have found the others now, but how can I hit them? Anything I try will be useless unless I can get in close without being overwhelmed, Naruto thought as he began to go over his options in his head. Before he could get past option 1, blindly charge and head on. Pain made his move, summoning a large bird and several centipedes along with a large ox and a rhino. Before Naruto could ponder what they were summoned for, they began destroying anything in their path. The bird flew into the air and was shooting bombs all over the village, causing large fires and massive destruction. I need to deal with that bird first, Naruto thought as he took off after the bird, making sure to keep out of sight of the six paths that were standing around as if they were waiting for Naruto to attack first. Naruto followed the large drill-beaked bird and climbing up a tall section of rubble he waited. It did not take the bird long to spot Naruto and flew right at the blonde. Naruto, who had waited for this, simply waited for the bird to get closer before jumping onto the bid, slamming a Rasengan into its back, causing it to dispel. The act of defeating the bird informed Pain of Naruto's location, however, and soon all the other summons changed their direction and were making their way towards the blonde's location. Well, this is going to suck, Naruto thought as the large ox came charging toward him. Naruto created 2 clones to throw him into the air a second before the ox bulldozed into the fallen building Naruto was standing on, turning it into nothing more than dust. In mid-air, Naruto summoned another clone while charging an Udama Rasengan and used it to launch himself down, slamming his jutsu into the back of the ox, causing it to dispel. He had no time to celebrate, however, as a building behind him exploded, revealing a charging rhino. Realizing he couldn't get out of the way in time easily, Naruto steadied himself and grabbed the horn of the rhino, and as it pushed him back, Naruto focused his chakra into his arms and legs and threw the large summons into the air before tossing a kunai out of the area before any more large summons showed up. I can't fight them here, I need to get pain out of Konoha, Naruto thought out loud as he looked over the destruction done to village while the rhino fell to earth, dispelling in the process. Very impressive, you were able to take out 3 of my summons with ease, came the voice of pain from behind Naruto. Naruto spun around and found himself looking at Deva, Asura and Preta paths. Where are the others? Waiting to ambush me, no doubt, Naruto said. A good prediction. You have caused me enough problems. Banshu Tenin, Deva path said, pulling Naruto forward with his jutsu, causing Naruto to be drawn uncontrollably toward pain. Naruto had just enough time to fling a kunai off to the side and flash away to avoid being impaled by Asura path's tailblade. Naruto reappeared to the left and had to quickly duck under a kick from the human path. Naruto, knowing he needed to seize this opportunity where he had a single body isolated, slipped underneath an attempt to impale him with a chakra blade, and in response he jumped up, grabbing the head of the human path and slamming his knees into the path's face, crushing the head between his hand and knee. Naruto grabbed the body and threw it away behind him after making sure it was no longer usable. One down, Naruto thought to himself as Asura path showed up, sending rockets flying at Naruto, forcing the blonde to jump back out of the way, and taking a deep breath in, Naruto shot a huge gust of wind forward, but before it could hit Asura path, Preta arrived and absorbed the jutsu. Naruto threw a kunai towards the pair and jumped back as Deva path arrived from above, the blonde chakra rod drawn. Once again pain just missed as Naruto disappeared, appearing above the other 2 paths, slamming a Rasengan into the Asura path, causing him to explode in a shower of metal, and instead of using a jutsu, Naruto used a senjutsu powered kick to send Preta path flying into a wall. Naruto was focusing so heavily on pain he did not notice the small crowd that had begun to gather around at a safe distance to observe the fight. With Kakashi and Asuma. Kakashi was being supported by the wind using Sarutobi while they made their way towards the hospital. They were approaching the area around the hospital when a loud explosion caught their attention. What are they doing now? Asuma asked, still clearly exhausted from his previous fight with Deva path. It is Naruto. He is fighting all 6 bodies at the moment. So far he has killed 3 of them, Katsuyu said, relaying what she had witnessed from her other self hiding on Naruto. He has managed to kill 3 of them already, we only managed to take out 1, and that was difficult, for Naruto to have taken out 3 by himself. That is insane, Kakashi said. What if he needs help? Let's hurry up and get you to the hospital so I can make my way over to the fight, Asuma said. I would not recommend it. If you interfere, Naruto will have to worry about keeping others safe, and he needs to give pain his complete attention at the moment, Katsuyu said. We can still go check out the fight. I wouldn't mind seeing how much Naruto has improved since our fight at the Chunin exams, Kakashi said, standing up for himself, finally able to support himself. You're right, that is a fight I don't want to miss. And if Naruto needs help, we will need to be nearby, Asuma said. The pair took off despite Katsuyu's protests that Kakashi was not in any condition to fight against pain. With teams 8 and 10. Wow, did you see that? Naruto is tearing that guy apart, Kiba said from where they were hiding watching the fight. Yes, Naruto has truly left us in the dust. He is a far superior shinobi than we are, Shino said in a monotone. Something is wrong. If Naruto is doing so well, then why isn't the other guy looking worried, Shikamaru added. Probably doesn't want to show fear, Kiba said eagerly as Naruto and Deva path eyed each other, neither wanting to make the first move. With Naruto. Jiraiya sensei has taught you well. It is surprising that you have been able to defeat 3 of my bodies, but your resistance is useless. You being captured is the will of Kami, Deva path said. Yeah, you can think what you want, but you're 3 bodies down and my cavalry is still on the way, Naruto smirked. Is that truly what you think? You cannot defeat a god, Pain said. Well, I'm not good with being told I can't do something, so I guess you'll just have to force me to believe that, Naruto said, scanning the area for the other 2 paths but couldn't see them anywhere. Naruto was getting ready to attack the Deva path when the ground under him started to shake. Naruto jumped back seconds before a large centipede burst up from underneath where he was previously standing seconds earlier, and 2 more came through buildings on either side, forcing Naruto to retreat slightly until he could find an opening to take them out. Ahead of Naruto there was a tall building that was still mostly standing. Using the wall for elevation, Naruto ran up the wall and turned around and ran through some hand deals. Sage art, Suiten Uzumaki style, water spear, Naruto screamed, turning around, and he shot out a thin stream of water from his mouth that cut the head off of the nearest centipede, but the others were able to avoid the deadly Suiten jutsu. The other 2 centipedes came in for an attack that Naruto was able to jump out of the way from easily. When they pulled themselves off the ground to look for Naruto for another attack, they were distracted by a huge puff of smoke coming from the large area that had been destroyed by Devapath's Shinra Tensei when Naruto first arrived. "It's about time you guys showed up," Naruto said, landing on a nearby pile of rubble. The smoke cleared to reveal the 3 giant battle toads of Myobakuzen along with the 2 elders and Gamakichi. Naruto made sure Yugito and Jiraiya stayed back, so if he failed, Pain couldn't get a hold on both him and Yugito. "It takes a while to set up a reverse summoning location, and we didn't exactly know why you had left," Shima said, slightly annoyed. "This place is in a bad way, I take it, that it's Pain that's attacking?" Fukusaku queried. "Yeah, I have taken out 3 of his bodies so far," Naruto said, but he was soon forced to eat those words as ahead of him a large head with Rinnegan eyes rose from the ground with the remaining 3 paths surrounding it. From the mouth of the large statue, the fully resurrected bodies of Asura, Preta and human paths walked out. They didn't look like they had even been scratched in a fight. "That wasn't in our notes," Fukusaku said, shock evident on his face. "That must be the real power of the Naraka path. It summons that statue that controls must be able to heal his other bodies. That must be what the diary said was called the outer path," Naruto said, equally shocked. That same shock was shared around the watching crowd, who now had serious doubts if Naruto could win. "I need to get that one first. If he is taken out, Pain can't regenerate his bodies," Naruto whispered to himself. Naruto acted first, taking out several kunai and throwing them all in a large arc so they would land all around Pain's bodies, but before they landed, Devapath repelled them, forcing Naruto and the toads to shield themselves from several kunai that were sent flying back in their direction. Animal Path acted next, summoning a large 3-headed dog to charge along with the other 2 centipedes that had attacked earlier. "Well, long range is not going to work. I'm going to need to get in close," Naruto thought as she charged forward. He created a Udama Rasengan, and just as the dog went to crush Naruto, he sent the beast flying into the air with his Rasengan, and Gamabunta jumped up to take the fight off Naruto's hands. Gamaken and Gamahiro were preoccupied with the other summons. Naruto didn't stop his charge after the mammoth summon was deflected. He kept his direction and ran straight toward the 6 paths. Pain reacted by sending Asura Path out to meet him. Naruto went for a blind side attack, but Asura easily avoided it. "Damn, that's right. All of their eyes are connected. Well, it's time to use some attacks that they can't see," Naruto thought as he threw a punch straight at Asura Path, who avoided it by simply moving his head to the side. The moment Naruto's fist passed the path's face, however, Naruto used his frog kumite to send Asura Path flying. All of the path's eyes widened at this because they were sure they had dodged the attack. Naruto kept up his charge, so this time Devapath stepped forward along with Preta and Human. They all charged at the same time surrounding Naruto. Naruto was faster, but the paths were still highly skilled. In close combat 3-on-1, Naruto was evenly matched. Naruto went for a leg sweep only to have Human Path vault his legs and drop a leg in an attempt to kick Naruto in the chest. The blonde managed to roll out of the way, but only to arrive with a chakra rod sent straight into his shoulder from Devapath. Naruto couldn't help but smile as the chakra rod pierced his shoulder and pinned him to a wall, only for him to disappear in a puff of smoke. "Shadow clone!" Devapath cursed. Rasengan came the voice of Naruto from behind the other paths, and jumping from a nearby building, Naruto crushed the Nakara Path beneath him. Animal Path, who was rather close to Naruto but had no real form of taijutsu, jumped away to the remaining 4 paths before summoning a large lobster who shot a jet stream of water at Naruto. "Sage Art, Fuuten, Wind Compression Barrier!" Naruto yelled, and a large invisible barrier formed, sending the water jutsu out in different directions, destroying large parts of the city. Naruto dropped the barrier just in time to avoid a large claw coming down on him from the crustacean. Where he rolled to, however, was not so fortunate. A large chakra rod came shooting right for him, but he managed to break it before it could pierce his shoulder. However, he missed the second attack that came from behind. And the thin chakra rod extended out from his leg. Below him, hiding under some rubble, was the Human Path, and Naruto's distraction led to him being able to stab Naruto with one of their unusual blades. Naruto snapped the blade off, and before Preta, Animal, or Devapaths could react, slammed his fist into the face of the Human Path, crushing it from the power of Naruto's attack. Banshu Tenin, Devapath said, hoping to take advantage of Naruto's injured leg. However, Naruto had other plans and was able to toss a kunai to get away. "Damn this thing, I can feel Nagato's chakra inside of me. Wait, I can use that to find his real body," Naruto realized and began searching with his Senjutsu. "There he is," Naruto said to himself as Fukusaku and Shima arrived to help Naruto remove the black metal rod from his leg. Naruto had just removed the rod when the large lobster made itself known again, crushing what was left of a nearby building with its claw. "Damn it, where is Boss Toad and the others?" Although it won't matter much seeing as I can't get anywhere near the one who controls gravity, Naruto whined. Sorry Naruto-chan, they are busy dealing with the other summons, Fukusaku said as they jumped away from the large crustacean after another swing of its claw. I may have a solution, Naruto Katsuyu spoke, climbing out of his pocket for the first time since the fight started. Huh, what? I have been looking for a weakness in that jutsu since the fight started, Naruto said disbelievingly. I am in many places at once because I can divide myself. I heard Kakashi Hatake and Asuma Tobi talking. The gravity user needs at least 5 seconds to recharge his jutsu, the slug said. That's not much time, but it's at least something to work with. I need to get rid of the animal path. If she is taken out, the summons will be 2, then I can worry about the other 2, Naruto said before grabbing the claw just before it could crush Naruto and the 2 elder toads. Using all of his might, Naruto whipped the large lobster around and sent it soaring into the air. You have surpassed Jiraiya-sensei, that much is obvious. But you should give yourself up, your death will achieve peace, Devapath said as the 3 remaining paths casually walked into view from the side of a large pile of broken buildings. Peace, Jiraiya-sensei told me your plan to create a weapon, that is not peace. You have been tormented by your own pain until you came to the point of view that massive destruction is peace. What is peaceful about this? Look around you, nothing but death. If this is peace, then I don't want it, Naruto spat out. So it seems you now understand a little something about pain. The world is in a circle of hatred that spirals onward. I can end this, by letting the whole world know pain. If everybody feels the same loss and pain that I know, the world will be at peace, Devapath said. It will be peace forced upon them due to fear. That is not true peace, Naruto declared, taking out several smoke bombs from his pouch subtly. It does not matter how it's done. Loss breeds hate, hate leads to war, wars create more loss. I will end all wars, there will be no more loss after I am done, Pain said. Well, you are going to fail, Naruto declared, and he slammed the smoke bombs into the ground. From inside the smoke there was a loud bell-like screech, and from the smoke the large disc of the Rasen Shuriken flew. Feeling the power behind the jutsu, Predapath came forward to absorb the powerful jutsu. Then from another angle a second Rasen Shuriken flew toward the 3, realizing the danger, Devapath used his gravity jutsu to stop the Rasen Shuriken. Then flying down from above, the 3 paths looked up to see Naruto flying down, clearly aiming for Devapath with Rasengan in his left hand. Naruto was just about to crush the momentarily defenseless Devapath when Preta finished absorbing the first Rasen Shuriken and jumped in the way. Predapath began to absorb the Rasengan, but he didn't notice the 3-pronged kunai in Naruto's other hand. Flinging the sealed kunai into the ground, Naruto flashed away, appearing behind Animal Path. His Rasengan still formed, he slammed it through the back of the summoner's body, sending her flying away. Unsure of how long he had left, Naruto went for another kunai, but before he could reach was sent flying by Devapath with a Shinra Tensei. Naruto flew uncontrollably away from where he was standing, unable to reach one of his kunai due to the extra force Devapath put into the jutsu. Naruto landed with several spikes protruding from various parts of his body, and blood started to trickle out of his mouth. He had landed in some exposed scaffolding, and it took most of his weakening strength to pull himself free and remove the large pieces of metal from his body. Naruto lay trying to catch his breath, which was hard because he had a punctured lung, while Deva and Predapath slowly approached. Naruto struggled to a stand while Devapath split off from Preta and drew his chakra rods. Still dripping blood everywhere, Naruto was just barely able to make out an object lying on the floor at Predapath's feet. His kunai, and it was still active. I need to keep going, I can't give up, Naruto thought desperately as Devapath raised his hand to stab Naruto with his chakra rod. He found himself hitting nothing but a chunk of cement, however, as Naruto disappeared in a flash, only to rematerialize to the side of Predapath, who despite dodging the attack was blown away by Naruto's extended range while in sage mode. Naruto collapsed onto a knee from his injuries after he defeated the second last body. Damn, I need time to recover, and I should at least try to lead him away from the village as well, Naruto thought as he coughed up some more blood from his lungs. You can no longer fight me, give up, Pain said flatly. I have a better idea, why don't you go fuck yourself? It's probably really easy with 7 different bodies after all, Naruto said before spitting out more blood. So you figured out my secret, Konoha really has some amazing ninja after all, Devapath complimented. Hey, I guess so. Well, what are you waiting for? I'm quite helpless, Naruto laughed out. This is true, you are a worthy opponent, Naruto Namikaze, Devapath said as he walked up to Naruto, his chakra rods ready to incapacitate the blonde. Too slow, Naruto taunted before disappearing in a flashover, landing back on the destroyed Hokage Tower at the end of the large trench of destruction they had been fighting in and around. Pain didn't show any outward signs of frustration and was about to chase after Naruto when all three of the larger toad jumped trying to land a killing blow on Devapath, but Pain was able to show off the strength of his jutsu and sent the three gargantuan toads careening out of the village like they were nothing. "You want me? Come and get me," Naruto yelled from where he was standing and began to run as fast as he could in his injured state out of the village after using a kunai to flash up to the top of the Hokage monument. With Kakashi and Asuma and Kakashi had been watching the fight from a safe distance along with most of the shinobi who had remained in the village rather than enter the underground tunnels with the civilians like most of the Junin and Chunin were ordered to. There were several people who disobeyed this order. Konohamaru for one along with the other rookies from Naruto's graduating class refused to leave when their friend was in such a dangerous fight. Shikamaru had wanted to help Naruto from the start but he had broken his leg just after Naruto had arrived in Pain's initial attack on the blonde that destroyed a good portion of the village. "We need to help him, he is in no way to continue this fight," Asuma said. "You're right, but we will have to be careful. Naruto is leading Pain into the forest so he will most definitely be setting up traps," Kakashi said as he stood up feeling a lot better after a short rest. "Come on, let's go, we will still have to find them," Asuma said before jumping off in the direction of the Hokage monument. "I don't think that will be that hard," Kakashi admitted. Why not?" Asuma queried. "See for yourself," Kakashi said pointing to an area behind the Hokage monument where a huge dust cloud and trees were being ripped from the ground. "I see what you mean," Asuma said before picking up the pace. With Naruto was running setting up traps as he went. "I need to figure out a way that I can ambush him, it is the only hope I have, especially with all this blood that will lead him right to me," Naruto thought in desperation as he set up another elemental seal trap. Naruto knew his traps wouldn't work, thanks to Pain's gravity defense, but Naruto just hoped to slow down the Devapath long enough to come up with a plan. Naruto had paused to catch his breath. Running was rather difficult with a punctured lung and multiple stab wounds after all. Catching his breath turned out to be a bad idea because it was at that moment that Pain decided he was sick of playing hide and go seek with Naruto and completely obliterated the trees around him, sending his seals flying. Naruto went to grab a kunai from his pouch to escape, but just before he could throw the kunai he was hit full on in the chest by an uprooted tree, completely knocking the breath from the blonde, sending him into unconsciousness. When he began to wake he was pinned against a tree at the side of a huge clearing by the same tree that had knocked him out. The most ironic thing that came to Naruto's mind was for the first time in his life there were no logs around for a kawarimi. Standing in the center of the clearing slowly making his way over to Naruto was Pain. "You can't move. And can no longer fight me. This is over, but just to be careful, I am not going to approach you," Pain said, drawing one of his chakra rods and lifting it above his head, threw it towards Naruto like a spear. Naruto knew it was all over now and was just about to close his eyes in acceptance when the air in front of the chakra rod rippled and it completely disappeared. At the far side of the clearing stood Kakashi and Asuma. "There is no way I am letting you take him," Kakashi said, but having just used his Mangekyo Sharingan all of his fatigue from his previous fight came back tenfold and he had to lean on Asuma for support. "Reinforcements?" Pain said in mild shock. Kakashi struggled back to his feet and got into a battle-ready stance. "If you want Naruto then you will have to go through us. He is a comrade and a very good friend to me," the copy ninja said. "I agree, Naruto saved my life so I couldn't live with myself if I just let you take him," Asuma added. "So you still wish to die? Very well, I have no more use for either of you anyway," Pain said, drawing another 2 black metal rods. "Banshu Tenin." Kakashi and Asuma couldn't stop themselves, and in a large empty clearing they had nothing to brace against to prevent them from being pulled toward Pain. As the pair arrived, Pain simply drove the sharp chakra receivers through the chest of both Jonin before throwing them to the side. Naruto couldn't help it anymore, and in an explosion of anger a large black dome formed around the blonde as a demonic scream filled the air. "Well, this will be interesting. Looks like he is forced to use the QB," Devapath said as he looked on at the black dome as a thin pillar of black smoke rose into the air. Chapter 64, Inside the Broken Seal. The smoke slowly cleared from the sky, leaving the black dome at the edge of the clearing. Once the smoke had completely cleared there was a huge shock wave that sent everything in the area rocketing away. "So this is the power of the QB, it's responding to Naruto's rage at seeing 2 of his friends killed," Pain said flatly as the smoke began to clear. There in the center sat Naruto, a thick dark red almost black cloak covering him with 4 tails swaying ominously behind him as he released a primal roar that created another shock wave. "Do you hate me? Your pain has made you strong. But you still don't know pain like I do," Devapath said as he eyed the QB-possessed Naruto. Naruto charged at lightning fast speed only to be knocked back by Pain's Shinra Tensei. Rather than harm Naruto, the powerful gravity jutsu just pushed Naruto's rage to new heights, and very slowly another tail began to form. Amazingly, his transformation did not stop there. As a sixth tail grew, a skeleton of a fox began to form. Konoha. The shock wave and pressure from the Kyuubi's awakening was felt all over the village. Among the ninja forces there was an ominous feeling of dread. Tsunade had known what happened the moment Kakashi and Asuma were killed. "Damn it, we do not need this now, and Tenzo is hours away from the village," Tsunade said, deciding for the first time that she could drop her jutsu that was protecting the villagers with Katsuyu. Elsewhere, the Toad Elders sat on top of Gamakichi's head as they looked out over where Naruto had just clearly transformed into his Baijuu state. "That power, do you think boss is going to be alright?" Gamakichi asked tentatively. "That is a hard question to answer. Naruto-chan will be stronger and faster now, so he may be able to defeat that last body, but we have no way of calming him down, and Pain's real body is still out there. Then there is also the risk that Naruto-chan will not be able to stop the transformation and he will change completely into the Kyuubi," Fukusaku said. With Naruto now had six tails swaying behind him and half of a fox skeleton formed. Pain was watching with narrowed eyes in interest before two large chakra hands shot forward. Pain jumped back out of the way before pushing the hands away with another Shinra Tensei. Naruto's assault did not end there, however, as the large hands crashed into the ground, knocking up huge slabs of earth up into the air. Naruto let out another shock wave of chakra with a roar that sent the large pieces of earth soaring straight toward Devapath. Instead of using another jutsu, Devapath simply broke the large boulders as they came with his enhanced strength. He was about to go on the offensive when the ground under him began to crack and the earth lifted to reveal that he was in the palm of a large clawed hand of chakra. Naruto tried to crush Devapath with his hand but was just slightly too slow as the final remaining body jumped off of the high platform just in time to avoid the hand closing on him. Impressive range of attacks, and since this new transformation he is yet to move, what is he waiting for? Pain thought as he jumped away from a swipe from a chakra hand. Naruto went to move, but then a green light came from the possessed blonde's chest and it extended out, wrapping Naruto, preventing his movement. Struggling against his confines, Naruto moved his hand to his chest and wrapped his cloak-covered hands around the necklace Tsunade had given him after their bet 3 years ago. Proving just how in control the Kyuubi currently was, Naruto crushed the Shodame's necklace in his hand, dispelling his confines. Pain, seeing he had an opening, used his gravity manipulation to crush Naruto underneath a huge block of earth. This proved to be of little deterrent to the out-of-control Jinchuriki. Naruto simply broke out of his earthly prison with a earth-shattering roar. That must have been a Fuinjutsu, but he was able to break it with strength alone. Now what? Pain thought as Naruto just stared at Devapath as though he Naruto's next meal. His internal question was answered seconds later, however, when Naruto lifted his head into the air and started to gather energy into a large black sphere. That could be dangerous, Pain thought as Naruto tilted his head towards Devapath. It almost looked like the Kyuubified Naruto smiled before he launched the massive death ball from his mouth. Everything in its path was completely destroyed, turned into nothing but tiny particles in the air. Pain's eyes went wide as he realized he could not simply escape the deadly jutsu that was approaching him at tremendous speeds. Acting quickly, Devapath lay flat down on the ground and created a gravitational barrier to protect himself, and as the jutsu hit, the force of it caused the barrier to buckle, but much to Devapath's relief, not break. The destruction from the Baiju Dama was causing could be seen for miles around. All over Konoha, everyone stopped to look in awe at the explosion that was ripping apart the surrounding forests and landscape. With Tsunade. That power, this is not good, Katsuyu. You need to tell everyone to be prepared to completely evacuate the village. Should Naruto completely transform, he could attack the village, Tsunade said to the slug who was sitting on her shoulder. Right away, Tsunade, Katsuyu replied. The message was passed right through what remained of the village. The shinobi who had been alive when the Kyuubi had attacked didn't need telling twice. At the hospital where Sakura was working, she stopped when she felt the immense power of the attack. What a horrible power, it feels so evil, Sakura thought as she looked out of a window in the direction of Naruto's attack, which tinted the sky red with the sheer size of the explosion. Sakura, Tsunade has asked everyone to prepare to evacuate the village. If things get any worse, she wants everyone to be able to leave as soon as possible, Katsuyu said from the floor next to the pink-haired girl. With Naruto. When the explosion died down, Devapath was at the edge of a thin stretch of land that extended as far as he could see behind him. A large trench had been dug out of the earth to either side, and in front of where Naruto stood, clearly unhappy that Devapath had survived his vicious attack. When Naruto saw the pillar in the middle of the path of his jutsu that still contained pain, his anger shot to new heights and once again began gathering chakra for a Baijudama. However, this time Naruto did not let in form. The first small amount of chakra that he collected he sent flying straight towards the final path. Pain saw this coming and jumped out of the way as the tiny Baijuu bomb exploded where he was standing, destroying a surprisingly large section of the pillar that remained from where he had escaped the initial attack. Naruto's new attack, however, was all about quantity, and Pain did not have any time to rest as the sky before him filled with the rapid-fire Baijuu bombs. He had no choice but to run backwards away from the destructive force Naruto was shooting in quick succession. Deva Path continued to dodge the attacks narrowly, but after a while decided to set up another barrier to protect himself. The mini Baijuu bombs struck the barrier and were flung away. Upon seeing his attacks harmlessly deflected, Naruto stopped the jutsu and charged forward. Pain did not have enough time to end his jutsu, so he left his barrier up. Much to Pain's shock and horror, Naruto started to break through his gravity barrier jutsu, so he decided to change the force outward to try and push Naruto away. This worked to a degree until 3 of Naruto's tails shot into the ground to anchor him down, allowing for the Jinchuriki state Naruto to begin to push through his jutsu. Incredible to be able to fight against my Shinra Tensei. What power! Pain thought as added some more power to his jutsu, momentarily pushing Naruto back before ending the jutsu and beginning to run. Seeing his prey flee the area, Naruto wasted little time giving chase. In this state Naruto was far faster than Pain, but Deva Path would send a wave of compressed gravity at the Jinchuriki to slow him down, allowing Pain to build up a healthy lead. This should be enough, Pain thought, and turned around to face the onrushing Jinchuriki, who had begun to grow a 7th-tailed Chibaku Tensei. Deva Path said and held his hands up in the sky, creating a single point of immense gravity that began to pull the land around Naruto up into the air. Naruto could not hold on and was being lifted up into the air uncontrollably. Slowly forming in the air around Konoha was a small moon that was still sucking up anything it came in contact with. In Konoha, everyone was looking on in awe of the moon that had formed floating above them. Mindscape. Naruto arrived at the cage that held Kyubi. The water that usually sat on the floor harmlessly was now boiling underneath Naruto's feet. The walls seemed to be collapsing around the blonde as he aimlessly walked towards the gate that held the Kyubi back. "Yes, come to me and remove this seal," Kyubi said, voice full of glee. Naruto didn't respond. He was almost in a trance-like state as he made his way to the cage close enough to hold onto the bars. As Naruto moved to grab the bars of the cage, the water around the blonde's feet began to spiral and turned into a pillar of water, raising the blonde up to the center of the cage where a thin piece of paper with the kanji for seal on it. Naruto slowly raised his arm to rip the tag off the gate, allowing Kyubi to break free of him confines. A second before he touched the tag, however, he felt an arm wrap around his chest and pull him back. "You don't want to do that, son," a voice said, pulling Naruto back from his trance-like state. "Yondaime. Come here so I can rip you apart," Kyubi roared, clearly unhappy at seeing the person who prevented Naruto from releasing him from his prison. "Then I guess I better just stay back here then, right, Naruto?" the man said in a caring voice. Naruto turned his head to get a proper look at the man, still not completely back to his senses. Standing just to the side stood a man Naruto recognized well. Apart from the shape of his face, Naruto's whisker marks, and the man being older, they would have been a carbon copy for one another. "Dad?" Naruto asked tentatively. "Got it in one," the Yondaime said with a vibrant smile. Naruto raced over to his father and wrapped him up in a hug. "You're a prick for sealing the Kyubi inside me, you know," Naruto said as several tears of joy fell from his eyes. "Yeah, I guess I am. I was expecting a much harsher reaction from you, to tell the truth," Minato admitted. "Well, when Jiraiya-sensei first told me you were my father, I was a bit angry and upset. But I understand why you did what you did. And when I think back on it, most of the good things that happened in my life were because the Kyubi was sealed into me as well. Like Jiraiya-sensei taking me on as his apprentice, or meeting Yugi-chan. I do have one question though, why did you have to use the Shiki-fune? There were so many other seals that could have held the Kyubi?" Naruto questioned. Well, there were complications that night. A man attacked Konoha and summoned the Kyubi to fight for him. You know this man is Tobi, I believe. However, judging from his range of skills and the fact he was able to manipulate the Kyubi and still stay one move ahead of me at all times, I believe that this man is none other than Madara Uchiha," Minato said seriously. "You're kidding, right? He would be over 100-year-old by now. Even if by some miracle he was still alive, he would be in no condition to fight," Naruto said disbelievingly. "Nevertheless, it just has to be him. Only he could manipulate Kyubi like that. I also believe that he is the true leader of the Akatsuki. I knew that if you were facing an opponent like him, you would need a weapon, more specifically the Kyubi. So I decided on that seal for you to have the best chance of mastering the Kyubi's chakra." "I see, but how could the leader not be Pain? I mean, look at him. Without the Hirashin I wouldn't have stood a chance against all 6 of those bodies. That Deva Path repels all attacks, you can't even get close to him, and they're not even his main body. Nagato has all the powers that his paths have, Naruto said. That's true, he is a tough opponent, but someone in pain can be manipulated. Even the strongest people can be controlled. For someone like Madara who has the ability to manipulate the Kyuubi, is it really that hard to believe? All he would have to do is find him at his weakest and give him a purpose. I have little doubt that the Akatsuki is acting on Madara's orders, Minato said. Then Nagato is nothing but a pawn. He probably doesn't even know it, but still, how am I supposed to beat him? His last path shouldn't be that difficult. I take it Kyuubi will have healed me. But his actual body has all of the abilities of the paths as well as all forms of elemental transformation, Naruto sighed. You will find a way, I'm sure of it. I believe in you, and I always will, don't forget that. You have made me so proud. I always said if I ever had a son I would want him to be just like you. You have no idea how proud I am to have you as a son. I am running out of time here, so I will repair your seal one last time and then I can go on. Oh, and by the way, you have picked a lovely girl to share your life with, Minato said with a kind fatherly smile as he repaired the broken seal on Naruto's stomach and faded before Naruto could respond. I'm proud to be your son, Naruto said, unsure if his father actually heard him or not. Once he wiped the tears from his eyes, he felt himself begin to return to reality. Real world. The fully formed head of the fox burst out from the side of the small moon as its tails began tearing the compressed earth apart. Large chunks fell from the floating sphere and the almost fully formed Kyuubi sent a stream of fire, setting the falling rocks alight as they fell. Amazing, to think the Kyuubi is strong enough to escape my Chibaku, Tensei Pain thought as he was forced to drop his jutsu. Before the broken moon began to fall from earth there was a huge puff of smoke. And when it cleared, Naruto stood there re-entering sage mode as he gazed down at Deva Path. He repressed the power of the Kyuubi, and by himself as well. He is tough, Pain thought while Naruto realizing where he was jumped from large falling chunks of earth to land before Deva Path. To think you would go so far as to use Chibaku Tensei, it is pointless to fight your paths, I want to talk to you in person, Nagato, Naruto said. How do you know such things? Although it doesn't really matter, you should just allow yourself be taken, your death will help achieve peace, Deva Path spoke. Naruto didn't reply and just readied himself to strike, a 3-pronged kunai in each hand. So 5 seconds, hey. That's fine, I can make it, Naruto thought as launched one of his kunai at Deva Path before taking off to the side. Knowing he couldn't let the kunai land near him, Pain repelled it with a Shinra Tensei. He did not however anticipate for a second kunai to arrive just as his jutsu died out. Pain jumped back as far as he could a millisecond before Naruto arrived and was just able to block the kick that was sent towards his head. He could not however prevent himself from being thrown away by the power of the kick. This worked in Pain's favor however, as it was able to buy him enough time for his gravity jutsu to recharge. Meaning he was able to throw Naruto away, preventing his follow-up attack from connecting. Kami, damn it, I can't catch him out this way, I need to catch him by surprise, but he is too aware of my kunai. I could try hiding some seals, but I still need almost a minute to activate them at will. But I guess that is still my best option at the moment, Naruto mused while Deva Path waited for his 5-second window to shut. The 5 seconds were up and Deva Path drew a chakra rod and charged forward. Naruto, deciding that if his plan was going to work, he would need some time to both hide his seals and focus on them in order to activate. Naruto jumped away from Pain before he could arrive and began to subtly hide his kunai around a large rocky area before filling the area with clones. Okay, you know what to do, just 1 minute once he arrives, keep him busy so I can activate the seals, the real Naruto told his clones while he had a chance. Sure thing, boss. The others chorused. Deva Path arrived in the clearing and was confronted by the mass gathering of Narutos. An interesting use of shadow clones, Deva Path said as the Narutos loosely surrounded him. Naruto's clones hesitated. If they attacked too soon there was a chance they wouldn't make the minute the real Naruto needed, but if they waited too long Pain might figure out it was a trap. A large group of the Narutos rushed forward to attack. Pain, guessing this was a diversion, did not use his gravity jutsu and was able to dispel most of them as they were considerably weakened thanks to the sheer amount of times Naruto had to split his chakra to create so many. You think you can defeat me with clones? Deva Path said in a monotone. No, but it's worth a shot, Naruto replied jokingly. Just a few more seconds, Naruto thought from where he was hiding in the group of clones. The remaining clones charged toward Pain, who dispatched the first few with ease before being overwhelmed. Realizing he needed to act, Pain repelled the onrushing horde of Narutos with a Shinra Tensei. As it struck the blondes they were rocketed back away from Pain and disappeared in hundreds of puffs of smoke, leaving the last Naruto, who was right at the back of the group, standing there with a Rasengan in hand. You think you can get to me in time? Your little trick with your kunai won't work, I have seen it too many times, Devapath said. Well, now it's time to see a variation, Naruto said with a small smile before disappearing. Pain's eyes went wide as Naruto reappeared only an inch from Devapath and slammed the Rasengan into his stomach. The final path flew back from the force of the jutsu and crashed into a nearby cliff surface before collapsing onto the ground. Well, now to find the real one again, but I don't get it, why wouldn't he join the fight after I had already taken out most of his paths, Naruto said to himself as he knelt down and removed some of the chakra receivers Pain had in the path's bodies. He wanted to be sure this one was gone. Now just need to check to see if he hasn't moved yet. I also should recharge the rest of my Senjutsu seals, Naruto thought as he stabbed himself with one of Pain's chakra receivers and located where Nagato was hiding. There you are. Well, I don't want to waste any time sitting around here, Naruto said before jumping off towards a high mountain that shadowed Konoha. Where are you going, Katsuyu asked curiously when Naruto didn't head back towards the village. I need to go confront the real Nagato, Naruto explained. Surely you have done enough, let Tsunade and the village handle him, Katsuyu suggested. No, there are some things I need to talk to him about. I need to do this alone, Naruto said as he jumped from tree to tree. Very well, I will inform the village of your victory over the final path, Katsuyu said in acceptance. Konoha. Naruto has defeated the last of Pain's bodies, and is going to confront the real Pain right now, Katsuyu informed Tsunade. I see, we have sent people out to look for where the real Pain is hiding. Are you telling me Naruto already knows where he is? Tsunade asked. Yes, Naruto seems quite positive he knows where Pain is, but is insisting on going alone, Katsuyu replied. That is madness, there is no telling what he is going to find, he could be handing himself right over to the Akatsuki, Tsunade said angrily. He knows this, but he said there are things he needs to talk to Pain about alone, Katsuyu replied. What could he need to talk about? The man has destroyed more than 3/4 of the village, he is not someone you can just talk things out with, Tsunade said. Regardless of what Naruto has planned, he wants to go alone, Katsuyu said. News of Naruto's victory over Pain and the fact he was able to repress the Kyuubi's chakra seemingly without help began to spread through the village and even into the underground evacuation tunnels. Small cheers of celebration rang out, but were short-lived once Katsuyu informed the groups that the danger had not passed and Naruto was only now going to meet up with the real Pain. We can't just sit here anymore, we have to go help him, Kiba said once news of Naruto's achievement and current predicament made its way to the members of the Konoha 11 that had been watching Naruto's fight with Pain from afar. I agree, we cannot let Naruto take on someone who would do something so unyouthful as destroying most of Konoha alone. I say we help him, came the voice of Guy, followed by an approving yell about his sensei's flames of youth from Leah's team. Guy made its way over to them. This looked like it was one hell of a fight. Naruto has once again proven he can do anything if you try hard enough. I am most upset that I could not have been here to help in the defense of Konoha, Neji said. Team Guy were returning from Suna when they ran into Gamabunta, who informed them of the invasion of the village. I know you want to help Naruto, I do too. But troublesome though it may be, he asked to do this alone, so I say we let him. If anyone can pull this off, it's Naruto, Shikamaru said. With Naruto. Naruto was currently sitting in a tree meditating to charge his Senjutsu seals. Once they were done, he continued to gather Senjutsu until he was in sage mode without using a seal. Alright, I'm ready, it's time I meet Nagato for real, thought Naruto. Alright guys, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. As always, the rest of the story is already out over on Patreon, link to that will be in the description. Anyways, until next time, peace.